Yu took out his cell phone and shook it. Then said with a smile, "Linger helped me with this." Upon hearing this, Gu Yan felt helpless. He thought about it and it was true. This trip to the forbidden area is even more dangerous. No matter how hard I try, I won't be able to be full of energy the next day. Furthermore, Yu might be busy with organizational matters and really doesn't have time to hang out with him. There was no way out. Gu Yan, who had figured everything out, had to give up. And he really had to show up at his own organization. See what the situation is over there. Yu seemed to sense Gu Yan's disappointment, and her heart softened suddenly. She hesitated for a moment and said, "It's not like I'm always busy." Yu paused, and his voice became slightly lower. "You can come to see me this weekend. I'm free." As soon as these words came out, Yu, "I knew you loved me the most. Come on. Roll home." Gu Yan left in the car. Yu's heart suddenly felt empty. Lu Ding left. Xiao Ling's voice came. "I know." Yu withdrew his gaze, turned around and walked back into the house. In an instant, her demeanor changed. Became extremely indifferent. Yu stretched out his hand, and a dagger appeared in his hand. She stared at the dagger that was gradually calming down, and murmured to herself, "The dagger has become increasingly difficult to control recently. Does this mean?" Yu seemed to have thought of something and felt extremely complicated. "If that's really what you think, Gu Yan, what should I do? Obviously revenge is the path I should take." She sighed softly, retracted the dagger and walked towards the dining table. Result: when she found that the food on the table had not been touched. "Gu Yan." Yu cursed with gritted teeth. It's hard, the fist is hard. No wonder it slipped away so fast. This bastard, he just dislikes the food he cooks, right? Damn it, it's so rare for me to cook. Chapter 295, Light of Hope Renovation. In the car, Gu Yan learned a piece of news that was neither good nor bad for him. That is, his elder sister Gu Yan Aroyu and younger sister Gu Yingying might come to Zhang soon. Are you kidding me? There's still about a week or two before the Gu family's annual meeting. Right? What are they doing here so early? They haven't been this active in previous years. Could it be that they have become alerted by my previous forceful approach in recruiting the heads of the Gu family's businesses? Lao Gao was driving with full concentration. His destination was the Light of Hope, which he had not visited for a long time. He said, "Master, I heard that Miss Gu Yingying had a big fight with her family in order to rush back, because she has turned down all her future plans. Now Master Tian King is thinking about how to explain this to the dignitaries of the Western country." After hearing this, Gu Yan nodded slightly. Gu Tianking is Gu Yingying's father and also the younger brother of his father Gu Tianming. According to their relationship, he has to call the other person uncle. What a pity. Gu Yan, who has read the original novel, knows very well that Gu Tianking hates his brother Gu Tianming very much. After all, the other party missed the position of the head of the family that year, so Gu Tianming's son was also disliked by the other party. And training Gu Yingying to become an all-round genius is also to give her more advantages in competing for the position of head of the Gu family in the future. This will fulfill his obsession. Of course, on the surface, the relationship between the two brothers is still very harmonious. In summary, the big family is really messy. The two sisters coming here would actually only have a certain chance of disrupting his plans. But, when the enemy comes, we will fight him. When the water comes, we will block it with earth. I hope that we can continue to be a harmonious Gu family. After sorting out his thoughts, Gu Yan returned to the present and it was time to check how his organization was going. Light of Hope. It has been a long time since Long Ziyi at Ian built this place. The other party originally said that all construction would be completed before the end of the year, although there is still some time until the end of the year. But when Gu Yan arrived at the site, he found that Long Ziyi Ian was very efficient. First is the main entrance. The originally dilapidated gate of the Light of Hope is now guarded by an oppressive black alloy gate. The gate is dozens of meters high, heavy and solemn. The black facade is carved with exquisite silver decorations. And in the center is a lifelike black dragon. The dragon pattern is winding and swirling. The dragon scales are detailed and each one is sparkling with silver light. And the dragon eyes are like to gems, even though they are cast in iron. They seem to reveal the brilliance of life. Above the dragon pattern are several large characters engraved with Light of Hope and strong and powerful fonts. The Light of Hope is surrounded by a wall made of black alloy. Each wall is equipped with the world's most advanced monitoring equipment every few meters to ensure the privacy and security of the park. Go inside. Rather than saying that the Light of Hope is a training base, it would be more accurate to say that it is more like a military academy with strict discipline. Every building inside appears exceptionally neat, with clean and plain walls, without excessive decoration and only occasional disciplinary slogans. The corners of each walkway and staircase are deliberately polished to be sharp. A training area is divided in an orderly manner, with different training grounds separated by green belts with neatly trimmed bushes. Even the rest area and cafeteria have clear rules, from the order of queuing for meals to the allocation of seats. Every detail reveals strict management. Besides, the library, teaching buildings, dormitories, etc. have also been renovated. All old equipment has been replaced with the world's most advanced teaching equipment, in order to prevent the rigorous and serious atmosphere from oppressing the children's nerves. Therefore, Guyan specifically instructed to build entertainment venues. So there are food streets, commercial streets, game halls, and amusement parks. Of course, food, shopping, etc. are not free. What kind of system should be adopted? Guyan will slowly announce the arrangements later. The Light of Hope has thus completely formed a small ecological park. Shop everything. Wang Ziyan respectfully led Guyan to a large training ground. While building the venue, Guyan also asked the Demon Claw and other death warriors to find talented orphan children. The number of people has far exceeded that before. Wang Ziyan and Mo Shui walked in front of Guyan, one on the left and one on the right. Then they held the door handle and said respectfully, "Sir, all the children are inside." As he spoke, the heavy door was slowly pushed open. The scene in the training ground also came into Guyan's eyes. On the training ground, about 50 children were divided into several teams and were undergoing various rigorous trainings from the Death Warriors. Guyan's eyes swept across each team. Some were practicing boxing on sandbags. With each punch intended to penetrate the sand, their fists were wrapped in thick bandages, stained with blood. Some are undergoing cold hardening training in low-temperature water. They are immersed in ice water, enduring the double test of cold and physical fitness, enduring the pain with expressionless faces. Some held heavy swords and swung them over and over again. Each time the sword fell, it had to hit the target in front of it accurately. The fatigue of the arms made every child's muscles tremble. Some simulate actual combat, with two people in a group, fighting with real swords and guns. Because of Guyan's instructions, training should be separated from daily life. During training, you must strictly abide by organizational discipline and obey all orders from the instructors. These trainings are very cruel for these teenagers or even children who are only a few years old. But they not only strengthen their bodies, but also temper their minds. All the people here were orphans who were displaced from their homes before. Every day I live a life worse than death. The first thing everyone should do when coming here is to remember one thing. It is to understand who ensures that they have enough food and warm clothes. Guyan stood there, observing all this quietly. Although some of the children were in pain, they still gritted their teeth and persevered. Everyone understands that if they give up on this place, they will have to go back to being homeless. Guyan's eyes were very calm. He knew that this world would not be merciful to the weak. I am also a weak person at the moment, so I must continue to become stronger and expand my power. So these children are his indispensable strength. My lord, your plan is bearing fruit, Mo Shui whispered to Guyan. And when he looked at the group of children in training, he couldn't help but reveal admiration in his eyes. Guyan nodded, his expression as calm as a mountain. But a hint of tenderness appeared in his eyes. Let's go. He raised the corners of his mouth slightly and walked into the training ground. The children's attention was immediately drawn and they became quiet in an instant. Some of them stopped what they were doing, while others looked at Guyan, the stranger, with timid eyes. And some showed excited expressions. The Demon Claw walked forward, glanced at everyone, and said in a deep voice, "Everyone line up to greet the adults." The words fell. All the children immediately stood in a row in an orderly manner. They shouted loudly to Guyan in unison, "Hello, sir." After saying that, everyone looked at Guyan curiously. And everyone understood. It turned out that the man in front of them was the one they had attended their first class here. The mysterious adult that the instructor let them know. Chapter 296. Points System. After the annual meeting, the spacious and huge training ground gradually became quiet. Everyone was waiting for Guyan's instructions. Guyan first looked around at everyone, and then looked at Shi Tiou and Xiao Bie, who were standing at the front with joy in their eyes. Finally, he said gently, "Many of you may not have seen me, but I know every one of you. Although I don't come here very often, I'm always keeping an eye on you all. Looking forward to the new members joining our Light of Hope family." Having said this, Guyan paused. Then he fixed his eyes on a boy who was hiding in the back. He smiled and said, "For example, little boy, your name is Wang Weishan, right?" The boy who was called out was a little shy, but there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "Sir, you know my name?" "Well, or rather, I know all of your names." Guyan smiled gently. "I said, I am paying attention to each and every one of you." At this time, a little girl with orange hair suddenly raised her hand. Her face was thin, but her eyes were bright as she looked at Guyan. Master, do you know my name too? Guyan looked at the other party and smiled. Lin Lin, right? When Lin Lin heard this, the light in her eyes became brighter, and her face flushed slightly with embarrassment. Then she clenched her fists and nodded. Yes, right? Xiao Bie and I have the best relationship. I really want to meet the adults. Xiao Bie was one of the first girls to enter the Light of Hope. She is a sibling of Shi Tu and is also one of the villains bewitched by Ling King Qiu in the original novel. At this moment, I heard my good friend calling me. Xiao Bie's face turned red. She looked up and saw Guyan looking at her with a smile. For a moment, she became a little nervous, but the thought of talking to Guyan dispelled her nervousness. She looked at Guyan and shouted nervously, because adults are very good. I want to tell everyone how good adults are to us. And Xiao Bie held the patched doll tightly and slowly lowered his head. His voice barely audible. I miss you too. Guyan hasn't been to the Light of Hope since the Night King incident a month ago. Next second, Guyan reached out and rubbed Xiao Bie's head, smiling and said, I miss Xiao Bie and everyone too. Xiao Bie felt the warmth on his head, coupled with Guyan's gentle words, and for a moment, his eyes turned red and he choked up a little. Sir, Ben. Guyan withdrew his hand and looked at everyone's expressions. Through the operation just now, the panic and tension on everyone's face disappeared. Yes, only expectations for Guyan. He spoke slowly, neither too fast nor too slow, and in a gentle tone so as not to make the children nervous. The world outside is cruel and full of dangers. For us, although the training is hard, the hard work and dedication will be rewarded. As he spoke, he smiled and said, I believe everyone has also seen the changes in the Light of Hope during training. Amusement park, various delicious foods, beautiful clothes, library. At Light of Hope, all these things are readily available and everyone can enjoy them. And it doesn't cost anything. Guyan paused for a moment, leaving everyone in suspense. When the children heard this, everyone showed joy and surprise in their eyes. No money? Although they were training, they had seen the playground being built gradually in the distance while running on the track or looking through the window. At their age, they yearn for beautiful things. So I have been fantasizing about going to the amusement park one day and changing into new clothes. Guyan took in everyone's reactions and continued. Of course, although it doesn't cost money, it does cost points. Points are a consumption method promoted within the Light of Hope. From today on, the instructors will no longer provide you with meals and accommodation. You need to spend points to solve your food, clothing, housing and transportation problems. Certainly, each of you starts with 100. 0 points. Remember what I'm going to say next. Guyan looked at each of the children who were excited and nervous. He suppressed his smile and said seriously, points are the only currency in Light of Hope. You can use points to purchase all the resources in Light of Hope. Give me an example. Everyone will do basic training every day. But if you want to become stronger, you can pay points to have one-on-one instruction from the instructor. The first and second floors of the library are ordinary floors, and you can browse the books inside at will. And above the second floor are the secret manuals of martial arts. Everyone who wants to read them needs to pay points. If you want to recover quickly from an injury, you can also pay points to ask the doctor in the infirmary to help you recover. Here, the amount of points you have determines the quality of your life and how quickly you become stronger. At this point, the children's eyes already showed nervousness and eagerness to try. Xiao Bie, who had been silent until now, raised his hand and asked, Sir, how can I get points? It's very simple. Guyan looked at the other party, and then looked at everyone one by one. Complete the tasks assigned to you by the Light of Hope, and you will get points. The difficulty of the mission varies, and the rewards are naturally proportional. In addition, everyone present will be reassigned into 4 classes, A, B, C, and D. Class A receives the most resources every day, and Class D receives the least. This resource means educational resources, training resources, etc. A class is a whole. If one prospers, all prosper. If one suffers, all suffer. Light of Hope will hold class competitions or individual competitions from time to time. The winning party or the whole team can get points and generous rewards. At this point, Guyan smiled slightly. The generosity of the reward is beyond your imagination. As for more content, Guyan looked at the devil's claw beside him. The latter came forward carrying 2 black suitcases, which she placed on a table and opened. There were dozens of black bracelets placed inside. This is the Hope bracelet equipped for you. It is developed using the most advanced technology in the world today. The points have been recharged for everyone. You can also check the new regulations of the Light of Hope. Exactly 53 people, 53 bracelets. Little white stone. You too can distribute them to everyone. As Guyan's voice fell, Chitu and Xiao Bie took a deep breath, then walked forward and began to distribute bracelets to everyone. Lao Jiao saw everything. There was admiration in his eyes. Master is really awesome. This system makes this place an excellent training base for warriors. Strict rules, moderate entertainment, points are in the form of currency. Points are earned by completing tasks, and teams compete. Master, if this light of hope continues to grow, I'm afraid it will set off a terrifying undercurrent in the world. Young Master, what exactly do you want to do? It was already late when we left the light of hope. Because of Guyan's arrival, the children had half a day off in the afternoon. They accompanied a group of children to familiarize themselves with the use of the bracelet. I took them to the amusement park food court and had a good experience. Although playing with children is tiring, it is also a necessary measure. Guyan sat in the back seat of the car with a specially made notebook in front of him. A picture shows the portraits and various information of 53 children of Light of Hope. Only through systematic and targeted class division can we match the right teacher for each other. It is said to be a random shuffle, but in fact he is the one who manipulates it behind the scenes. Finally we can proceed to the next step. Guyan closed his notebook and leaned lazily on the backrest. After systematic training and transformation of their claw cells, these children of Light of Hope will be able to join the battles of warriors within a month. And then it's time to take action. Annual meeting. Guyan looked at the scenery flashing outside the window, and the neon lights kept rolling on his face through the window. The occasional shadow reflected Guyan's complicated expression. After the annual meeting, the most critical step in the plan will begin. By then will I be able to do it myself? Even with Xiaoling's help, I still have to do the last step myself. 1 second. 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Countless possibilities of my own soft heart then flashed through my mind. A long time. Guyan took a deep breath and his eyes gradually became firm. No matter what, no obstacles would make him give up his plan. After the annual meeting, the dagger of the night must be obtained. Even if it means Qiyu will lose the power of the night. Figured it all out. Guyan closed his eyes. He sighed softly in the darkness. Forgive me, Qiyu. This is part of the plan. Chapter 297, Lin Yinyan's Source of Power. The next day, in the courtyard, Guyan didn't go anywhere and stayed quietly at the Gu family. The black cat lay lazily on Guyan's legs every night, closing his eyes and enjoying the sweet smell of Guyan's body. The latter stroked Yi's hair while watching the online meeting on the laptop in front of him. Now that everyone is here, the meeting will begin. Bi Jun is worthy of being a master after a day of rest. His face has become much more rosy. Someone from headquarters came to him. So the White Army held a meeting to explain things after everyone regained consciousness. Guyan looked at the dozen or so avatars on the screen. Wow, these are all people I know. Mu Rongxi, Shang Wanmaiyin, Biao Yan, Mei Zhu, Yu Xingzhu. The complexions of these night organization members have recovered well. Or rather, they did not suffer much damage in the forbidden area to begin with. Ning Qian, on the other hand, had a gloomy face and showed a very unwilling expression. It seems that the journey to the Forbidden Land has dealt another blow to the opponent. The rest are the members who survived the operation. The only thing that made Guyan feel strange was, how come that jerk named Li Chuan who had mocked him in the car before is gone? It seemed like he heard Guyan's thoughts. The heavy voice of the White Army came out. Everyone, I am very sorry, this operation ended in failure due to my misjudgment. All the sect warriors were annihilated. There are only a dozen or so warriors left in the department. This was my negligence and I will take full responsibility for this action. As soon as these words came out, Guyan understood, and all his feelings died. But isn't Li Chuan a logistics staff member? Wasn't Lin Yinyan also in the car? How could Li Chuan die? At this time, a man with bandages on said in a deep voice, "Don't talk about Ba Jun, the dead cannot be resurrected. It doesn't matter who is responsible, I just wanna know." He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. What on earth are those netherworld people in the forbidden area? That's right, the Nether clan is what everyone wants to know. Although the death of the companions is tragic, they were heroes who sacrificed themselves to explore the forbidden area. Their dedication is valuable. The Nether clan is the message they have discovered through their life explorations. Hearing this, Biayajun closed his eyes to calm down, and opened his eyes and said solemnly, after returning from the forbidden area, I asked the headquarters to look up some information about the Nether clan. And I came to a shocking conclusion. That's the Nether clan. It's very likely the predecessor of the monsters. In other words, the group of Nether clan we saw in Forbidden Land. No. 5 is very likely the ancient monster. The words fell. Everyone's eyes fixed. Ancient monsters, Netherworld. Shang Guanmaiyin narrowed her eyes slightly. Oh, interesting. The Nether clan is an ancient demon. Doesn't this mean that their souls are also extremely delicious? Ancient food. I believe the owner will be very interested. If I tell my master about this first, I will definitely be praised a lot. Of course, except Shang Guanmaiyin. Biayan also has this kind of little thoughts. She looked at Shangguan Miayan on the screen. She didn't know if it was her illusion, but she felt that the person on the other side was also looking at her through the screen. Din Rong had a headache. He asked incredulously, "Ancient monster? Is the one in human form also a monster?" This is a very incredible thing. As we all know, monsters are very easy to identify. It can be said that anyone can tell whether the other person is a monster. But the ones in Forbidden Area no, 5 are different. They have 2 monsters in human form. You might not even recognize it in a crowd. How dangerous would the world be if they mixed in with the crowd? Everyone seemed to have thought of this, and their faces became serious. Guyan then said, "Has this kind of ancient monster appeared in the Forbidden Area before?" Bi Jun shook his head when he heard this. No, compared to the no. 5 Forbidden Area, the previous Forbidden Areas are not as difficult as they should be. Is there currently any technology that can distinguish that kind of humanoid monster? If we warriors were to tell the difference, the auras of monsters and humans would be very obviously different. Hearing this, everyone seemed to understand something. A man widened his eyes and looked at Bi Jun hesitantly. "Hey, Bi Jun, what do you mean by that? Are you planning to implement a policy of full openness to warriors?" "I have to say a few words about this. The man is a member of the radical faction, and has always advocated the opening of warrior academies around the world so that everyone can train to become a warrior and fight against monsters together. If we search for warriors from all over the world, we might be able to find quite a few geniuses." This made the others look at Bi Jun as well. And the meaning in their eyes was self-evident. If it is really as the radical warriors say, the path for martial arts training is open to the whole world, allowing everyone to practice and become a martial artist. This can indeed resist the crisis of that group of ancient monsters. But there are also many disadvantages that come with it. That is what should be done after many criminals with evil intentions become warriors. The crime rate will definitely skyrocket, and ordinary people who have no talent for cultivation will become the lowest class of people in the world, vulnerable to being bullied. Bi Jun knew that it would be hard for everyone to accept this. So he sighed and said, "This is the conclusion reached by the higher-ups. Rather than sitting back and waiting for the ancient monsters to infiltrate the human world, it would be better if we take the initiative to launch the offensive, so that everyone can protect themselves and detect monsters." Although it's just a conclusion that hasn't been fully implemented yet. Guyan could hear the laughter in his heart. That's absolutely right. Although this direction has deviated from the original work. After all, the original work did not open up the policy of warriors to the public until the end. But if the world is open now, it's not all bad. At the very least, he can get his own people mixed in and ensure that each of them is the top fighter in the department. By then department our own people? Without giving everyone time to digest the previous information, the White Army dropped another bombshell. Also Minister Lin of the Peace Faction, Ling Yin, has been removed from his post as minister. I was also downgraded. Bi Jun looked at everyone sincerely. I will go to the headquarters for investigation, and Minister Lin will stay in the Zhonghai branch. He lowered his head and said, "Because you are all my friends, there are some things I can only tell you. Please. Lin Yin's mind is very immature. Please take care of her while I'm away. The most important thing is Don T. Let her lose control." As soon as these words came out, everyone was silent for a moment. Then Ron looked at Bi Jun, seeming to be hesitant to speak. Bi Jun went to the headquarters to be investigated instead of Lin Yin. The other party must have taken all the responsibility. Whether he can come back is still unknown. Next second. "That's boring, White Army." Guyan raised the volume. And Bi Jun heard the voice and looked up at the screen. Guyan smiled and said, "It's really too polite to say that. Besides, I promise you that as long as I'm here, Lin Yin won't be harmed in the department." When Bi Jun heard this, he was moved, but he didn't say anything yet. There were bursts of sobbing from the side. "Wow, Xiao, you moved me so much. When did you come in, Minister?" "Woo!" Snap. The meeting was interrupted. Looking at the screen that turned pitch black, there was also a hint of inexplicable meaning in Guyan's eyes. He closed his notebook. Lin Yin's body contains a huge amount of true energy, all of which comes from a silver core in the other party's body. Because the other party is the most perfect cyborg, tens of thousands of key circuits have been implanted all over his body to control the silver core. If I absorb all the power of the core, so he couldn't help but touch the clawing on his finger. The claws slowly emerged from Guyan's fingers, and 3 claws gently wrapped around Guyan's fingers. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "So will claw evolve again?" Chapter 298. Continue to coax the child and improve trust. It was afternoon. What Bi Jun said in the morning was followed by people from the headquarters in the afternoon who came and took Bi Jun away for investigation. even if the other party has not yet recovered. After all, the first time the Night King attacked, there were countless casualties, and the White Army was responsible. During the second trip to the Forbidden Area, 4 people died, and the White Army took all the responsibility. It is hard not to make the higher-ups suspect whether there is something big wrong with the White Army. Otherwise, how could the 2 major operations end in disastrous defeat? This is completely different from the White Army's previous record. Before leaving, Bia Jun asked Gu Yan for help alone, ask him to help take care of Lin Yin Yin, and tell his sister Bai Quanlan not to worry about herself. Gu Yan naturally replied seriously and agreed on the phone. As soon as the BA army left, Lin Yin Yin was removed from the post of minister. The peace faction is completely leaderless. Lin Yin Yin was restricted by the headquarters to the Zhanghe branch, waiting for the results of the BA army's investigation. An inspection team was assigned to monitor the other party to prevent him from running around. Zhanghe branch. Lin Yin Yin no longer had the energy and spirit she once had, and she squatted guiltily at the door of Bae Jun's office. In the distance, there stood a man in a black uniform and sunglasses. Although he wasn't looking at Lin Yin Yin, he was aware of every move of the latter. Next second, the man in black uniform seemed to have noticed something. He glanced at Lin Yin Yin, but quickly looked away. I thought to myself, the young master of the Gu family? No threat. Gu Yan had already walked to Lin Yin Yin's side. He stretched out his hand and pressed it on Lin Yin Yin's head. Leader, what are you doing squatting here? The BA army has already left. Saichao Suyo Xiao Gu. When Lin Yin Yin heard the voice, she raised her head and a hint of surprise appeared in her eyes at first, but it was quickly washed away by endless guilt and sadness. Her eyes were red and tears were falling. Wow, it's all my fault. It's my fault that I failed to protect everyone. I have such strong power, but I can't protect others when it comes to the critical moment. Wow! As Lin Yin Yin was talking, she started to cry loudly. BI boy will definitely be killed by those bad guys at the headquarters. In a car heading to headquarters, Bae Jun suddenly raised his head. What happened? He suddenly felt his body go cold for no apparent reason. Bae Jun, you are in trouble this time. The pickup person nearby was a friend of Bae Jun. He handed him a cigarette and lit it for him. After taking a puff, the White Army sighed helplessly. Don't mention it. First it was the Night King and then the ancient monsters. The most important thing is too many people died. Whether it's the sect or the department, too many high-powered members died because of this incident. He clenched his fists, looking very remorseful and unwilling. Maybe I'm not suitable for this job. The pickup person patted Bae Jun on the shoulder and said, don't be sad, it's not a bad thing to go back to the headquarters. After all, it's tiring to take care of a monster all the time. Bae Jun was silent for a moment, then looked at the other party seriously. The minister is not a monster. Hey, kid, okay. I'm too lazy to explain to you. I'm telling you. A pickup person came up and said mysteriously, in order to deal with monsters and the Night King, it is said that the anti-demon weapon plan from 100 years ago is going to be restarted. You guessed it right, it was the plan that made your minister become what he is now. There was not much more to say. The pickup person patted Bae Jun on the shoulder and stood aside. When Bae Jun heard this, his heart was shocked and he clenched his fists. Anti-demon weapons. Lin Yin Yin. Bae Jun suddenly felt a little depressed. So he opened the window. My thoughts drifted back to when I first joined the peace faction. Little Ba, if you call me minister, I will definitely protect you for the rest of my life. Tell me if anyone bullies you, and I will definitely help you teach them a lesson. Bi boy, I recommend you to be the director of Zhanghe branch. Now you are also the director. White boy, they all say I'm a monster. Why? Ba Jun sighed softly and said, sorry, minister. I want to protect you all the time, but my abilities seem to be somewhat lacking. There will probably be more people like you in the future. But what can I do? Fight against the department? Can I really do this? The current head of the warrior department is a radical. It is only a matter of time before everyone becomes a warrior. It is also a matter of time before we have an anti-demon weapons. If only someone could break this sick system of rules, or prevent this from happening. Who could that person be? Somehow, Gu Yan's figure flashed through Bae Jun's mind. Even though the opponent's strength was only innate during the 2 actions, that unyielding belief has always lingered in everyone's mind. Gu Yan. Bae Jun put out his cigarette, his eyes filled with trust in Gu Yan. The minister is left to you. This is the branch. Gu Yan's mouth twitched. What are you talking about? Why are the BA army going to be killed? Don't cry. Leader. He squatted down, stretched out his 2 hands and handed them to Lin Yin Yin. He smiled and said, you are no longer a minister, you don't need to try hard to pretend to be an adult. Don't do things you don't like, this is the secret to a happy life. Tell me what you really want, leader. Lin Yinyin raised her head and looked at Gu Yan, whose expression was gentle and sincere. This is different from the pretended kindness of those people in the headquarters. Gu Yan gives people a very warm feeling. His own silver true energy in the air also conveyed the message that Gu Yan is a good person. Gu Yan is the same as Bai Xiaozi. The other person. You can trust. And, I am no longer a minister. Don't you need to pretend to be an adult anymore? Lin Yinyin looked at Gu Yan in a daze. No one had ever said that to her. Everyone says, Lin Yinyin, you are the minister, you are the crystallization of human wisdom. You are the hope and future of mankind. Although Bai Chun was very nice to her, he also told her that she had to behave like a minister and not eat things that children liked. But Gu Yan understood me and said that I don't need to try so hard to pretend to be an adult anymore. Gu Yan. She pursed her lips slightly, then reached out and grabbed Gu Yan's clenched fist. Then, Lin Yinyin took a deep breath, her face flushed with shyness, and she said in a trembling voice, I want. She looked at Gu Yan's eyes that encouraged her to speak out, and for a moment she retracted what she wanted to say. She lowered her head, took back her hand, and whispered, I want a lollipop. Hey, here you go. Gu Yan chuckled, and put his hands together and said, one isn't enough. Boss. He rubbed his hands up and down, and a magical scene happened. Crash. Just see. Like candy rain, countless lollipops and various types of candies fell from Gu Yan's palm. In less than a moment, it piled up into a small hill. Awoke. Lin Yinyin immediately threw away the previous thought and looked at Candy Hill with shining eyes. Amazing. Isn't it amazing? Aha. Are you happy? Happy. It's so nice of you to take care of me. Just be happy. If the leader is happy, I am happy. Gu Yan looked at Lin Yinyin, who was immersed in the joy of candy. When he looked at the other person's eyebrows, he couldn't help but reveal a hint of indifference. Is the core located between the eyebrows? How to take it out? Besides, the inspection team members over there are also tricky people. It seems that we have to find a suitable time to take action. Chapter 299 Gu Yan Aroyu and Gu Yinyin are here. The next day, Lin Yinyin is not in a hurry yet. Gu Yan gained some favorability and then left. Before leaving, he also got to know the member of the inspection team who was monitoring Lin Yinyin. It was learned that the other party's name was Sunshi, and other information was not disclosed. In the Gu family courtyard, Gu Yan was lying on a lounge chair under a parasol wearing sunglasses, and Yi Yi was lying on Gu Yan's chest, yawning lazily. Meow. It's a sunny day today. It would be even better if Kinkyyu was willing to go out on a date with him. On the side, Lao Kao was reporting the information he had found. Master Sunshi's information has been found. Male. 35 years old, a member of the inspection team of the warrior department headquarters, and in the early stage of Grandmaster cultivation. He has a family and a son. His wife and child are both in Dean City. They are ordinary people and don't know much about warriors. Upon hearing this, Gu Yan slowly took off his sunglasses, with a hint of inexplicable meaning in his eyes. The inspection team is a very special department in the warrior department. Its existence is actually to restrain the warriors in the department to prevent them from using the power in their hands to harm society. And being able to restrain warriors means one's own strength is of course there. Therefore, the minimum requirement to become a member of the inspection team is to become a master. Many people say that you are hanging around in the warrior department just to get a gilded reputation and join the inspection team. It is a department in another system that is different from the warrior department and has greater power. It is rumored that the inspection team leader's cultivation has reached the highest level that humans can reach. That is to say, the peak of the late Grand Master stage. Of course, Gu Yan, who has read the original novel, said that these are not rumors. It's a pity that what happened later, well, everyone knows. Back to the present. He has already learned about Sunshi's information, so he needs to think about how to make good use of it. Certainly, no matter what he thought, he would naturally not take action at this critical juncture. After all, he was still too weak. The pure love value cannot be moved too much because of something. What Gu Yan is waiting for now is after the annual meeting. Once he gets the dagger, he can then carry out his plan in a bold and decisive manner. Only, Gu Yan's eyes flickered. He had already thought of all the possibilities that would result from doing this. Meow. The black cat Yi Yi seemed to have noticed the mood changes of his owner. It opened its eyes and called softly a few times to reassure Gu Yan. Gu Yan was stunned for a moment. Then he picked up Yi Yi with both hands and held her in front of him. Smiling, haha, I didn't notice it at first, but now I think you are becoming more and more human. Should I say that Xiaoling has good taste? Or that you are just smart? Meow. Yi Yi was lifted up and twisted her body awkwardly. I don't know if it's Gu Yan's illusion, but Yi Yi seems to be becoming more and more human recently. Sometimes when he said something, the other person could actually understand it. If he didn't know that the other party was a little wild cat that Xiaoling picked up, I'm afraid he would think that the other party is some new type of monster. Thinking of this, Gu Yan fiddled with Yi's ears and asked Lao Gao, "By the way, how is Shen Waner doing?" "The progress is good. If there are no problems, we will be able to close the network by the end of the year." Hearing this, Gu Yan chuckled. "That's good. Shen Waner and Shaolin have been paying close attention and making plans. It's just that this layout is subtle. The purpose is to make Shaolin and Shen Waner take that last step. Don't forget, Shen Waner was fed the destroying power water by him. As long as one of them takes that step, the other's cultivation will be completely lost. And this key layout lies in Shen Wei Nare's younger brother Shentian." At this time, buzz. Gu Yan's cell phone vibrated. He put Yi down, and the latter collapsed on the lawn because he was needed so comfortably. Gu Yan picked up the phone and was stunned. "Just see. It was a message from my father. Go to the airport to pick up your sister Guyan Aroyu. She is almost at Zhanghe airport." "No way, Dad, I'm a patient." Gu Yan rubbed his brow. She was speechless. "Dad, have you forgotten that your son just came back from the forbidden area?" "TSK, forget it. Guyan Aroyu? What is coming will eventually come." Gu Yan sighed softly, although he was not quite sure why she came here now. "But let us go and meet him anyway. After all, she is my sister in name only." Zhanghe airport. A figure walked out of the terminal. Her steps were light and her long hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. He was dragging a suitcase in his hand, which made slight bumping sounds on the ground. The woman was wearing simple casual clothes and a pair of light blue jeans, which made her figure look even more charming. She wore a pair of sunglasses and had a faint smile on her face. But her demeanor was inviolable and arrogant, which made others dare only watch from afar. Next second, another petite figure ran out angrily. "Hey, Guyan Aroyu, you are my sister after all? Do you have to run so fast? Damn it." The petite figure was wearing a Lolita outfit, and behind her was a man carrying a lot of bags. Hearing this, Guyan Aroyu's eyes behind her sunglasses became extremely mocking. "Oh, if it weren't for you, Gu Yingying, I would have come here by private plane a long time ago. How can we wait until now to get to Zhanghe?" Gu Yingying was a little angry after hearing this. "What can I do? My parents are determined to stop me from leaving, so I must drag you along. It's all because of little Belle being so useless. She can't even deal with my dad." Lindang behind him felt like crying but had no tears. "No way, young lady. Your dad is my employer. Can I handle it?" "Oh." Guyan Aroyu smiled and said nothing, her eyes searching for something at the airport. Next second, two luxury cars drove slowly over and stopped in front of Guyan Aroyu and Gu Yingying, which instantly attracted everyone's attention. Then, click, the car door opened. Gu Yan got out of the car and looked at Guyan Aroyu and Gu Yingying with a smile. He had already seen Guyan Aroyu in the crowd and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. As expected of a member of the Gu family, his genes are amazing. However, he didn't expect that Gu Yingying was there too. Did they come together? "Why, are you so engrossed in watching your sister?" When Guyan Aroyu saw Guyan, whom she hadn't seen for a long time, she suddenly felt a little teasing. She took off her sunglasses and looked at the other person with interest. The latter shrugged and said, "Please spare me. I always make fun of you at the annual meeting. I hope you can show some mercy this year." Guyan Aroyu hasn't said anything yet. Gu Yingying snorted and raised her chin like a proud little peacock. "If you give up being the heir, useless brother, I will let you go this year." I don't know if it's Gu Yingying's illusion, but Gu Yan today is different from before. To talk about the most intuitive difference. That is, becoming more confident. In the past, whenever Gu Yan saw the two of them, he would look unhappy, not wanting to see them, not wanting to talk to them. And he also had an inexplicable sense of inferiority. It was strange that he was willing to pick me up at the airport and even spoke to me this year. Trash brother. Gu Yan looked at Gu Yingying. Where did this version 2.0 of Leng Linger come from? This kind of female devil needs to be severely punished. Oh, no, let's just let the female ghosts collide with each other. Are you saying something bad in your mind? Gu Yingying was an internationally certified master of psychology, so she could naturally see through what Gu Yan was thinking at a glance. You guessed wrong. I was wondering where this little princess came from. She is so beautiful. Gu Yan smiled slightly, hiding his thoughts very well. Just kidding, I am also a master of performance. Really? When Gu Yingying heard this, she panicked. To hide the embarrassment, she glared at Gu Yan and said, "Stop being annoyed. You perverted Lolita L. Come on, drive for us." Okay. While they were chatting, Lao Gao and his bodyguards also loaded the luggage into the car. Guyan Aroyu didn't say anything, but just looked at Guyan meaningfully. My brother seems to have really changed. Interesting. Is it because of Link, Inking Qiu? Sister, aren't you getting in the car? Guyan opened the back door and looked at Guyan Arroyo with some confusion. The latter, on the other hand, was slightly stunned. Huh? Guyan, call me sister? Somehow, Guyan Arroyo's mood improved a lot. And she walked forward. He reached out and touched Guyan's head. Good brother. After saying that, he stretched out his long legs and entered the car. Guyan. Why is the picture different from what I imagined? What about the plot of the vicious female supporting role? Guyan was stunned. What's the matter? Don't the two sisters regard Guyan as a small fry and a loser? Why does it feel like Guyan Arroyo's attitude is pretty good? And Gu Yingying feels like a TS under real little female devil? Guyan felt confused, but never mind, let's find out the news first. Chapter 300. Why can't I be thinking about you, my brother? Inside the car. Hello, Mr. Gao. Hello, Mr. Gao. Lao Gao is the master of the Gu family. As younger generations, Guyan Arroyo and Gu Yingying naturally respect each other very much. You're welcome, ladies. Lao Gao nodded. When Guyan Arroyo and Gu Yingying arrived in Zhanghe, the first place they went to was definitely the Gu family manor. That is, grandparents. While driving on the road, Guyan, who was sitting in the passenger seat, intentionally or unintentionally inquired about the specific reason why the two people came. After all, she came to Zhanghe alone on purpose and appointed him to pick her up at the airport. This is very strange no matter how you look at it. So he asked straight to the point, Sister, are you and Yingying coming here so early because you miss grandma too much? Excluding his grandfather, no one likes Gu Yanlong's bad temper. Guyan's smiling expression made Guyan Arroyo once again feel that her brother had changed a lot. So she raised the corners of her mouth and asked with a smile, why can't it be that you are missing your brother? Her eyes glanced at Guyan's face. My brother seems to have become more handsome. In front of Lao Gao, Gu Yingying was still very restrained. She replied obediently, Brother Guyan, Yingying hasn't seen you for a long time. I miss you a little. I don't believe you too. Guyan kept smiling. Oh, then I'm quite honored. You should be honored. After all, I dropped all my work to come to you. Yeah. Yingying too. She rushed back from the West Country after losing her schedule. The two sisters sang in unison, leaving Guyan at a loss as to how to respond. He smiled and looked away. His expression became very calm. But something was wrong. 9 out of 10 things were wrong. According to their characters, these two people should be very disgusted with this good-for-nothing young man. Could it be that they all know what I did in Zhanghe? So it attracted the attention and interest of both of them? But this wouldn't be enough for the two of them to drop all their work and come here. Right? Just to see him? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Or is it because of the position of heir that he wants to come here early to see his grandparents? But that's not right. If that were the case, they wouldn't have asked him to pick them up at the airport, let alone tell him that they were coming. TSK Guyan couldn't understand. Next second. Oh, by the way, father, there is something I want to confirm with you. Guyan Arroyo's voice reached Guyan's ears. The sound was very close. So close that Guyan could feel the hot breath being exhaled near his ear. He shrank back slightly, turned his head and smiled at Guyan Arroyo, who had to speak close to his ear for some reason. Sister, do you like to get so close when you talk? Guyan Arroyo remained calm and chuckled as she shrank back again. Oh, I'm so sorry, because didn't we always talk like this before? Really? So what do you want to ask, sister? Guyan didn't believe the other party's lies. Just brother, do you have a girlfriend? But the appearance of Guyan Arroyo's words. Gu Yingying pricked up her ears and tensed her body without making a sound. The whole person became focused. Lao Gao was driving the car, looking at Guyan Arroyo in the rearview mirror, who had a hint of nervousness between her brows. He seemed to understand something. He laughed inwardly. What a dishonest family they were. And Guyan. He was slightly stunned, but soon came to his senses. Well, yes. After saying that, he reacted instantly. When looking at the complex emotions in the eyes of the two sisters in the backseat, Guyan suddenly realized. So you two made a special trip just for this? No, how come this is different from the plot of Vicious Sisters I imagined? At the same time, somewhere in the shadow space, this space seems to be a secret place lost in the void. The rules of space and the flow of time are completely different from those in the real world. The entire space is filled with a deep and unfathomable atmosphere. Like a palace in the abyss, ancient and solemn. The center of the space was surrounded by layers of twisted shadows, with faint blue arcs flashing from time to time in the shadows, like a portal connecting to another world. On the ground, there is a pitch-black palace. Enter the palace. On the ceiling, dark roots intertwined into a huge spider web-like structure, with a huge obsidian hanging from the middle, emitting a cold and strange light. In the center of the hall, a huge square black stone table is particularly eye-catching. Around the stone table, there sat a figure that Gu Yan felt was familiar with. Wu Rongxi, Shangguan Maya Yin, Mei Zhu, Bi Alian and the rest of the night organization's members. The main seat is the stone table. Ling Qingyu's expression was as unfathomable as an icy lake. And her eyes were filled with a dark light. The black robe seemed to flutter gently in the windless environment due to some unknown force. Around her, the shadows in the air seemed to retreat in awe. Some of the other people in the room remained silent, while others looked at Ling Qingyu with admiration. Master, I haven't seen for a long time. Changguan Mayayin was so happy that she decided to perform well today. The atmosphere in the palace was tense and solemn, as if every molecule in the air was waiting for the upcoming order. Finally, Ling Qingyu's voice sounded. It was not loud, but it echoed in this closed space. Report on the status of the plan. The first collective meeting of the night organization's night space begins. I didn't expect that after my perception ability was improved, I could open up such a new space. Xiaoling, do you think it is more like that? And if I want, can Gu Yan come in? Shut up and maintain your Night King persona. Xiaoling sighed softly, because his other self had an appointment with Lu Ding to go out and play together on the weekend. As a result, the other party's mind is already filled with the idea of quickly finishing up organizational matters and then waiting for a weekend date. This kind of thinking is very bad. But the other me would have this thought precisely because the power of the night no longer erodes the other. This kind of thing, for another self, is not a good thing. Chapter 301. How is your relationship with the girl from the Ling family? Gu family manor. Grandma, I missed you so much. Gu Yingying threw herself into old Madame Gu's arms with a cute look on her face. Madame Gu also rubbed Gu Yingying's little head and smiled kindly. Oh, my Yingying has grown so big. I haven't seen you for a year. Yingying has become even more beautiful. Gu Yingying was delighted to hear this. She giggled and said, "Thank you, Grandma." Madame Gu smiled and nodded, then looked at Gu Yan'Aroyu with some reproach. You remembered to come and see me today? The latter showed an awkward smile, walked forward and took Madame Gu's arm. Isn't it that the company is too busy? Why don't you come here as soon as you have time? Be busy it's better not to come to see us two old guys. Grandma. The other side. Mr. Gu Qianlong, who was ignored by everyone, was sitting aside drinking tea seriously. Master Gu. Why are you drinking tea here alone? Gu Yan strolled over, picked up a cup and filled himself with tea while smiling. Seeing this, Gu Qianlong frowned slightly and snorted coldly. You are still so disrespectful. But having said that, at least someone paid attention to him, and Gu Qianlong felt a little better. We are a family, there is no need to be so formal. It is so troublesome to follow the rules. Gu Yanking Min took a sip of tea, paused, and then looked at Gu Qianlong with a smile. Oh, my dear grandfather, do you know any geniuses with management skills? Can you introduce me to two of them? The construction of Light of Hope has been completed and the classes have been divided into different classes. He can find ordinary talents, but he needs to think hard about management talents among warriors. Since it is your own organization, the management talents must be top-notch. After hearing this, Gu Qianlong put down his teacup and looked at Gu Yan with a slightly angry expression. You are being so attentive for no reason, no wonder you came here. Master Gu, why do you say that to me? I just missed you so much. That's why I came here. It just suddenly occurred to me that there was such a thing, and then I just said it out loud. If you don't agree, forget it. It really breaks my heart that you still think of me like this. Gu Yan covered his chest with his hands, his expression full of pain. Gu Qianlong's heart twitched when he saw this. This is this my Yanming's son, my grandson? Although he is no longer pursuing Shen water from the Shen family, why has he become so frivolous? But it's rare that my grandson asks me for help, so I must help. Then, okay, stop acting. Gu Qianlong took a sip of tea expressionlessly. The old man of Zhang Hal's family is my good friend. Their family specializes in training warriors. There should be the talent you want. Hearing this, Gu Yan was stunned. Uncle Gu, how did you know? He was just about to ask how you knew I wanted to use it for warriors. Gu Qianlong snorted coldly. Your father asked for 10 assassins from the Gu family. You don't need to guess to know that they were for you. I don't care what you do outside if you need resources. Our Gu family will support you. And you have to remember. Gu Qianlong said this, put down the teacup, looked at Gu Yan, and said seriously, solve the problems you can solve by yourself. But if you encounter someone or something you can't afford to offend, you must discuss it with the family immediately. Don't do it alone. After hearing this, Gu Yan was slightly startled. Ah, is this the bond of a big family? Is this the unity of the villain family? Gu Yan took a deep breath and smiled. I will, thank you grandpa. Grandfather. Gu Qianlong raised his eyebrows slightly, then drank the tea in silence. And suddenly, Gu Qianlong seemed to remember something. He looked at Gu Yan and said, "By the way, how is your relationship with the girl from the Leng family? There are rumors all over the place. When will you clarify it?" As soon as these words came out, brush, brush, brush. Fu Qianlong noticed that several gazes were suddenly directed towards him. He was stunned and looked towards the source of the gaze. I suddenly started sweating profusely. He saw his wife, Mrs. Gu, looking at him with a kind look. His two granddaughters were looking at Gu Yan intently. "What's wrong? Is my question wrong?" After hearing this, Gu Yan also replied calmly, "The relationship between Qiyu and I is really good. But our relationship is long-lasting, so it's certainly not as mysterious as the outside world says. I'll bring Qiyu with me when I prepare for the annual meeting to officially announce this." As Gu Yan's voice fell, the expressions of Gu Yan'erou and Gu Yingying also became increasingly strange. When I heard that Gu Yan wanted to bring Leng Qiyu to the annual meeting, they felt an indescribable feeling. After Gu Yan finished speaking, he put down the teacup and smiled at Madame Gu. "Is it okay, Grandma?" After hearing this, Madame Gu raised her lips, nodded and smiled. "This is your love, it's up to you to decide." "Thank you, Grandma." Now that Madame Gu has spoken, it seems the matter has been settled. Before leaving Gu's manor, Gu Yan met an unexpected person. That is, "Mr. Gu, the annual meeting will be here soon. I believe Master Zihua will also be looking forward to meeting you then." The maid Zihua, who had not been seen for a long time, stood in front of Gu Yan and others. Although she tried her best to conceal her triumphant mood, the slight smugness in the corners of her eyes was still exposed to Gu Yan's sight. Gu Yan said at the time that as long as she could hold on until the annual meeting, she would no longer meet or contact her young master Gu Zihua. Then, not only would he not expose their relationship, he would even be able to help her and young master Zihua live together. And this deadline will soon be approaching. Gu Yan knew what the other party meant. So he pretended to be helpless and said, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be able to endure for so long. It seems that I will lose this time. I admit your perseverance." Thank you for the compliment, Master. Zihua has something else to do, so I'll leave first." Zihua bent down slightly and bowed to Gu Yan and the others, then left. She was already looking forward to meeting Master Gu Zihua at the annual meeting. "When did Zihua become so close to you, Gu Yan?" "Gu Yan, she won't be yours." Gu Yan'erou and Gu Yingying looked at Gu Yan suspiciously. The latter's mouth twitched. "How can you tell that I have a good relationship with her? This is obviously full of gunpowder, okay? Besides," Gu Yan looked at Gu Yan'erou and Gu Yingying, who were still following him. "Why are you still following me? I'm going home too." As soon as these words came out, Gu Yan'erou looked at Gu Yan with some confusion. "If we don't follow you, where will we live?" "That's right." Gu Yingying nodded and glared at Gu Yan. "Brother, please don't abandon us since we have come to Zhanghe. As a local tyrant, you must take responsibility for us. What the hell is going on here? Isn't the house of your grandparents big enough for you to live in?" Gu Yan slowly typed a few question marks. Did the sisters want to go back with him? Just when I think about this. He looked at the two vicious sisters in front of him who were smiling but saying nothing. For a moment, the corner of his mouth twitched. Chapter 300. To life is not easy. Xiaoling sighs. In the dark space, everyone reports on the status of previous plans. Liao Yan was the first to say, all members of Xuan Wu sect have been confirmed dead. The heir of Xuan Wu Qi died, and Xuan Wu Qi was absorbed. A handsome man said slowly, according to Mayan Aegean's investigation, it has been confirmed that the address of the Peach Blossom Club is the Forbidden Area No. 5. Because of the appearance of the Nether clan, the Peach Blossom Society was wiped out. Hear this. The bandaged man named Aegean said with a lump in his throat. The ancient spirit. The handsome man was named Han Ying. He took over the conversation and said respectfully to Leng Qiyu. Aegean means that according to what the warriors we interrogated said, the ancient energy appeared in the No. 5 Forbidden Area, combined with the address of the Peach Blossom Club. We speculate that the ancient energy is the energy of the flower god of the Peach Blossom Club. Speaking of this, Changguan Mayayan also interrupted and said, Master, the Nether clan has also been confirmed by the warrior department to be a group of ancient monsters. When we were in the Forbidden Area, the woman who looked like an ancient monster also called their king. The king clearly stated that he knew our intention to go to the Forbidden Area. It should be referring to the fact that the sex warriors want to find the ancient energy. Liaoyan glared at Shangguan Mayayan when he heard this. Damn Shangguan, you interrupted me again. Meizu spoke up at this time. Master Lin Yin, the minister of the peace faction of the warrior department, has been removed from office and his power has been emptied. A head of the Zhanghe branch, B. Zhang, was also taken back to the headquarters for investigation. Now that the peace faction is leaderless, this may be our opportunity. After hearing this, Leng Qingqiu had more or less understood the current situation. She pretended to be silent for a moment, then slowly said, Shangguan Maya Yin and the others should continue to be undercover in the warrior department. What you need to do next is to enter the senior management of the department to gain more internal information. Yes. Leng Qingqiu looked at the man holding the folding fan again. Livia, you should continue to protect Leng Linger in secret. If anything unusual happens on campus, report it to me immediately. Livia nodded respectfully, yes. As for the others, continue to look for suitable members of the organization and recruit them. At last, Leng Qingqiu glanced at everyone with a cold gaze. Everyone. This Forbidden Area incident has already highlighted your fatal weakness of insufficient strength. Everyone must use all available resources and time to improve their combat effectiveness. Yes. Biaoyan retracted her head. She hates practicing the most. After all, isn't her innate charm attractive? It's almost time. Leng Qingqiu nodded with satisfaction. Okay, let's adjourn the meeting. Rush. A moment. The space around him began to gradually distort. Everyone found themselves just like when they entered here. Their bodies began to become illusory. As the white light flashed, Shangguan Maoyin and others woke up in the warrior hospital. He still maintained the same movement as when he entered the shadow space. Hiss, you are worthy of being the master. It's so easy to do such a thing. Shangguan Maoyin took a breath of cold air. Her master's power had become stronger again. I must work harder to keep up with my master's pace. Ling family. Leng Qingqiu's consciousness also returned to the study. She exhaled. As her perception improved, she found that she was able to create such a shadow space, and it can draw in the consciousness of the night organization members. In this way, you can show your face remotely while staying at home. Although, it seems that this world already has this technology. I seem to have heard Guyan say it was called something like video link. Speaking of videos, Leng Qingqiu seemed to have thought of something. She picked up the phone that had been lying on the table. He reached out and felt around. There was a look of confusion on his face. Do you want to give Guyan a call? I have finished my own work. But the weekend is the day after tomorrow. If I hit the other party now, wouldn't it seem like I was being to deliberate? Besides, if Guyan is busy, would it disturb him if I call in now? If Guyan misunderstood that she seemed to like him very much, it would make her feel very embarrassed. Another me. I cried and made a scene in front of the furnace. Do you still care about the embarrassment? Xiaoling, shut up, it was all an accident. Leng Qingqiu blushed. And she clenched her fist and swore, I will definitely not shed a single tear in front of Guyan again. I am the Night King. You'd better be. And there is still some time before the weekend. During this time, you should endure the loneliness and read a book. Reading. When Leng Qingqiu heard this, for some reason he showed a hint of hesitation. But soon, she reflected on herself. Leng Qingqiu, a Leng Qingqiu, a Leng Qingqiu. What's wrong with you? Obviously, I used to like reading and studying very much. But recently I seem to be getting more and more lazy. This is wrong, this shouldn't happen. I must become my old self again. So, it's time to study. Leng Qingqiu picked up his phone and walked into the esports room. Why go to the esports room? Xiaoling, you don't understand. Now we have to use the scientific research products at hand to study more efficiently. For example, I can now directly search for complete information online. I will read for me, and I just need to listen. Leng Qingqiu said confidently. Then, as the door of the esports room closed, the sound of a romantic comedy slowly came from inside the house. Xiaoling said that he had nothing to say to his other self. What caused such a cruel Night King to become what he is now? While life is not easy, Xiaoling sighed. It seems. It's time to go talk to Lu Ding again. Chapter 303. The furnace is finally here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. That night. Family-oriented. Oh Hoashai Kaun, take your sister Yan Aroyu and sister Yingying to identify the bedroom. Su Morong saw how much the two sisters liked each other. To say why. Thank you, Sister Su. Yan Aroyu and Gu Yingying replied in unison. Guyan and Gu Tianming looked at each other for several seconds. Is this the charm of language? Xiao Yan, what are you still standing there for? Tianming, don't just sit there, go and help clean the table. Su Morong frowned when he saw the two indifferent men. This father and son are so tactless. Oh. Gu Tianming ran away wearing an apron. Guyan looked helplessly at the smiling Guyan, Aroyu and Gu Yingying. Okay, come with me. Okay brother. Thank you, brother. The Gu family villa is also very large, so it is no problem for a few more people to live there. Guyan pointed to several empty rooms and said, you can pick any one you like. Any room here is available. If you need anything, just call the servants. Guyan Aroyu looked at a few rooms and nodded with satisfaction. She seemed to have thought of something. She looked at Gu Yan meaningfully. Which room does Ling Qinkyu live in? Why did this involve my Qinkyu? Gu Yan's mouth twitched. Qinkyu hasn't moved in yet. At this point, he paused, then emphasized, you don't need to worry about where she lives. The Gu family is not short of money anyway if things don't work out. I will buy 2 more houses and live with her in different ways. Hearing these arrogant words, and considering that there was no one else around, Gu Yingying's true face was exposed again. She snorted coldly. Are you beginning to show your rich young master's true face now? If you were to become the head of the family, wouldn't this huge Gu family be ruined by you? Gu Yingying was very unhappy. Damn it, why was it that Ling Qinkyu? It's so annoying. Gu Yan chuckled and shook his head. Don't mention that I'm not the head of the Gu family yet. Even if. There was a hint of pride in his tone. As long as Qinkyu is here, the Gu family will never fall no matter how hard I try. Gu Yan felt very unhappy when she heard Gu Yan keep calling our Qinkyu left and right. On the surface, she smiled cheerfully and said, do you trust the eldest daughter of the Ling family so much? That's right, even I have heard of her name before. She is proficient in everything from music, chess, calligraphy and painting. Even the business elite circle is full of her legendary stories. At this day, her paintings are still treasured in the greatest international museum in the West. So, Gu Yan looked at Gu Yan with some curiosity. She asked meaningfully, such a legendary figure would not just marry a random man, even after going through that kind of thing. Especially since you're such a loser. Oh no, it seems like you can practice again, brother. But this is not enough to prove that Ling Qinkyu will fall in love with you like this. Have you ever thought that she is actually for? The words haven't finished yet. Gu Yan stopped talking. Because Gu Yan just kept smiling. He shook his head slightly. Sister, I know what you want to say. I am interested in the Gu family's wealth and the Gu family's warrior power. Or something. But I understand better than anyone that Qinkyu didn't agree to be with me for this reason. That's right, he even knows Ling Qinkyu better than she knows herself. Because you know everything about the other person. The true feelings that Ling Qinkyu showed in front of him were definitely not something that could be acted out. So why? Because Qinkyu and I are pure love. When Gu Yan said this, he was very serious and sincere. Gu Yan was stunned by what she saw. After a long while, she smiled and reached out to rub Gu Yan's head. You have really grown up. But I still need to meet with Ling Qinkyu before the annual meeting. Because, Gu Yan looked at Gu Yan with a smile. I'm your sister. There must be no problem in getting to know your sister-in-law, right? Is this appropriate? Gu Yan was a little resistant. As he didn't want his date to be disturbed by others? Is it appropriate, or is it that the bond of pure love between you, Gu Yan, and Ling Qinkyu is just this? Gu Yan asked back. Although I don't need to prove to anyone the pure love bond between Qinkyu and I. But now that you've said that, I do feel a little upset. Gu Yan slapped Gu Yan's arm away, and looked at her kindly. And let's do it the day after tomorrow. It's a good opportunity for me to introduce you to Qinkyu and my sister-in-law. And I'll look forward to it. Gu Yan also smiled back. Then walked over to Gu Yingying, who had a complicated expression on her face. Patted her on the shoulder, and said, I'm fine here. Yingying, what do you think? As soon as the words fell, Gu Yingying gnashed her teeth and whispered, I don't care about that. She glared at Gu Yan. Brother Zau, you are the kind of bastard who would help others count their money after being cheated. After scolding, Gu Yingying ran back to her room alone. What's wrong with this kid? Gu Yan was stunned. Gu Yan also shrugged. Who knows, by the way? She looked at Gu Yan. I've never been to Zhang before. Can you take us out to shop for some clothes tomorrow? I'm going to meet Ling Qinkyu the day after tomorrow. And I don't want to be outdone by her in terms of temperament and appearance. Upon hearing this, Gu Yan looked up and down at Gu Yan, then chuckled. He shook his head, not caring about the change in the other person's expression, and said without hesitation, are you comparable to my Qinkyu? It's hard, the fist is hard. Gu Yan tried hard to keep smiling, but veins on her neck were popping out from being too angry. She took a deep breath, not angry. Gu Yan chuckled and looked at Gu Yan with a kind smile. Then sister will look forward to tomorrow. After saying that, he turned and went into the room. Gu Yan was stunned by what he saw. What's the matter? Why do I feel that Gu Yan and Gu Yingying's behavior is so strange? Are these two people's behavior too concerned about Ling Qinkyu? Could it be? Gu Yan seemed to have thought of something. His eyes widened. Could it be that these two people, like me? No. Gu Yan quickly discarded this idea. How could he have such 3 major misconceptions in life? How can I be liked by others when I am such a loser according to the setting? So, it's not me that likes it, but Ling Qinkyu. After all, Ling Linger's painting style is already very strange. Well, according to the theory that geniuses are attracted to each other, it's normal for Guyan Arroyo and Gu Yingying to fall in love with Leng Qiyu. Right? No wonder I want to meet King Qiyu. Guyan sighed softly. It's not good for this person to be too perfect who can stand the fact that he is popular with both men and women. As expected, it's King Qiyu from our family. Guyan thought as he walked towards his bedroom. He was already looking forward to the date the day after tomorrow. Thinking of this, he pushed open the door. Only, as soon as he entered the door, an inexplicable cold wind blew across his body. At the same time, Guyan also discovered a figure that startled him. I saw that the other person was wearing a simple long dress and standing in front of the half-covered floor-to-ceiling window. Under the moonlight, the other person's cold and beautiful face was revealed. She tilted her head slightly and said calmly, "It's finally here. The furnace tripod. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Guyan. Chapter 304 predicts that Guyan killed Leng Qiyu. There was a dim light on in Guyan's room. On both sides of the crystal table, Guyan and Xiaoling sat on the small sofas on both sides. On it were some tea and snacks that had just been brought in by the servants. Of course, Guyan took it at the door. Xiaoling smiled and looked at Guyan. "Why don't you say anything? Is it because I'm so beautiful?" Guyan glanced at Xiaoling, then said slowly, "It's a bit unexpected." "Accident? Well, after all, you're the one who usually calls me out." "Oh, so you're really touched by my initiative?" "Well, we can't continue this topic." Guyan poured a cup of tea for the other party, and then asked, "I'm touched. What's there to be touched about you and me? It's better to say that when you come to my place. I dare not move." Xiaoling glanced at the teacup, then looked at Guyan meaningfully. "This cup, have I used the other one?" Guyan quickly put down the teacup he had just picked up. He said helplessly, "It's disposable. It's used to entertain guests. As throw it away after use." "Oh. Come on, what do you want to do with me this time?" Hearing this, Xiaoling pretended to sigh sadly, with a hint of worry on his brows. "Could it be that I can't come to see you if I don't have anything to do? Lu Ding, actually, I am also very lonely. The other me can enjoy the daytime, but I can only sneak out of her body carefully like this. Do you know how uncomfortable this feeling makes me feel?" At this point, Xiaoling pursed his lips, raised his head, and a hint of tears flashed in his eyes. "Lu Ding, you are the only one willing to accompany me like this, so I just want to talk to you. Does such a small request annoy you?" After hearing this, Guyan interrupted without hesitation. "Don't act. Xiaoling, hurry up and tell me what's going on." 1 second to seconds, 3 seconds. Xiaoling gradually changed from looking pitiful to being extremely calm. She just stared at Guyan and said calmly, "Scumbag. Am I a scumbag again? Can you watch less TV dramas?" "Aha, the one watching the TV series is not me, but another me." "Qiyu, she's watching TV? You're kidding. Oh, if you don't believe it, forget it." After bickering for a few minutes, Xiaoling finally started talking about the purpose of their visit. She snapped her fingers lightly. Buzz. A black hole appeared, and a little black cat fell out of it. "Meow? Yi?" With a confused look on her face, was pulled over remotely by Xiaoling using his power. "First, let's see how Yi is being raised by you." Xiaoling pinched Yi's neck and lifted her up. When she saw the hint of humanity in the other person's eyes, she nodded with satisfaction. "Looks like he's well fed." After saying that, he placed it in his arms and began to knead it gently. Yi didn't quite understand. "What's going on? Why did I suddenly appear here with the hostess when I was sleeping?" Guyan raised his eyebrows after hearing this. "Of course, the cat food we use is of the highest quality. For Yi, the best food is not cat food." Xiaoling suddenly said something that made no sense. Of course, she didn't dwell on this topic for long, but continued, "The power of the night has stopped eroding my other self. Before long, the influence of the power of night on her will completely disappear." As soon as these words came out, Guyan was stunned. Although he had more or less guessed that the Night King's dagger would have an impact on people's spirit, but now after hearing what Xiaoling said, he felt a sense of fear. "Fine. Fortunately, I have done a lot of work, otherwise, Qiyu would seem to become like in the original book." Xiaoling seemed to have sensed Guyan's reassurance, and she said calmly, "The other me is no longer affected by the power of the night, and it's actually because of you. If you hadn't appeared, she would have followed the established route and become the Night King." "A set route?" Guyan didn't quite understand. Xiaoling slowly turned her head. Interweaving her eyes with Guyan's, she said word by word, "Absorb Leng Linger's heart blood, become the Night King, and destroy the world." Click. Guyan's heart skipped a beat. He looked at Xiaoling in shock, and the latter's mouth corners curved into a dangerous arc. What's going on? Why does Xiaoling know all this? Isn't this the original plot? Guyan found that he still seemed to have not seen through Xiaoling. Xiaoling smoothed Yi's hair and said with a smile. Be thankful, because of your appearance, this prophecy will not come true. Prophecy? Yes, Xiaozi, do you still remember? Xiaozi is the ancient evil book that can fulfill the wish of the wisher by paying a price. Guyan nodded. I know. When Xiaoling heard this, a hint of interest appeared in his eyes. This prophecy was predicted by Xiaozin. Otherwise, why do you think he would come to me in my other self? And why did you choose me in my other self as the Night King? Wait, my CPU is a bit dry. Guyan looked at Xiaoling, took a deep breath and asked, you mean the dagger that became the Night King actually belongs to that evil book? That's right. Then why did you tell me before that you didn't know how the Night King was born? I really didn't know before, but after going to the forbidden area, the relationship between you and my other self has warmed up. And your perception has improved, so I can understand more things. Guyan still didn't understand after hearing this. Can you understand? Can Qiyu understand too? And what does the warming of feelings have to do with perception? After she finished speaking, Xiaoling shook her head and said with a smile, I refuse to answer the second half of the question. But the first question, I can tell you that what I know about the other one is what I want her to know. After all. Having said that, Xiaoling slightly turned his body and moved closer to Guyan, until he could almost hear the breathing sounds between them. Xiaoling finally stopped. She looked directly into Guyan's eyes that were eager to know the truth, and said slowly, I am the current owner of Zidian. During the incident, Leng Qiyu created a second personality called me. Because I have no emotions, the evil book bound me to it, and the other me was bound to the Night King's dagger. I am responsible for stabilizing the main personality's emotions and ensuring that he becomes the Night King according to the prophecy. And you broke this prophecy. But with it came new prophecies. Speaking of this, buzz. A cult book appeared out of nowhere. Brush, brush, brush. He flipped the pages quickly in front of Guyan until he stopped. Guyan Ke saw the content of the prophecy in the cult book. Guyan killed Leng Qiyu. The warrior's world was destroyed by Guyan. Guyan succeeded. After seeing the three prophecies on display, Guyan was stunned. Chapter 305, Improving Favorability, New Memories. What is this prophecy about? Guyan took a deep breath and read the contents of the book carefully. Article 1. Guyan killed Leng Qiyu. Guyan Yuyan should be me. Right? Leng Qiyu is our big baby, right? And then, why can't I understand these words when put together? I killed Leng Qiyu? Are you kidding me? How could I possibly kill Leng Qiyu? Article 2. The warrior's world was destroyed by Guyan. You're going to give me a BOSS script, right? Let me destroy the world. If I destroy the world, how can I be in love with Qiyu? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Article 3. Guyan succeeded. I succeeded. Guyan fell into deep thought. If he had to say what he most wanted to accomplish, it would definitely be to make Leng Qiyu change the original ending. And this is obviously in conflict with the first point. How could I kill Qiyu? Guyan looked at Xiaoling, who was showing an inexplicable smile, and then pointed at the cult book. Is this all written casually? No, this is the result predicted based on the route you are currently taking. I want to ask, is there a possibility that this book is too old and its prophetic ability is no longer effective? The words fell. Hey, human, what do you think happened to this heresy? A cult book in front of him quickly closed, and a huge mouth full of sharp teeth opened on the side of the book, and a scarlet eye opened above the huge mouth. Guyan didn't feel the slightest bit of discomfort. He just pinched his brows with a headache. TSK, it's already strange that a book can talk and make wishes. Now there is such a broken prophecy again. You guys are still a bunch of riddlers. Hey, who in my family understands? Xiaozi flew around Guyan in dissatisfaction, and snorted coldly, human, the predictions in this book will never be wrong. So you will definitely experience these three prophecies in the future. As soon as these words came out, Guyan retorted. And how did Qiyu's prophecy get broken? Well, this. Xiaozi was choked and speechless, as if he felt embarrassed to be refuted. But he didn't know why the prophecy would become invalid. So I had to fight back forcefully. This was an accident. There won't be such accidents again. Oh, after all, you are out of date, so the prophecy is invalid. Guyan continued. Since Qiyu's prophecy can be changed, then can't mine also be changed? Theoretically. Xiaozi stammered and wanted to explain something. If I take other steps, will this prophecy be changed as well? Guyan grabbed Xiaozi, who was flying in the air. The latter struggled in a very human way, but finally found that he could not escape Guyan's clutches. So he had to explain the reason. Damn human, it's because you are a special existence that you can affect the direction of the prophecy. As for why you are so special, I don't know. When Xiaozi said this, he looked at Guyan in confusion. He wanted to spy on him. but he found that Gu Yan seemed to be blocked by something, making him unable to see any information at all. Perhaps it is because of this that the other party is able to influence the direction of the prophecy? However, the only one who could stop me from snooping was that guy back then. The one named Xiao Wei. At this time, Buzz. As Xiao Zi's body trembled, he turned into a black light in the blink of an eye and sank into Xiaoling's eyebrows. Guyan then looked at Xiaoling, curled his lips and asked, Xiaoling, will this prophecy really come true? Hearing this, Xiaoling stepped forward, looked into Guyan's eyes meaningfully and said, if I say yes, Lu Ding, will you still stick to your plan? The words fell. Guyan was stunned. Time flows in the silent sound of silence. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Guyan clenched his fists, looked at Xiaoling, and said slowly, yes, but I won't let the prophecy happen. Tell me why. He took a deep breath and said seriously, because I love Qiyu the most. Xiaoling just looked at Guyan like that. He seemed to be thinking about something. A long time. She raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Really? Then I'll wait and see. Xiaoling put his hands behind his back, turned around and walked towards the French window step by step. It's almost time, I want to go back. The topic changed so quickly that Guyan was unable to react for a moment. Shouldn't you have ridiculed me? This is the proper procedure. Leaving now? Guyan asked the other party subconsciously. Ow? Xiaoling stopped and turned his head. A playful smile appeared on his face. Can't bear to leave me? Under the moonlight, Xiaoling gave people the feeling of a night elf playing with people's hearts. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Guyan looked away. He was not used to Xiaoling using Qinyu's body to say such things. Goodbye, Furnace. I am very happy tonight too. Remember what I said before. Xiaoling stretched out her hand and a black vortex appeared. This was how she came here. Words, what words? Guyan looked at the other party, somewhat puzzled. That is, Xiaoling stepped into the black vortex and sank into it. The voice finally reached Guyan's ears. I'm lonely about this. Buzz. The vortex disappears. At the same time, the trust of the pure love object has increased to 93. Unlock new memory fragments, please check. The system prompt sound came. Guyan was stunned for a moment. Has the favorability increased? And it increased by 2 at one time? What the hell? Guyan recalled how Xiaoling looked when he left just now. This person doesn't seem to have improved his favorability. Meow? At this time, Yi walked to Guyan's feet, raised its head and called out to Guyan. It seemed as if he was expressing his confusion about the sudden disappearance of the hostess. TSK. It even woke up Yi. Guyan picked up Yi helplessly. And since he couldn't figure out how to improve, he gave up thinking about it. Since I have obtained new memory fragments. So come and have a look. In less than a moment. After settling Yi down again, Guyan sat on the bed, looking at the memory bubble in front of him, which was bigger than before, and fell into deep thought. Isn't this memory bubble a bit too big? A memory bubble used to be only as big as a face. But now it is as big as 2 faces. Reporting to the host. This is because the favorability is increased by 2 points at once. So the 2 memory fragments are fused. Okay. Guyan nodded and stopped worrying about it. What is the memory this time? Could you tell me a little more? Thinking of this, Guyan reached out and touched the memory bubble in front of him. For a while. Loss of consciousness. Chapter 306, Sad Memories. Strange little cold. Time passes. Consciousness gradually returned. A familiar Kokathis voice came to my ears. Guyan? Guyan, I'm getting angry, can you please answer me? A familiar voice lingers in my ears. Guyan slowly opened his eyes and raised his head. He first looked around in confusion. When he found himself in an empty classroom, he was slightly stunned. How does this memory come from school? Guyan. Following the voice, Guyan slowly looked over. Just see. In front of him stood a woman with her hands on her hips. She was extremely beautiful in both temperament and appearance. Qiyu? Guyan was stunned for a moment and then said the other person's name without thinking. It seemed like this was the first time that Qiyu was called that by Guyan. Her face flushed for a moment. She probably crossed her arms over her chest and raised her head. Qiyu. Okay, where did you learn this? I'm telling you. Even if you called me like that, I won't forgive you for pretending to sleep and ignoring me just now. Guyan blinked his eyes, and in order to clarify the situation, he asked, No, I was feeling dizzy just now. What did you say? Hearing this, Qiyu glared at Guyan, then took a deep breath and said, That's right, we Ray about to graduate. Haven't you thought about what you're going to do after graduation? What to do, of course. Guyan was just about to say, I want to marry you. But the words came out of my mouth and turned into, Of course, we will take it one step at a time. You still have no plans. Leng Qiyu sighed, then put his thumb on his chest. His eyes showing a confident light. Come and create a group with me. Gu Yan. Let's be stars together. Gu Yan seemed a little unbelievable after hearing this. Group? Star? Although Gu Yan wanted to ask more, his body couldn't help but lie back on the table, and he said tiredly. A hit sounds so troublesome. No trouble. Leng Qiyu grabbed Gu Yan's collar with dissatisfaction. Give me your consent, you bastard. Okay. What's the group name? How about calling it Cold Words? You are still so bad at naming. The words fell. Gu Yan found that the things in front of him began to fast forward at an extremely fast speed. Everything around me flashed by as quickly as a PP worker. But for some reason, Gu Yan could deeply feel everything that flashed by every time. Gu Yan, this is the venue for our group, Lengyu. Gu Yan, can you cheer up? Our first performance will start soon. Gu Yan, we are famous, our songs are all over the internet. Gu Yan, get up and train. Gu Yan, there are so many stars tonight. Thank you for playing with me. Gu Yan, that's the one. There's something to say, oh forget it, I won't say it. Gu Yan Yu Yan. The name that is called most often in my ears is my own name. Gu Yan seemed to have experienced a century. He seemed to be experiencing this memory of life himself. The setbacks in the early days of the group's formation, the joy of a successful performance, the feeling of becoming extremely popular, and the desire to become a top star. Then all these positive emotions disappeared as the picture gradually became darker and gloomy. What followed was a feeling of depression filling the chest. Darkness engulfed, and Gu Yan's surroundings became dim. The only sound in my ears was the ticking of hospital instruments. What's wrong? Why do you feel so sad? I don't know how much time has passed. Hiss. It was a rainy afternoon. Inside the hospital. Crash. The door of the ward was pushed open. Gu Yan. Leng Qiyu looked panicked at the figure in the ward who looked thinner than ever before. The once jet black hair had dried and fallen off, and the once sunny and healthy body was now wrapped in a hospital gown. What's wrong? Gu Yan came back to his senses and leaned against the backrest of the bed when he heard the call. He subconsciously turned his head and looked towards the door. I saw. Leng Qiyu's eyes were red, and she covered her mouth. As if she couldn't accept the current reality. You haven't come to training for a long time. I thought something happened. How could this happen? Leng Qiyu's voice was choked with sobs. She put down her hand and walked over trembling Lai. Only then did Gu Yan realize that he seemed sick. Still a very serious one. At this point, Gu Yan could no longer control his body. And could only act according to his memory. Sorry. Gu Yan's voice in my memory was hoarse, as if his vocal cords had been peeled off. But he still tried to keep a warm smile on his face. Something happened. You still found out. It's a bit ugly. Qiyu, you should just go. Leng Qiyu pursed her lips after hearing this and looked at Gu Yan with a look of despair. The other person has been tortured by illness and is no longer recognizable. A tube was inserted into the neck for breathing, and a large hole was dug out in the abdomen and a tool was installed to help with purification and breathing. She clenched her fists. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you were so serious? At this point, Leng Qiyu's tears fell. She wiped her tears with a sob. It must be because I kept forcing you to train until very late. It's all my fault. What should I do, Gu Yan? What should I do now? Gu Yan stretched out his hand, of which only bones could be seen. Wanting to comfort Leng Qiyu, but as if he knew Leng Qiyu's current condition, he withdrew his hand with a dim look in his eyes. He explained hoarsely. No one would have thought of such a thing. Qiyu. Don't feel less sad and feel heartbroken. Just treat me as a passerby in your life. Leng Qiyu felt even more devastated as she listened. She shook her head and choked up. No. You're going to be fine. Didn't we agree to be the top? No, I don't want you to die. I don't want it. The memory scene stops here, and then fast forwards again. During this period, Leng Qiyu would come to take care of Gu Yan every day. Because Gu Yan in this memory world is an orphan and his relatives had not been in contact for a long time. So the only person who came to visit him was Leng Qiyu. The group's work came to a halt, and fans speculated online whether Gu Yan and Leng Qiyu had disbanded the group. Day after day, week after week. The doctors said it was amazing that Gu Yan could hold on until now. But the bad news came too quickly. This day, Leng Qiyu came to the ward to visit Gu Yan as usual. Gu Yan, I have a good idea for a new song when you get better. We will. The words haven't finished yet. All Leng Qiyu saw was an empty ward, a nurse making the bed, and a couple he had never seen before. Gu Yan left quietly, and the police station found a relative that Gu Yan had rarely contacted. The body was cremated soon after. When sorting out his belongings, they found that there was nothing left. There was only one videotape. You are his friend, right? Guyan didn't leave anything valuable. If you want, I'll give it to you. After leaving these two sentences, Guyan's relatives left. This sudden. She didn't come to her senses until Leng Qingqiu returned home. Sat on the bed, holding Guyan's urn and the videotape in her hands. Until. When Leng Qingqiu saw the photo of herself and Guyan on the table. Endless regret and sadness filled Leng Qingqiu's heart. Why is this happening? Well, Leng Qingqiu hugged the urn, buried her face in it, and burst into tears. Leng Qingqiu's heart ached constantly. Like the pain of needles. Every little detail of her time with Guyan kept echoing in her mind. From meeting, getting to know each other, to creating a group, training, and success. Guyan is involved in every aspect of happiness and sadness. But, why did you just leave like that? Leave me alone. Leng Qingqiu's voice became hoarse from crying, and she regretted not revealing her feelings to Guyan earlier. Until now, Guyan has completely left her. Time passes. Leng Qingqiu seemed to be tired of crying, and she remembered that she still had a videotape of Guyan in her hand. She took a deep breath and inserted the tape into the TV. Tick tick. As the tape rolls, a scene in the video appeared. Dong dong. It seemed as if someone tapped the screen. Hello, can you see me? A familiar voice perked up Leng Qingqiu. She looked into the picture. His eyes flickered. Guyan see. Guyan was sitting on the hospital bed with an oxygen tube in his nose. At this moment, he did not look as haggard as he would later, and seemed as if he had just arrived at the hospital. He greeted the video and smiled. Hello Qingqiu, when you see this video? I should no longer be alive. Forgive me for not going to training recently. My body just doesn't allow it. Guyan clasped his hands together and made an apology gesture. Leng Qingqiu covered her mouth and her eyes turned red again. Well, I'm sorry to it happened so suddenly that my body collapsed all of a sudden. But Qingqiu, don't be sad, this is not your problem. It's my fate. Maybe. When Guyan said this, he showed an embarrassed smile on his face. He looked at the screen and said, meeting you, Qingqiu, has used up all my luck? So even God is jealous of me, and wants to pull me away from you. Although I really want to continue the group Lang Yin Lengyu with you. Qingqiu, but, I'm sorry, please forgive me for not being able to do it. Although we didn't spend too much time together. When Guyan said this, he quickly emphasized, but Qingqiu and I have been together for quite a while. His tone became very gentle, as if he was chatting about daily life. The moment I met you, my life changed. You know, at that moment, everything I saw, heard, felt, and saw began to become colorful. And the whole world began to shine. Everything you say and do is so dazzling. So I close my eyes, but I still can't stop yearning for you in my heart. Qingqiu, you are a musical genius. And I'm just a fake genius. As his memory continued, Guyan continued to recount the scenes of his encounter with Leng Qingqiu, expressing his love for her as well as the inferiority hidden in his heart. The more Leng Qingqiu listened, the more fascinated she became. And the more she listened, the more tears flowed from her eyes. The tape seemed to have come to an end. Guyan in the video kept coughing during this period. Well, I'm sorry for making you listen to my complaints in a discontinuous manner. You can be really excessive sometimes, always forcing me to do things. But, I still like you like this. Guyan covered his mouth and coughed out a trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. His face was beginning to look weak. Finally he looked at the picture. As if he was looking through the screen. What? Qingqiu. What do you think? Have I already lived in someone's heart? How do you think about me? Do you miss me? Qingqiu. I'm sorry I couldn't finish the lunchbox you gave me last time. I'm sorry it's really disgusting. Aha, I'm just kidding. It's just that my body won't allow me to eat anything other than liquid food. I'm sorry I always look so listless. I'm sorry. I always make mistakes during training. I'm sorry for everything. Finally, I want to say. Guyan took a deep breath and smiled. Qingqiu, I like you. Please, don't forget me. As the words fell, flick, the picture ended and paused on Guyan's smiling face. And Leng Qingqiu. She covered her mouth, lay down on the bed, bit her lips and cried silently. The picture stops here. Consciousness returns. Guyan woke up holding his chest. He opened his eyes and a line of tears slowly flowed from the corner of his eyes. He couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. This which life's memory is this. How did these memories happen between me and Qingqiu? Oh, I really have a past life? So what about the memories from the previous times? What is the truth? The other side. Leng family. Xiaoling stood by the window, staring out with a dazed look. She also covered her chest, but this time, her heart seemed to be beating faster than before. New memories. Xiaoling murmured to herself. and some strange and uncomfortable feeling seemed to surge in her cold heart. Chapter 307 Awkward Encounter on Commercial Street. The next day. Commercial Street. Guiyan sat on a public bench, looking up at the blue sky. His eyes were slightly dazed. He still hadn't recovered from the memories of last night. The memory of himself and Leng Qingqiu was so real that he almost fell into it. Whether it was joy or sadness, Guiyan could feel it all sincerely. Just like the previous times when he was shot in the head by Leng Qingqiu. It was very immersive. Guiyan was very suspicious this was the system's evil taste. At this time, "Brother, what's wrong with you? You look so absent-minded. Are you so unhappy to be out with us?" Guiyan Eroyu's somewhat dissatisfied voice reached Guiyan's ears. He turned his head and saw that the other party and Gu Yingying were standing there, with bodyguards behind them carrying large and small shopping bags. "Happy, I am always happy." Guiyan stood up, a smile on his face. "Tell me, what else do you want to buy?" "Oh, so generous? Of course Don T have to rely on you to vote for me at the annual meeting." "Huh? Does that reveal your purpose? This is considered a bribe?" "This little money is not a bribe to Sister Yan Eroyu. It is a vote of affection that Sister Yan Eroyu cast for me because your brother is with you." Snort. Guiyan Eroyu raised the corner of her mouth slightly. She looked up and down at Guiyan and said with a smile, "You are a good talker. How about this? You serve us both today. I'll make the decision and have everyone on my side vote for you. You don't have to consider me and Ying Ying for the annual meeting." The words fell. Gu Yingying was a little unhappy. She glared at Guiyan and said, "I haven't agreed to vote for this bastard yet. Give me a reason why you shouldn't vote for me." "Well, there are too many reasons. You are such a loser. I am now a congenital. You are so useless. I am now a congenital. You are such a dandy. I am now a congenital." Gu Yingying looked at Guiyan, who was smiling kindly, in anger and embarrassment. "Xiantian is so great. What's wrong with you being a third-rate warrior? I'm so sorry for being a third-rate player. You were not even as good as me before." At this point, Gu Yingying walked forward angrily. "Damn bastard, it must be your uncle who fed you the medicine. I won't pay attention to you. I don't want to hang out with you anymore." "Mess." Lin Dang chased after him with the bag, but stopped when he passed Guiyan. He first bent down and apologized to the other party. "I'm sorry, young master. The young lady has no ill will towards you. She just has a bad temper." "It's okay, all kids are like that." Guiyan waved his hand. Lin Dang nodded gratefully and chased in the direction of Gu Yingying. Guiyan Eroyu glanced at Guiyan in surprise. "Such a good temper, quite like a master." "Oh, you should say that my brother has the potential to be a master. Is this some kind of spiritual quote? You don't understand. Don't worry about it. Go chase that kid. Zhang Hai has been in turmoil lately." The other side of the commercial street. Sister Linger. "Sister Linger, slow down, Sister Linger. Why did you bring me here? Besides, today isn't the weekend. Is it really okay for you to ask for leave without telling your sister?" Bi Quanlan was dragged in a certain direction by Leng Linger, who had a head of yellow hair. She was already sad because her brother was arrested, and she really didn't understand why Sister Linger took her to skip class. As Leng Linger walked away, she turned her head and said to Ba Quanlan, "Quanlan, what are you talking about? You are so sad. How can I concentrate on studying? I will definitely take you out to play." At this point, Leng Linger seemed afraid that her request for leave would be exposed. So she gradually stopped walking, patted her chest, and said in fear, "Luckily I didn't meet anyone I know. If I did I would be finished." Biaoanlan seemed to have thought of the terrible situation that would happen to the other person's sister after she knew that the other person had asked for leave. So she shuddered all over. But when she thought about how Leng Linger was willing to take such a big risk for her, she was deeply moved. "Sister Linger, thank you so much." As she spoke, Bi Quanlan sobbed and fell into Leng Linger's arms. His. "Sister Linger, you smell so good. Thank you so much." "Brother who was arrested." "Oh, sisters." Leng Linger gently touched Ba Quanlan's little head and kept comforting her. Ba Quanlan hasn't come to school recently after some inquiries. She found out that her brother had gotten into trouble and was arrested. It looked quite serious, so Bi Quanlan was depressed and didn't come for a few days. Leng Linger said how could she tolerate this? He immediately asked for leave and dragged the other person out of his home. Don Hai Leng arrogantly said that he must make arrangements for his good sister today. "I have also saved up a little bit of money recently. Although it is definitely not as much as Guyan's, it is enough for the two of us to spend." Thinking of this, Leng Linger pushed Bi Quanlan away and said eagerly, "Quanlan, I know a milk tea shop that serves delicious fried chicken. There are game consoles and internet inside. Just buy a cup of milk tea, and you can sit here all day. It's just that every time you queue up, you have to wait for an hour or two. If you go late, it's too late. Let's go." As she spoke, Langlinger pulled Ba Quan Lan forward. Only, oops, thump. Langlinger felt that something seemed to hit her body. She was stunned, then looked at the ground. Just see. A girl wearing Lolita clothes and with a face as cute as a porcelain all fell to the ground. The other person gritted his teeth in pain and raised his head to see who knocked him down. When I saw Langlinger's yellow hair, Gu Yingying sneered. Oh, who was I thinking? Turns out to be a spirited little girl. And everything is fine. I was already very upset because of Gu Yan's matter just now. Her true face was revealed immediately. You're walking without paying attention. Do you know who I am? Help me up now. Gu Yingying stretched out her hand and cursed at Langlinger in a rude tone. Oh, this kind of spirited girl usually bullies the weak and fears the strong, even though her own cultivation is only that of a third-rate warrior. But the momentum is enough to oppress the opponent. Langlinger slowly asked a question and looked at Gu Yingying on the ground in confusion. Wait a minute. Was I provoked? Was I provoked? Bei Quan Lan, seeing her white moonlight being insulted, immediately became furious. You have to know that they were the most powerful Langlinger gang in Zhanghe High School. If it weren't for Gu Yan, they would definitely not be so restrained. But now, how come anything like cattle and horses can challenge them? Hey you? Bei Quan Lan was about to scold him but was stopped by Langlinger. She smiled and held out her hand to Gu Yingying. Sorry, let me help you up. Seeing Langlinger being so sensible, Gu Yingying snorted like a victorious little peacock. It's good that you know you're wrong. As a small fry, remember not to mess with people you shouldn't mess with in the future. Ordinary people must be frightened by my aura. Just thinking about it. Thump. Oops. Gu Yingying's body, which had just been pulled up, fell down again because Langlinger suddenly let go. This time the fall hurt even more. Ugh, you did it on purpose. Gu Yingying covered her butt, gritted her teeth and just raised her head to question Langlinger. But she found that the other person actually squatted down and looked at her with a kind expression. Next second, Langlinger's smile faded, and she showed a standard threatening expression of a society person. She stretched out her hand and pressed it on Gu Yingying's head. Hey little girl, is there anyone who can teach you how to talk to people? You are full of trash. I guess I need to teach you a lesson on behalf of your parents. While speaking, Langlinger placed her 5 fingers on Gu Yingying's crown as if she was dunking a basketball, and shook them 360 degrees. Gu Yingying's eyes became dull for a moment. Wait, what's wrong with this person? Doesn't she know who I am? I am Gu Yingying. I am an international genius girl. Gu Yingying gritted her teeth, grabbed Langlinger's wrist, and glared at her fiercely. Let me go. No one has ever dared to talk to me like this. Langlinger sneered. Now I have it, the person who talks to you like this is me. You will live in my shadow for the next few years. Remember the person who taught you a lesson, call him Langlinger. Gu Yingying. What a shameful quote. How could this woman say it so seriously? Of course. Before Gu Yingying could exert her warrior's power, the next second, bang! Ouch! Langlinger flicked Gu Yingying's forehead hard with her finger. She covered her forehead and stared at Langlinger with tears in her eyes. Gu Yingying really wanted to say something harsh, but an unprecedented feeling of grievance surged into my heart. No one has ever dared to do this to me. Oh, I'm going to let my brother teach you a lesson. Your brother? I also have a brother-in-law. Langlinger stood up and sneered when she heard the other party's words. Next second, Miss Lindang's frightened voice came over, immediately following. Hey, why are you crying from such a distance? Did you fall flat on your face? Gu Yan's slightly teasing voice also followed. For a while, eyes met. Langlinger, Gu Yan. Chapter 308. If you don't want your beloved brother to know. The air around seemed to solidify. Gu Yan looked at Langlinger and Ba Quan Lan. Slowly put a question mark. Wait a minute. Am I still dreaming now? How come I met Langlinger here? Isn't she going to school today? And why did Gu Yingying just lie on the ground and cry without any image? What's going on? The most important thing is, Gu Yanarou and Gu Yingying were out strolling and shopping without reporting to Kinkyu. If Langlinger reported me, there would inevitably be another misunderstanding. What to do? Langlinger looked at Gu Yan, and she was also stunned. What's going on? Why is my brother-in-law here? And there's a beautiful older sister following him. And the girl at her feet who was pulling her trouser leg and crying loudly seemed to know Gu Yan as well? What's going on? Having an affair? Gu Yan is having an affair? I secretly took leave and sneaked out today without telling my sister about the situation. If Gu Yan goes to complain, he'll be finished. So Langlinger looked at Gu Yan. So Gu Yan looked at Langlinger. Just pretend you don't know him and say hello. Think of this. The two looked at each other and could see what each other was thinking from each other's eyes. Both parties just opened their mouths. You, Sister Linger's brother-in-law. You came just in time. Bi Quanlan jumped out immediately, pointed at Gu Yingying who was pulling her sister Linger's trouser legs on the ground and complained. This little girl bumped into Sister Linger as soon as she came up. He fell to the ground but he still kept mocking and insulting our Sister Linger. Sister Linger was kind enough to help her up, but she ended up blackmailing us. Sister Linger's brother-in-law, you must make the decision for us. As soon as these words came out, Guyan Aroyu's eyes widened slightly and she looked at Gu Yan in surprise. Gu Yingying stopped crying. She looked back and forth between Gu Yan and Leng Linger in disbelief. What? Sister Linger's brother-in-law? This means this little yellow-haired girl with a bad temper is Leng Linger. Her sister is Leng Qingqiyu. So, she is Gu Yan's sister-in-law. What? Lin Dang was also a little confused. Wait a minute. Does this mean? Should I retreat behind everyone now? Did I see something I shouldn't have seen? Okay, I won't pretend anymore. The corner of Gu Yan's mouth twitched. He coughed lightly and said slowly. Well, let me introduce you. This is my sister-in-law. Leng Linger. I wanted to introduce you to her tomorrow. This is Bia Yijun's younger sister, Bi Quanlan. As for the one crying on the ground, Gu Yan picked up Gu Yingying, who still had a dazed expression, and said, It's my sister, Gu Yingying. Then, he introduced the intellectual elder sister next to him. And this is my sister Guyan Aroyu. After the relationship is sorted out, Gu Yan looked at Lao Gao who had been watching the show. Lao Gao, take the things to the car first, and I will explain this. Okay master. Hey, did you just laugh? After the venue was cleared and only he, Leng Linger, Bi Quanlan, Gu Yingying and Guyan Aroyu were left. Gu Yan then clapped his hands, looked at the four confused people and said with a smile. This is what happened. Things are just like this. Gu Yingying sniffed her nose, her pretty face full of anger. She pointed at Leng Linger and accused. I don't approve of this person being your sister-in-law. Leng Linger raised her eyebrows. Why is there an inexplicable sense of déjà vu? Don't say that, Yingying there. That's nothing you can do if you don't agree. This is already the fact. Gu Yan waved his hand. Gu Yingying was stunned for a moment. Then she lowered her head as if she was thinking about something. When she raised her head again, her eyes were red, and she angrily yelled at Gu Yan. Gu Yan, I hate you. As he said this, he was about to leave. Yeah. Leng Linger raised her voice slightly. What do you mean? Gu Yingying paused, turned her head and glared at Leng Linger fiercely. I don't approve of this yellow-haired guy. Only. Leng Linger's mouth corners slightly raised. And she said intentionally or unintentionally, what I mean is. What did someone shout when he fell to the ground and cried just now? Who is it? It seems like someone wants to call her brother. The words haven't finished yet. Hey. Gu Yingying's expression became more and more tense. She quickly ran to Leng Linger and held her hands. He raised her head and looked at her with tears in her eyes. Well, this we can discuss it. Leng Linger showed a triumphant smile. Reached out and rubbed Gu Yingying's head. Okay, sister. She lowered her head and whispered in the other person's ear. You don't want your favorite brother to know about this, right? Gu, this is my shame. Gu Yingying smiled on the surface. But she was already extremely ashamed and angry in her heart. I will definitely take back the shame I suffered today from you. Leng Linger, I will remember you. Gu Yan was stunned. What's the matter? Suddenly they made up. And what did Leng Linger mean by what she whispered? He looked at Leng Linger who had a proud look on her face. And looked at Gu Yingying who was being toyed with by the other party. And finally looked at Bi Quanlan who was standing aside with envy. His mind once again thought of Ning Qian who had made complicated movements towards Leng Linger. For a while, Gu Yan slowly put a question mark. It's not what you thought, right? Chapter 309. This game can only be played by 10 people. Inside a milk tea shop that integrates entertainment. In the private room. Hey, it's great to meet you, brother-in-law. I've never stayed in a luxury room before. Leng Linger looked at the high-configuration game console in the private room with shining eyes. Although Gu Yan bought all these for her during the previous large purchase, but recently my sister has been studying in the esports room. And she hasn't touched the popular computer for a long time. Gu Yingying sat aside, frowned, looked at the milkshake in front of her, mustered up her courage and carefully took a sip. I couldn't help but raise my brows slightly. She picked up the milkshake in surprise. Common people's food tastes pretty good. Are you acting out some story about an aristocratic princess from another world who has never seen the world? Leng Linger was fiddling with the game console and retorted when she heard Gu Yingying say that. You. Gu Yingying blushed. She really liked reading storybooks about princes and princesses. But who the hell is this little yellow-haired guy? How could he expose her so easily? She clenched her teeth and was about to make a sarcastic remark. Lang Linger glared at him and said, "What do you mean by you? No, it's okay." Gu Yingying's temper softened immediately. "Hateful! This is all Gu Yan's fault, it's all because of this bastard." She looked at Gu Yan with shame, snorted coldly and turned her head away. The latter is somewhat baffling. Gu Yan didn't expect that Gu Yingying would be controlled by Lang Linger. Is this what they call? A little female devil will eventually meet another little female devil to deal with her? You should know that when Lang Linger first met, she was also calling him a jerk. Only after his excellent education did the other party restrain himself a little. Of course, judging by her usual self-indulgent performance on the short video platform, it is probably because the other party has changed track. Gu Yingying was very unhappy. She was sipping her milkshake. My mouth tasted sweet, but my mind kept thinking about my recent misconduct. I didn't expect so many years have passed. She glanced at Gu Yan and couldn't help but bit the straw slightly. After so many years, when I encounter danger, the first person I will call is still brother. Gu Yingying's thoughts couldn't help but drift to the past. At that time, I didn't know what a warrior was, let alone being a genius girl. All he knew was to follow Gu Yan. The opportunity came during a party at the Gu family manor. Because I was an introvert at that time. In addition, I was quite fat when I was a child. Therefore, he was often bullied and ridiculed by other children of the same age. Then only Gu Yan would stand up to protect him. So, at that time, maybe I had already fallen in love with Gu Yan? However, as time went by, his father missed the position of head of the family. And his personality changed drastically since then. Ask her to become a genius and take back everything she lost. Add to that the rumors about Gu Yan being a bootlicker. Gu Yingying felt disillusion with Gu Yan, yet very grateful. Fortunately, Gu Yan is actually immortal, so after I become the head of the family, then you can. Boom. Hiss. Someone tapped Gu Yingying on the forehead and she raised her head in pain. It was the yellow-haired Lang Linger again. He was holding a game controller and pouted at her. Hey, do you know how to play games? Games? These kinds of things are only played by children. Gu Yingying adjusted her hair and said unhappily, "Can't you see I'm thinking about something? I'm not a worm in your stomach. How would I know what you're thinking?" Lang Linger curled her lips and placed the game controller in front of the other person. "You can't even play the game, and you're a genius. It doesn't look like she's as good as my sister. Let me tell you, my sister is an Alroutern. She's great at playing any game." As soon as these words came out, Gu Yingying, who originally didn't want to play, suddenly felt a surge of anger in her heart. She picked up the controller and glared at Lang Linger. "Okay, let's play, but if you lose, you have to answer a question for me. But we are playing a team competition game. Then, let's change another one. No, let's play this first. I've been looking forward to it. It takes at least 3 people to play. And at most 10 it's just right for you to come. So I'm just making up the numbers." Gu Yingying said speechless lie, but her body still stood up honestly. Bi Quanlan secretly looked at Gu Yingying, and found that she was just a little girl and should not pose any threat to her. Sister Linger plays with the other party with the intention of entertaining the child. That's for sure. In less than a moment, the 3 girls squeezed onto the sofa and started playing the game. I see the situation over there is very good. Gu Yan no longer had the intention to pay attention to the other person. He started chatting with the intellectual elder sister beside him. "Sister, so you came to Zhangha just to find out about your brother's relationship situation?" Upon hearing this, Gu Yan responded with a nasal "hm." Then, she seemed to have thought of something, and when she looked at Gu Yan, there was a hint of resentment in her eyes. "Brother? Do you still remember what happened when you were a child?" "What?" Gu Yan was stunned, then asked in confusion. "Why?" Gu Yan sighed. At that time, Gu Yan was still very young. The opportunity came during a gathering at the Gu family manor. I am a learner by nature and I think my IQ is far superior to others. So she was at the age when she was suffering from the second-year syndrome. And no one around her dared to get close to her. But in fact she is also very lonely and wants to make friends. But no one noticed this. Only Gu Yan. He bravely brought Gu Yingying, who was still a little chubby at that time, to play with her. Sister Yan, are you alone? Then play with me and my sister." At that time, Gu Yan's sincere expression and words infected her. Especially when Gu Yan was a child, he was quite cute. So her heart melted all of a sudden. But later, rumors spread that Gu Yan was a dog licker, which made her feel a little disappointed with him. He thought that if he could take over the position of the head of the family, perhaps Gu Yan would realize the sense of crisis and turn back from his wrong path and stop being a bootlicker. Who knows, this hasn't even started yet. Gu Yan made a 180-degree turn. "Why?" Gu Yan sighed again. She reached out her hand and pinched Gu Yan's cheek. "You were still as cute as when you were a child." Gu Yan slapped Gu Yan's hand away and said speechless lie. Has anyone ever told you that you are like a riddle man? Riddler? He would just say half of what he wanted to say. And then he would think about it again in his mind and think that he had finished, which made the people outside who were listening to him very anxious. Guyan replied unhappily. Guyan Arroyo found what she heard very interesting. She looked at Guyan with a smile without saying a word. Brother still the same brother. A lot has really changed. Is it because of Leng Kinkyu? I'm really looking forward to meeting each other tomorrow. Chapter 310 The little Leng that Leng Kinkyu finds strange. Evening. Brother-in-law, please don't tell my sister that I came out to play today. I won't tell my sister that you brought two little sisters out with you. Leng Linger clasped her hands together and performed the highest gang etiquette towards Guyan. However, Guyan, who was going to meet again tomorrow, naturally wouldn't buy it. So, he shook his head and said kindly, no, as a student, you should act like a student. You actually asked for leave to go out and play without telling your sister. I must tell Kinkyu. Leng Linger suddenly became anxious. This bastard clearly wanted to hide it at the beginning. So why did he change his mind so suddenly now? Brother-in-law, you bastard. Boom! The car that came to pick up Linger left. After seeing off Leng Linger and Ba Quang Lan, Guyan returned to the car. He turned his head and looked at the two sisters in the back seat. How was the fun? But as soon as he finished speaking, he closed his mouth. Guyan Arroyo made a hushing gesture to Guyan because Gu Yinying was sleeping in her arms with her eyes closed. It seems that they really had a lot of fun. Guyan withdrew his gaze. The afterglow of the setting sun shone in front of his eyes, and he stretched out his hand to block it slightly. There was a strange look in his eyes. After tomorrow, it will be the annual meeting. After thinking for a moment, Guyan suddenly thought of something. Oh, by the way, I have to tell Kinkyu about tomorrow's day plans. I don't know how much time has passed. Leng family. Click. Leng Linger gently pushed open the door and tiptoed in. Only, snap. The lights suddenly switched on. At the same time, a chill rushed into Leng Linger's heart. She trembled all over and raised her head with the embarrassed smile. Just see. Leng Kinkyu was standing at the entrance with her arms folded across her chest. She was standing on a high position, looking down at Leng Linger's life essence with her gaze. The voice was cold. I heard from your teacher that you asked for leave. Old teacher. Damn it, Guyan didn't say it but the teacher did? I clearly told the other parent that it was Guyan. Besides, my sister is too nosy. No, just ask for leave. Me, believe it or not, I am now entering the rebellious phase. Leng Linger yelled a few words in her heart. Thump. She knelt down all of a sudden, her voice choked with sobs, and she rushed over with tears and hugged Leng Kinkyu's thighs. Oh, sister, I was wrong. Don't hit me. I won't do it again. Because Quan Lan's brother was arrested. Quan Lan hasn't come to school for a long time. I was worried that something might happen to her. So I asked for leave to accompany her. Sister, I was wrong. If you want to hit me or scold me, it's not too late to listen to what I say next. Leng Linger sobbed and cried. This kind of operation made Leng Kinkyu feel both funny and helpless. In fact, the teacher didn't tell her. It was Clivia who was assigned to be with Leng Linger who told her. He also told her that Linger went to the commercial street and met Guyan. Of course, she had just spoken to Guyan on the phone not long ago and knew the general situation. So if Linger tells the truth this time, I will forgive her. Now Leng Kinkyu was waiting for Leng Linger's performance. What's the matter? What else do you want to explain? Listening to her elder sister's calm voice, Leng Linger trembled with fear. The calmer it was, Leng Linger knew that the fate she would face would be even worse. So, I'm sorry, brother-in-law, please come over here and attract some fire. Yes, that's right. I also met my brother-in-law on Commercial Street today. Your brother-in-law, Guyan? Leng Kinkyu pretended to be a little surprised. Seeing the significant effect, Leng Linger nodded continuously. Yeah, it's him. He was actually shopping with two really pretty girls. Oh, are there two young ladies, one big and one small? Oh, yes, those two people seem to be very close to Guyan Lao. Guyan also paid for all the expenses of the two of them. They must have a special relationship. After listening to this, Leng Kinkyu nodded as if he was thinking, is that so? It seems that I should go find Guyan first. Ah, yes, my brother-in-law's affairs are more important. Leng Linger said quickly, sighing inwardly at the same time. Leng Linger, Leng Linger, how come you are so smart? Although I feel very sorry for my brother-in-law. Sorry, brother-in-law, I will definitely make it up to you in the future and put on some plaster for you or something like that. However, before Leng Linger could breathe a sigh of relief, she felt an even colder chill in her heart. Brush. Leng Kinkyu clasped his fingers on Leng Linger's head, and then asked kindly, is one called Gu Ying and the other called Guyan Arroyo? Yes. Lang Linger was trembling all over, and her expression could no longer be suppressed. When Lang Qiyu said these two names, she knew that she was finished. Sister, please listen to me. Heart-wrenching cries rang out. In Lang Linger's room, the little yellow-haired girl was lying face down on the bed, covering her butt. Sitting next to him, Lang Qiyu was wearing pajamas and applying medicine to him. Sister, my dear sister. I'm already so old, why are you still using the same trick you used when you were a kid? Lang Linger yelled with tears in her eyes. Because Linger, you will always be a child in my eyes. Lang Qiyu snorted, put down the ointment and asked. You went to the private room afterwards, and what did Gu Yan do? Lang Linger said without thinking. Brother-in-law didn't tell you that, Quan Lan. Gu Yingying and I were playing video games. Gu Yan and his sister were chatting there. They seemed to be talking about their childhood. I didn't pay much attention. Gu Yingying asked me a question before she left. Lang Qiyu naturally didn't know what Gu Yan and the others had done specifically. After all, she certainly couldn't ask Junzila about so many things. Although I had spoken to Gu Yan on the phone before, there was someone next to him, so I certainly couldn't behave too abnormally. Hearing this, Lang Qiyu became interested. What's the problem? Lang Linger recalled for a moment, then said, that's right, ask me how the relationship between Gu Yan and your sister is usually. At this point, she paused and looked at Lang Qiyu strangely. Ask Gu Yan if he is playing the role of a lickspittle. Hear this. Lang Qiyu slowly asked a question. A bootlicker? Is Gu Yan his own bootlicker? Lang Qiyu recalled everything Gu Yan had done for her, as well as her inner thoughts about Gu Yan. Lang Qiyu couldn't help but shake her head and chuckled. If Gu Yan is considered a licker, then I am also his licker. But, what did you say, sister? Lang Linger was stunned, obviously not expecting her elder sister to speak like this. It's okay, just lie down. Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. Sister looks so pretty when she smiles. Hear this. Lang Qiyu paused, as if she had thought of something, and said intentionally or unintentionally, by the way. Linger, are you good at makeup and dressing up? Yes. Of course, I'm a beauty blogger on a short video platform. Speaking of which, it was my brother-in-law who helped me build this account. Oh. Lang Qiyu nodded, then coughed lightly. Well, I have a date with Gu Yan tomorrow. Linger, please help me put on a makeup that suits me tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Lang Linger nodded in agreement without thinking. Just quickly. She turned over and looked in disbelief at her elder sister, who seemed a little shy at the moment. She gasped, not sure if it was from shock or the pain of the wound being pressed. Sister, you've really changed. Yes, it hurts. It hurts. Brother-in-law. My sister who never wears makeup, she actually wants to wear makeup. What on earth did you do to make my sister so obsessed with you? Is it necessary to react so strongly? Just lie down obediently. Lang Qiyu suppressed his smile and spoke seriously. Seeing Lang Linger calm down, while Lang Qiyu was applying the medicine, he asked Xiaolang in his heart. After all, the other party will usually jump out and say a few words. You can also use this to judge whether you are doing the right thing. What do you think, Xiaolang? Isn't this a bit too unlike me? By the time he finished speaking, Lang Qiyu had already thought of all the possible things Xiaolang would say. But this time what made Lang Qiyu feel strange was, Xiaolang said something that she didn't understand. After a brief silence, Xiaolang said 3 words slowly. Have no idea. Chapter 311. The first meeting of the girls. The next day. Although it is deep winter, today's sunshine is surprisingly warm. The bright rays penetrate the thin clouds and shine on the vast land. The breeze blew gently, taking away the sharp cold air. And the air seemed to be filled with a leisurely atmosphere. All in all, it's good weather for a date. Lang family. Lang Qiyu stood at the door with a calm expression. In order to prepare for the date with the family, she woke up early and asked Linger to help her dress up. Lang Linger on the side was thinking too much. She shouted. Sister, you must not lose to those two sisters in momentum when the time comes. They want to see you so badly, they must be trying to embarrass you. Lang Qiyu didn't reply when he heard this, but he had made up his mind. In less than a moment, a 7-seater car drove slowly and stopped in front of Lang Qiyu. Lang Qiyu understood that Gu Yan's sister and younger sister would also come. What she has to do is very simple, that is just deal with it naturally. Of course, Gu Yan would definitely restrain himself in front of outsiders. After all, she knew it. Gu Yanarou and Gu Yingying are also candidates for the Gu family heir. The position of the patriarch is being closely watched. If Gu Yan behaves in a way that is unbecoming of a patriarch, he might be in trouble at this annual meeting. With this thought in mind, Lang Qiyu also understood that this date was definitely more than just a date. Only, as the car door opened, Qiyu, here I come. Gu Yan shouted impatiently as he got out of the car. Yeah, it's a rare date with Kinkyu. I didn't sleep much last night. Come on Kinkyu, I'll help you get in the car. No, Kinkyu, you smell so good. Hey, Kinkyu, you wore makeup today? Uyan seemed to have discovered something. He was immediately fascinated by the scene and saw that Ling Kinkyu was wearing light makeup today. Her makeup is the type that looks simple yet delicate and exquisite. The elegant foundation makes her already fair skin look even more flawless like porcelain. A touch of light coral lip gloss looks gentle yet energetic. The upper body is an off-white turtleneck sweater. And the lower body is matched with a pair of dark blue straight jeans. She was wearing a beige long wool coat, the hem of which swayed gently in the wind, revealing a bit of literary temperament. She was wearing a pair of simple brown leather boots. Ling Kinkyu's hairstyle was relaxed and natural, with a few bangs hanging on her forehead adding a touch of softness. As for the faint fragrance on her body, it is not a strong perfume, but more like the natural fragrance of shampoo or softener, which makes people feel comfortable in clothes. The temperament she exudes has both the gentleness of a bookish air and the coolness of a flower from the top of the mountain. It is amazing that these two temperaments can exist in one person. Ling Linger was very satisfied with this scene. He smiled proudly and said, "What's wrong, brother-in-law? Are you stunned? I drew this. Sis is pretty, so just put on some light makeup." Ling Linger said that even a beauty blogger like her couldn't do anything to her own sister. "After all, my sister is already the best in the world without makeup." Even her younger sister couldn't help but take a few more glances at Ling Kinkyu. So it was no surprise that Gu Yan looked so absorbed in the subject. "Don't just stand there, idiot. Your family is waiting in the car. Right?" Ling Kinkyu's expression was a little helpless. She reached out and patted Gu Yan's cheek. "I was so stupid. Really actually thought that Gu Yan would be more restrained. Feelings, does this idiot really have no other ideas?" "Oh, yes, it's mainly because Kinkyu, you look so good today." Gu Yan came to his senses, took Ling Kinkyu's hand and opened the car door. "Oh, wasn't I pretty before?" Ling Kinkyu snorted softly. Look, you look even better today." "That's fine." Ling Kinkyu thought with satisfaction in his heart. Even though he couldn't see what he looked like now. But since Gu Yan likes it, then there is no problem. Of course, although Gu Yan is not cunning or scheming, his elder sister and younger sister don't know that. After all, one is an elite in the financial world and the other is a genius girl. Both of them have extraordinary talents and mental ages. And they are also Gu Yan's competitors. Gu Yan couldn't figure out their purpose. So he had to keep an eye on them for Gu Yan. "Come into the car." It was also the first time that Gu Yanaro and Gu Yingying saw Ling Kinkyu up close. And the moment they saw each other, both of them were stunned. Gu Yanaro dressed very naturally and intellectually today. And her purpose was actually very simple. Because she knew Ling Kinkyu, or was particularly familiar with her, and understood what a dazzling woman she was. It can be said that in the financial circle back then, Ling Kinkyu was a monster that made everyone unable to raise their heads. So, Gu Yanaro thought, I may not be able to compare with her in other aspects, but I'm good at appearance, right? But when I saw the real person, she was stunned. In her eyes, Ling Kinkyu was like an unreachable saint radiating light. Even if the other person closes his eyes, the light will not be so dazzling. And Gu Yanaro also understood that her previous thoughts were really ridiculous. I've been covered in gauze in all directions. Gu Yanaro sighed inwardly. Sister Yanaro, Sister Ying, hello? I'm Gu Yan's girlfriend. My name is Ling Kinkyu. Ling Kinkyu had a faint smile on her lips, and her voice was natural and confident. A whole person's temperament is very outstanding and dazzling. Gu Yanaro couldn't help but straighten her back and spoke a little uncomfortably. Hello. Gu Yingying also saw Ling Kinkyu in person. She had always thought that she must have surpassed the outdated Ling Kinkyu. But when she really met the other person, she realized that she had lost too much. Especially, she clenched her fists as she looked at Gu Yan, who showed his love for Ling Kinkyu. I have lost too much. She lowered her head with a dazed look in her eyes and whispered. Hello. Ling Linger had known Gu Yanaro and Gu Yingying since yesterday. Plus, she was a social bull, so as soon as she got on the bus, she squeezed next to Gu Yingying. He reached out and put his arm around her neck. Morning, Gu Yingying. Gu Yingying's original sad mood was instantly dispelled, and she grabbed Ling Linger's arm with unhappiness in her heart. This violent woman. Morning, Linger. Gu Yanaro smiled at Ling Linger. Good morning, Sister Yanaro. Hey, you look so beautiful today. Thank you. Gu Yanaro responded with a smile. But at the same time she felt strange. These two sisters really have two different personalities. Is it because of what happened back then? Gu Yanaro sighed in her heart. What a cruel fate. After a simple greeting, Leng Qinkyu seemed to have noticed something. The two sisters didn't seem to have any ill will towards me and Gu Yan. She felt helpless. It seemed that rumors were just rumors. It was said before that Gu Yan'erou and Gu Yingying had been fighting openly and secretly with Gu Yan for the position of head of the family, but now it seems that is not the case. Although Leng Qinkyu's eyes cannot see people's appearance, he can see the source of people's life. Through the color of the life essence, Leng Qinkyu can judge how much hostility the other party has towards him. However, Gu Yan'erou and Gu Yingying had very little ill will towards her. In fact, Gu Yan'erou even had a lot of goodwill towards her. This it turns out I was just overthinking? The Gu family is actually very united? It shouldn't be the case. The two sisters are probably exceptions. After all, Leng Qinkyu could also more or less sense that these two people seem to like Gu Yan. But you are Gu Yan's sisters, is this appropriate? Although there are many similar plots in many romantic comedies I have watched recently, I strongly disagree with them. Leng Qinkyu has made up his mind that if his sister has a boyfriend in the future, it turned out that the guy was fickle and had many women outside, well, she will not let go of the guy who bullied her sister. Thinking and thinking. Qinkyu, you smell so good. TSK, it would be better if this bastard could behave himself. Could you please not do things in front of outsiders that would make her lose her image? Chapter 312, A Private Conversation Between the Two. Teacher Leng signed. Time passes. Gu Yan and his group drove out of the downtown area and came to a picturesque lakeside camping site. The lake was as calm as a mirror and surrounded by mountains. Wow, so beautiful. Brother-in-law, are we camping here today? Linger got out of the car and took a deep breath of the natural air. He looked at Gu Yan with shining eyes. This, self-driving camping. I have always longed for it. Didn't expect her brother-in-law to satisfy her like this? Yeah, I thought since there are so many people this time, we might as well just have an outdoor camping barbecue. This place is quite remote, most people can't find it. As Gu Yan spoke, he walked to the back of the car, opened the trunk, and took out a bunch of camping stuff. Lao Gao, help me put the grill by the lake. Okay, master. Gu Yan took out a few more fishing rods and the folded tent. Linger, come over and set up the tent. Lao Gao and I will go catch some fish. Receive. Linger nodded vigorously with shining eyes, and then seemed to have thought of something. He pulled Gu Yingying, who was standing aside doing nothing, and said, come and help too. Gu Yingying slowly asked, when did I, a talented girl, ever do such rough work? Still helping you, I'll help. Hey, can you not use so much force? Do you believe that I can unleash my strength as a third-rate warrior and knock you unconscious? Gu Yingying was yelling in her heart, but her body still honestly helped. Oh, so this is the tent? To be honest, she enjoyed this novel experience quite a bit. After Gu Yan put away the fishing rod, he moved a few camping chairs to the ground. Then he looked at Leng Qinkyu and Gu Yan'erou and said with a smile, you two ladies should take a rest. Gu Yingying, who was tinkering with the tent, twitched her lips and glared at Gu Yan. Man, Gu Yan'erou didn't answer, but looked at Leng Qinkyu beside her with a smile. What do you think, Miss Leng? Leng Qinkyu shook her head upon hearing this, rejecting Gu Yan's kindness with a smile on her face. She said gently, no need. As she spoke, she smiled at Gu Yan'erou, who was stunned and was about to say something. Leng Qinkyu continued. Linger and the others will set up the tent, you and Lao Gao will go fishing, and Sister Yan'erou and I will go to the woods to see if we can pick some fruit. Oh, you are Qinkyu indeed, you are so thoughtful. Gu Yan nodded vigorously and gave a thumbs up. Let's go. Sister Yan'erou. Good. Gu Yan'erou was a little surprised, but it was just right. She did want to be alone with Leng Qinkyu because of some things. Into the woods. Gu Yan'erou and Leng Qinkyu were walking on the path carrying a basket. The two walked side by side, and they seemed to be in a very good relationship. Sister Yan'erou, please ask any questions you want to ask. Leng Qinkyu spoke first, and her gentle voice reached Gu Yan'erou's ears. The latter was stunned and turned to look at Leng Qinkyu's face, which seemed to see through everything. She sighed inwardly. She is indeed a talented woman with high Q. Gu Yan'erou no longer concealed the truth and asked directly, Miss Leng, do you really like Gu Yan? After a brief contact, Gu Yan'erou actually discovered that Gu Yan really liked Leng Qinkyu. How does Leng Qinkyu view his brother? Does he really like him? Or does he have other motives? Like, Leng Qinkyu replied without hesitation. Really? But you should have heard about Gu Yan's past reputation. Miss Leng, why do you, such an excellent person, fall in love with my brother? Although it's very rude, but I really can't understand why a genius like you would. As Gu Yan'erou was talking, she noticed an inexplicable smile on Leng Qinkyu's face. Next second, Ling Qinyu's mouth curled up, as if he had heard something interesting. And he slowly said, Sister Yun, Aroyu. She stopped and opened her eyes, revealing a pair of shapeless grays. She looked at Guyan Aroyu. The latter became inexplicably nervous, as if Ling Qinyue could really see her. Ling Qinyue stretched out his hand and gently touched Guyan Aroyu's chest. If Guyan is really as useless as you said, then, Sister Yun Aroyu, why do you like Guyan? Flick. Guyan Aroyu's heart skipped a beat, and a hint of embarrassment flashed across her face. You figured it out, but... She was about to explain something, but Ling Qinyue interrupted him again. But now you don't like it anymore. Do you believe this yourself? Having said this, Ling Qinyue slowly approached Guyan Aroyu, although his eyes were a pair of gray that could not see things clearly. They made Guyan Aroyu feel an invisible pressure. Because of Guyan's previous depraved behavior, you and Gu Yingying did some irrational things to Guyan. Let me guess what the purpose is. Are you trying to make the other party change his mind and return to the right path in this way? Or did you change the family rules to restrict Guyan after you became the head of the family? You came to Jianghe much earlier than usual. Let me guess again. Ling Qinyue kept smiling, but what he said made Guyan Aroyu gradually sweat profusely. She felt as if she had been seen through from the inside out. All secrets are exposed in front of Ling Qinyue. The breeze blew across her face, her hair flying slightly, and Guyan Aroyu also heard Ling Qinyue's next words, which hit the nail on the head for everything she was thinking. You guys came here so early, it's actually because of me, right? Because Guyan is really with me. Rush. A drop of cold sweat ran down Guyan Aroyu's face, and she took 2 steps back and covered her chest. He looked at the woman in front of him with shock. She had a gentle yet slightly cold temperament. She took a deep breath, and a bitter smile gradually appeared at the corners of her mouth. Miss Ling, you are right about everything. Can you tell me how you guessed these? Ling Qinyue smiled lightly, and the pressure just now completely disappeared. He said, it is calculated by comparing various data from previous years. Calculated? Guyan Aroyu was dumbfounded. Is this Ling Qinyue? Also, sorry Sister Yun Aroyu. Ling Qinyue said this. She walked forward, showed a hint of apology to Guyan Aroyu, and said seriously, I actually have my own ideas. I thought you and Gu Yingying wanted to harm Guyan. But through our conversation just now, I can be sure that you and Gu Yingying will not hurt Guyan. Sister Yun Aroyu, please forgive my rudeness just now. The pressure of presence disappears. Stop talking. Stop talking. If I say any more, I'll be embarrassed. The Yun Aroyu felt very ashamed. Wow. What a good person. I still think about Guyan. Looking back at myself, I am really not a human being. Guyan, if you don't treat me well, I will never let you go. Yeah, it's okay. That is, I have another request. I wonder if you can agree to it. Yun Aroyu looked at Ling Qinyue and asked embarrassedly. Yes, of course. Ling Qinyue responded with a smile, and the problem was solved. He didn't have to worry about Guyan being in danger, let alone worrying that Guyan Aroyu would continue to like Guyan. After all, it's useless to like someone, you have to explain why. Because Guyan is hers now. After a moment of silence, Brush. Yun Aroyu took out a pen and said, well, actually, I have been a fan of yours, Mr. Lang, for a long time. Can you sign an autograph for me? I study your various textbook-like operations in the financial industry every day. Please, can you please sign my clothes? This is my biggest wish in this life. Yun Aroyu clasped her hands together, bent over and begged. What I told Guyan before about having heard of Ling Qinyue was all a lie. In fact, she had already remembered Ling Qinyue since he came into the world. Perhaps, one of her reasons for coming to Jianghe early was mixed with some selfish motives in this regard. Ling Teacher Ling Qinyue. This is there something wrong with the people in the Gu family? Chapter 313 Camping Picnic. The tent was set up on a flat area near the water. Gu Yingying said it was too troublesome, but her body was very honest and helped Ling Linger. Yeah, Gu Yingying, you are quite amazing. Ling Linger looked at the tent she and Gu Yingying had built with satisfaction. Sharp. Gu Yingying was stunned. She actually did nothing. She was just helping Ling Linger. Yeah, without you, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it on my own. Ling Linger said this, stretched out her hand and rubbed Gu Yingying's head, smiling and said, thank you. As soon as these words came out, plop, plop, Gu Yingying's heartbeat inexplicably accelerated, actually saying that it won't work without me, this kind of thing. No one has ever praised me like this. Everyone pushes me to do my best. If you can't do it well, then you don't deserve to be a family member. But why would this person praise me like this, when I didn't do anything? Gu Yingying pursed her lips slightly, and the temperature on her face gradually rose. Oh, why is my heart beating so fast? Could it be that? No. I'll go see how my brother-in-law is doing with his fishing. Lang Linger didn't pay attention to Gu Yingying's situation. After saying something casually, she walked towards Gu Yan. Gu Yingying stood there in a daze, staring at Lang Linger's back for a long time, unable to forget her. Sister Linger. By the lake. Gu Yan and Lao Gao sat on fishing chairs with 2 buckets beside them. Every bucket was filled to the brim. Brush. While swinging his club, Gu Yan chatted leisurely with Lao Gao. How are Shitu and the others doing recently? After hearing this, Lao Gao thought for a moment and replied with a smile. Since the young master made new rules, everyone is working harder than before. The class division system makes the bond between classes stronger in the light of hope more orderly. Wangzia Yatian has already found teachers for general subjects. Our daily task is to teach Shitu and his friends how to read and write and improve their cultural literacy. The only flaw is that Light of Hope lacks management talent. Planning competitions and allocating resources are inseparable from such talents. Gu Yan nodded when he heard this. It was almost the same as he expected. He used his true energy to force the fish in the water to take the bait. Brush. He pulled up the boom and another fish was hooked. Seeing this, Lao Gao shook his head and said, Master, cheating in fishing is boring. Cheating is the young master's privilege. Gu Yan smiled lightly. I will recruit more people to the Light of Hope as soon as possible. Almost by the end of the year. At this time, Lang Linger walked over while yelling, Brother-in-law, 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 I want to play too. Okay, can you do it? Brother-in-law, who are you looking down on? What can I do? Lang Linger happily picked up the fishing rod, as she had wanted to give it a try for a long time. Gu Yan laughed and shook his head. It was normal for his sister-in-law to be normal. As he was thinking, he glanced at Gu Yingying. The other party was standing not far away, looking at them with expectant and conflicted eyes. Gu Yan looked carefully and found that the other person's gaze seemed to be always on Lang Linger. Gu Yan slowly put a question mark, shook his head and put aside the random thoughts in his mind. He waved towards Gu Yingying and said, Yingying, come over and play with us. It's boring to be alone there. Gu Yingying actually wanted to come over, but she was too embarrassed to take the initiative to go over. Seeing Gu Yan waving at her, she heaved a sigh of relief. But on the surface she raised her head and snorted proudly. If you let me go, I will go. Forget it if you don't come. Hey, wait, I want to play too. Gu Yingying ran over anxiously. Lao Gao smiled and shook his head and stood up. Master, you are so mean. There's nothing we can do about it. This is how children have to be educated. Gu Yan smiled gently, and looked at Gu Yingying who was coming over and said, and I'll leave this to you Lao Gao and I will go prepare the barbecue. Oh, go ahead. Gu Yingying glanced at Lang Linger who was concentrating on fishing beside her and replied casually. TSK, she was still cute when she was little. Gu Yan sighed helplessly, then carried the bucket and went to the barbecue grill with Lao Gao. I'm cute now too. Gu Yingying shouted in dissatisfaction behind Gu Yan. After shouting, she looked at the fishing rod on the ground, thought for a while, and sat next to Lang Linger, with an embarrassed look on his face. He said to Lang Linger beside him, Sister Lang Linger, can you teach me how to fish? Sure, why do you call me Sister Linger? It's a little closer this way. Oh sure, that's what Quan Lan and the others call me anyway. Quan Lan they? Gu Yingying secretly took note of this. Apart from B.A. Quan Lan, is there anyone else around Sister Linger? But it doesn't matter, I am just a third-rate warrior. No matter who comes, I can't be her opponent. Time passes slowly. Gu Yan and Lao Chao have already set up the barbecue grill and started grilling food on it. Leng Qingqiu and Gu Yan Ru also came back. I picked some wild mushrooms and fruits in the basket in my hand. Are you back? Gu Yan's eyes lit up. Oh, it turns out that camping is more fun when I'm with Qingqiu. Otherwise, what's the point of playing with a bunch of little kids? Leng Qingqiu nodded slightly and handed the basket to Gu Yan. Let's see what Sister Yan Ru and I have harvested. After Gu Yan took it and looked at the 3 melons and 2 dates in the basket, he smiled and said, not bad, not bad. I have a small appetite recently, so these are enough. Leng Qingqiu blushed when he heard this. Gu Yan Ru glared at Gu Yan. Gu Yan, Qingqiu and I have been working hard to find her, but you have to be considerate of her health. When Gu Yan heard this, he looked at Gu Yan Ru and Leng Qingqiu with some surprise. Didn't you call Leng Qingqiu Miss Leng before? Why is he calling her Qingqiu now? Has their relationship become so good? Is this a girl? He coughed lightly and said, it's okay. These are enough as side dishes anyway. Lao Gao and I caught a lot of fish. And I also brought a lot of beef and mutton. Well, it will take some time before it's ready sister. Go check on Gu Yingying and the others fishing, so they don't fall into the lake. Can you speak? Gu Yan Ru said speechless lie, but It was indeed a bit dangerous for the two children by the lake. So Gu Yanaro thought about it and decided to go and look after them. Seeing that the troublemaker had left, Gu Yan's expression also became angry. He flashed at Lang Qinqiuyu's side, stretched out his hand and held hers. Hey, the troublesome guy finally left. Qinqiuyu and I will go for a stroll by the lake. And Lao Gao can do the barbecue here. Lao Gao. Lang Qinqiuyu sighed silently, and then his true face was revealed. You're such a bother. Is that how you talk about your sister? But Lang Qinqiuyu really wanted to stay with Gu Yan. So, okay, let's go. Chapter 314, Camping is over, beautiful group photo. In ancient times, there were paved roads, and now there are paved gravel roads. Gu Yan and Lang Qinqiuyu walked hand in hand along the path beside the lake. The scenery here is beautiful, the water is clear, and the air is excellent, which is very suitable for a leisurely walk like this. Of course, it would be better if Gu Yan could be less unscrupulous. Hiss Qinqiuyu, my Qinqiuyu, I miss you so much. Is this your charm, Qinqiuyu? Even someone as strong as me can't resist. Hiss. Gu Yan's madness has become a daily behavior. Lang Qinqiuyu was almost used to it, but her heart was still beating fast. She really liked Gu Yan sticking to her like this. It will make her feel very safe. There was just one thing that made her unhappy. There's no way to resist. Lang Qinqiuyu snorted coldly, stretched out his hand and pressed it against Gu Yan's forehead to stop his aggressive behavior. She said in a quiet tone, we clearly agreed that it was a day for the people. Gu Yan panicked and immediately activated his passive skill. Qinqiuyu, I was wrong, I'm sorry. This happened suddenly. I could have refused, but in the end I chose to let them come. I'm sorry, Qinqiuyu, this kind of thing will definitely not happen again next time. If it happens again, I won't complain even if you trample me under your feet and humiliate me. Lang Qinqiuyu was a little overwhelmed when she heard Gu Yan's serious and exaggerated words. No need to be like this, I won't do that. No matter what you say about trampling underfoot, trampling on and insulting me, I would never do such an extreme thing. It's okay, Qinqiuyu, this is your right if possible. We can rehearse tonight. Gu Yan said seriously. When Lang Qinqiuyu heard this, he sensed something was wrong. She recalled in her mind that a long time ago, Gu Yan had actually told her about all the perverted things he wanted to do. So what the other party is talking about now, could it be that this is also one of the perverted operations that the other party wants? But that shouldn't be the case, right? No one wants to be stepped on and scolded at the same time. Not even Gu Yan. After all, I have done this to Gu Yan before. And Gu Yan would scream in pain every time. Then, Lang Qinqiuyu shook his head and threatened. Forget it today, but if you don't listen to me next time, and I will have to consider whether to punish you like this. I was just saying this, Qinqiuyu, please don't do this. Gu Yan said cautiously, as everyone knows, he really doesn't like being stepped on by Lang Qinqiuyu. After all, he is a congenitally strong man. Well, it depends on your performance. Lang Qinqiuyu thought he had grasped Gu Yan's weakness, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Go back. Oh, when we returned to the campsite, Lao Chao had almost finished roasting the food that had taken a long time to roast. Master, I'll leave the rest to you. Lao Chao smiled and said that he was also looking forward to Gu Yan's craftsmanship. Okay, then I'll show you my skills today. It's a bargain for you. Gu Yan rolled up his sleeves, took out the prepared skewers of meat and vegetables, and was just about to put them on the grill. Wait. Lang Qinqiuyu came over and tied an apron for Gu Yan from behind. That's good, I'm also looking forward to your cooking skills. When Gu Yan heard this, the corners of his mouth kept rising. Qinqiuyu, then you can look forward to it. Okay, I'll make a salad. Make salad, Qinqiuyu, you're not fat. I didn't say he was fat. Lang Qinqiuyu kindly stretched out two fingers and pinched Gu Yan's waist. Do you also think I'm fat? No. Gu Yan said that Qinqiuyu really wasn't fat, because the Night King's physique made it impossible to gain weight. But Lang Qinqiuyu had this illusion, most likely because Xiaolang would also get up in the middle of the night to eat sweets. This action made Gu Yanaro and Gu Yingying nod their heads repeatedly. It's really good. Hey, brother-in-law and sister. Langlinger was also grinning foolishly beside her. Even the Fishing Air Force's miserable feeling was dispelled by this scene. Soon, bursts of tempting fragrance filled the air. Okay, let's eat. Lang Qinqiuyu's salad is also colorful with good color, aroma, and taste. Several people sat on the picnic blanket, and the quiet scenery around them made the food particularly delicious. Gu Yingying and Gu Yanaro also got to taste Gu Yan's cooking skills. Both were shocked. No, Gu Yan, where did you learn this? I learned it by myself. You must be kidding, you're so awesome? Is that fake? I've always been great. It turns out you're not a waste. Hey, hey, hey. The lake is emerald green, the mountains are misty. It is a rare good day and good weather. After eating, Guyan pulled a suspended rocking chair between two big trees. Ling Qiyu sat on it, groping for a book for the blind in his hand. She still loves reading so much. Guyan sighed inwardly. Oh, that's right. Guyan thought of something and immediately exchanged for a camera in the system mall. He pretended to take out a camera from the car and then walked to Ling Qiyu's side. I wanted to record Ling Qiyu's quiet and focused look. Her profile looked particularly soft and beautiful in the camera. But before he could press the shutter button, a pair of wine glass legs wearing white stockings came into the picture. Okay, brother-in-law, you secretly took pictures of my sister. Lang Linger's voice reached Guyan's ears. He raised his head and looked speechlessly at Lang Linger, who was looking down at him with a feminine smile. Can you please move aside and not disturb the mood at this moment? I don't want to. I want to take pictures too. Together with my sister. Lang Linger said with a smile, and then walked towards Ling Qiyu. Sister, my brother-in-law said you look so beautiful while reading and wanted to take a picture of you. Ling Qiyu was stunned after hearing Lang Linger's explanation, and she quickly closed the book in embarrassment, because she was reading a romance novel. The corner of Guyan's mouth twitched. This damn brat. Then, take a picture? Sure. Guyan Aroyu saw this and slid over to her idol. She waved at Guyan and shouted, Brother, take a good picture for us. Ying Ying, come too. Ying Ying walked to Lang Linger reluctantly. Guyan slowly asked a few questions, then he reluctantly took out a bracket from the car and placed it in front of everyone. Then he said to Lao Gao, you go too. Haha. Okay, young master. Lao Gao walked into the camera with a smile and straightened his back. Guyan adjusted the parameters and gestured to the people in front of him, saying, everyone get ready. Having said that, Guyan adjusted the time and immediately rushed to Ling Qiyu. He half knelt and put his arm around Ling Qiyu's shoulders, controlling the time precisely. Everyone come together. 5, 4, 3. Everyone was counting with happy smiles on their faces. Ling Qiyu was startled by the voice beside her. This feeling, very warm. Loved ones, friends, relaxing in an unwinding time like this is so rare and so reassuring. 1. In the past, I fell into endless darkness and never had the luxury or delusion of living such a life. Revenge is everything to me. But now, the people who allow you to enjoy all this are by your side. Ling Qiyu pursed her lips slightly, slowly turned her head, and stared at the dazzling source of life beside her. Guyan. Ling Qiyu made a bold decision. Then, at the moment when the shutter is about to be pressed as the countdown begins, everyone shouted in unison, eggplant. Click, the shutter fell. Different from the others. Ling Qiyu kissed Guyan on the cheek as lightly as a dragonfly touching the water. A beautiful photo is born. Chapter 315 Gu Family Annual Meeting begins. A week later. 1800 in the evening. A week has passed since our camping picnic. The topic of discussion throughout Zhangye, I also focused on Zhangye's largest family power, the Gu family. Because today is the Gu family's annual meeting. The heads of all the companies under the Gu family's name and the Gu family as a whole. They will all go to Gu's manor for a family gathering. Family-oriented. Guyan stood in front of a full-length mirror. The servant beside him was choosing clothes for Guyan to wear to the party tonight. Master, how is it? The servants asked nervously. This man is the eldest son of the Gu family, and today is a particularly important day. If something goes wrong, they might all be thrown into the rivers and seas to feed the fish. Guyan looked at himself in the full-length mirror. As he looked, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. I'm handsome, so I look good in anything I wear. Yeah, master is right. The servants nodded in agreement, which was certainly not flattery. In their opinion, Guyan's appearance is already world-class, coupled with her own temperament and the blessing of the dress. If you don't know, you might think Guyan is a nobleman from some country. The premise is that the nobleman does not say anything weird. She is just boasting about her own melons. A light snort came from the side. Guyan turned his head and saw that Gu Yingying and Guyan Aroyu were also wearing evening gowns. The two sisters had their own strengths, and both had an indescribable feeling. Obviously this is not boasting, this is the truth. Sister, if you can name a man who is more handsome than your brother, please tell me. Guyan raised the corner of his mouth and said confidently. I don't know whether to say you are narcissistic or confident. Gu Yingying glanced at Guyan from head to toe, her face flushed as she looked at him. She looked away and snorted. Anyway, let's go pick up Sister Linger and the others. Oh, are you also looking forward to meeting my dear Qiyu? My dear Qiyu. Guyan Aroyu's eyes twitched. Her brother is good in every way. Except that sometimes what he says gives her goosebumps. No, could it be that this is the man who falls in love? At this time, Lao Chao walked forward and whispered to Gu Yan, "Master, we should leave now. The master and the mistress are urging us." Naturally, Gu Qianming and Sumo Rong stayed at the Gu family manor early to accompany old Madame Gu and Master Gu. Gu Yan nodded after hearing this, glanced at Gu Yan, Oroyu and Gu Yingying and said, "Okay, let's go, drive to cars, and you and your sister will go to the Gu family manor first. I'll go pick up King Qiyu." As soon as these words came out, Gu Yingying was unhappy. She still wanted to see sister linger. After all, they had exchanged contact information. Gu Yan Oroyu shook her head, speechless. Lie. Okay, you just want to be alone, right? But she pulled Gu Yingying and said with a smile, "Who made me your sister? I will satisfy you." "Thank you, sister." Gu Yan smiled. "Oh, it's so nice to have a sensible elder sister. Compared to this little female ghost, she is so much better." Ling family. The Ling sisters here have also been prepared for a long time. "Sister, you will definitely be the focus of the whole audience today. Even I can't help but fall in love with you. Because it is the Gu family's annual meeting. It is quite grand." So Lang Linger carefully put on evening makeup for Lang King Qiyu. As for the dress, it was specially customized based on her aesthetics, Gu Yan's aesthetics. Lang Linger was very confident that her brother-in-law would be completely fascinated by him. Lang King Qiyu smiled softly. "Linger, don't be so exaggerated. It has to be this exaggerated." Lang Linger yelled. At this time, Buzz, Gu Yan also sent a message that he had arrived. "Sister, let's go, my brother-in-law is here." Lang King Qiyu nodded slightly, feeling a little nervous for some reason. She still feels a little embarrassed about the bold move she made at the picnic camping a week ago. When Gu Yan asked her later what she was thinking at that time, Lang King Qiyu stammered and was unable to speak. Could she say that she was impulsive at the time and that this happened because she had read such a scene in a romance novel? A pure white luxury car was parked outside the house. Gu Yan stood at the door of Lang's house and looked inside, feeling very impatient. He was holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand, so there should be a sense of ceremony in the meeting. Next second, squeak! As the door opened, two figures walked out. Gu Yan was stunned for a moment. He took a breath. This. You must be stunned, brother-in-law. Are these flowers for me? Ling Linger said this as she happily reached out to take it. Then, snap! Gu Yan slapped away the pig's hand that Lang Linger extended to him. Then he placed the rose in front of Lang King Qiyu and said involuntarily, "It's really like a lotus flower that embarrasses a jade-like face." King Qiyu, what are the people who are attending the annual meeting this year going to do? You put a lot of pressure on me, your husband. Lang King Qiyu couldn't help but smile when she heard that. And she took the rose, gently sniffing the fragrance of the flowers. My heart also became sweet, saying, "I speak from the bottom of my heart." As he spoke, Gu Yan took Lang King Qiyu's other hand and said with a smile, "Come on, King Qiyu, let those guys who have never seen the world know what dimensionality reduction strikes are." Dimensionality reduction attack? Yes, in every sense. Oh. Lang Linger covered the back of her hand that was hurt from the beating and glared at Gu Yan, who turned around and got into the car. Asshole. I'm so mad. She's dressed up. You stinky brother-in-law. Little ghost, are you coming or not? Lang Linger still ran up happily. The car is driving. Every year the annual meeting lasts for 3 days. And this year is no exception. The first 2 days were a normal banquet process. And on the third day, it is the focus of the Gu family annual meeting. It is the heir vote. Each heir has 3 chances once the number of vetoes is greater than the number of approval votes. This person will completely lose the qualification to inherit the Gu family. And this year is Gu Yan's third chance. Reporting to the master, we have already controlled all the voters. Some people were already ideologically prepared by the eldest son of the Gu family, so they were excluded. At this year's annual meeting, young Master Gu will definitely become the heir to the Gu family. Then the Gu family will be ours. And hey! As expected of the master, he easily accomplished something we could not imagine. Lang King Qiyu appeared calm on the surface, but in fact he was communicating with members of the night organization in his mind. In order to ensure that Gu Yan became the heir of the Gu family, she also did a lot of work. Originally, she thought that if Gu Yan Oroyu and Gu Yingying wanted to harm Gu Yan, then she would just control them. But now I realize that I was thinking too much. The other side. Sir, all the members of the Gu family are here. Gu Zihue is completely fine now. And my lord, you need to pay attention to Gu Lini. The old lady and Mr. Gu seem to be very fond of each other. In addition to these, many warriors from the Gu family manor also came to attend the banquet, including a Grand Master. Gu Yan appeared calm on the surface, but he was actually communicating with his subordinates in his mind. Now it seems that it is pretty much the same as what I thought. He glanced at Ling Qinkyu quietly, not knowing if it was a coincidence. Ling Qinkyu was also using her perception to secretly watch Gu Yan at this time. When she saw the other person secretly looking at her, her heart tightened. Anyway, please contact me if you have any questions. Good master. Gu Yan seemed to have noticed something as well. He said in his mind, contact me if you have any questions. Okay, my lord. Oh, the corners of their mouth slightly raised. That's fine. X2. Chapter 316 Annual Meeting. The Gu family manor covers a vast area. Approximately 50,000 acres 5 square kilometers. It has exquisite gardens, spacious gathering places and rich entertainment facilities. Every time there is an annual family meeting, the manor will be carefully decorated inside and out, exuding wealth and elegance everywhere. Guests, family members and senior management of Gu family-owned companies will be present. Not only that, all forces in the martial arts world will also be invited to participate in this banquet, because the identities and status of Mrs. Gu and Mr. Gu and the Gu family are very special. Therefore, even the warrior department will participate in security maintenance. It can be said that tonight the Gu family manor has gathered celebrities and even powerful warriors from all over the world. There is still half an hour before the banquet starts. The banquet hall was already full of people. They were dressed in gorgeous evening gowns, each holding a slender goblet, elegantly displaying their social skills. Ling Xing'an, the official head of the Ling family, was also invited to attend the meeting. After all, his eldest niece Ling Qinkyu will also be here tonight. It's just T.S. Alexander now. Because in front of him, Gu Qianming, the head of the Gu family, and the social tycoon who usually wouldn't even look at him were smiling and talking to him about the issue of marriage. My dear, is this drink not to your liking? How about I ask someone to change it for you? Gu Qianming was still very friendly to Ling Xing'an. After all, a long time ago, the Ling family and the Gu family were aristocratic families. Although the head of the Ling family was not Ling Xing'an at the time, he had also met him. Dear relatives, Ling Xing'an was under even greater pressure, as he was just a packaged family head. He doesn't know anything about managing a business. He just wants to live his life simply with his wife in that warm house. But he also understood that his eldest niece had too much on her shoulders, and he couldn't just hide behind her. So he tried his best not to lose his composure. No, it's fine. It's just that I can't make the decision on this marriage. It depends on what my niece thinks. As he spoke, Ling Xing'an felt a little ashamed what was going on. How was the relationship between his niece and Gu Yan going? How come you're getting married already? Gu Qianming nodded when he heard this. My dear relative, you are right. Now it all depends on the wishes of the young people. And let's talk about it after my Shiqian and Xiaoling arrive. He just took this opportunity to ask what the other party's attitude was. Now it seems that Ling Xing'an has no ill will towards their Gu family. And that's no problem. Besides, when will Gu Yan and Ling Qinkyu get married? Let's be honest. It is highly likely that he and Sumo Rong cannot make the decision. After all, this little bastard Gu Yan has his own opinions. Sometimes I can't figure out what the other person is going to do. But anyway, just let him be. Patriarch Gu, Patriarch Gu, Patriarch Lang. Congratulations. You have to invite us to the wedding banquet when the time comes. Of course, I respect the seniors. Gu Qianming can talk about it. But I felt helpless inside. No, should this brat come or not? It would only do him good and no harm if he came earlier and met some people. This year's annual meeting was attended not only by people from Gu family-owned companies, but also by other industry leaders. There are even many masters from the ancient martial arts world who have come here, and Gu Yan needs to grab hold of all these resources. In addition, many young talents from the ancient martial arts world came to the banquet, and all the talented martial artists from the department also came. My network of contacts has already reached this point, and the rest will have to be found by Gu Yan. Old connections, new connections. Old forces, new forces. A powerful combination of fresh blood. This is the only way for a large family to continue to prosper. I really want to retire early with my wife Sumo Rong. Master Gu, you are joking. We are not your seniors. They are already several elderly retirees. Look at what you guys have come this year. The warriors from the warrior department will serve as your security. Minister Lin, the minister of the peace faction, and the members of the inspection team are all here. There is also Miss Ning Qian who is attending the banquet on behalf of Longwang Mountain. The Gu family has a very wide network of contacts among the members of various sects. Gu Qianming responded with a smile, but he was actually quite confused as well. The Gu family doesn't have this kind of face, right? Why are the Minister of Peace and the disciples of Longwang Mountain here? But unfortunately, it is very likely that Gu Yan will not get to know these people. If he knew him, then wouldn't the position of the head of the family be secure? The other side. Boring, boring, why did Xiao Xiaogu call me here? But I can't see him. Lin Yinyin sat on a small stool and swung her legs. She was holding a lollipop in her hand and had a very bored look on her face. Next to her, inspection team member Sun Shizeng was meticulously locking onto Lin Yinyin's breath. Although Lin Yinyin was removed from her post as a peace-minded minister, the impact was so bad that it was not announced to the public. Every year during the Gu family's annual meeting, half of the warriors from the Zhang area would be dispatched to cooperate in security work. After all, if Madame Gu and Mr. Gu died, Zhang would be in chaos. In addition, Gu Yan invited Lin Yinyin, so it just so happens that Lin Yinyin and himself are here, which can also ensure the maximum safety of the banquet. The other side. Ning Qian was sitting on a banquet chair with a sullen face. Next to her sat a man with an awkward expression, wearing an evening suit. It was Shaolin, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. The reason why he is here is actually because the largest shareholder of Shenwaner's company is Gu Group. So he and Shenwaner came to the meeting on behalf of the company. At Junior's sister. Shaolin scratched his face awkwardly, not knowing what to say to his junior sister whom he hadn't seen for a long time. It's just, I looked for you after that day, but I couldn't find you. Shaolin looked at Ning Qian with an embarrassed smile. What was going on? Why is Junior's sister here? Did the Gu family invite Dragon King Mountain? Ning Qian heard this and fixed her gaze on Shaolin's face. She said calmly, looking for? Brother, did you know that you keep blinking when you lie? Shaolin's expression changed. Ning Qian saw Shaolin's stiff expression and sneered. Did I get it right? As she spoke, she looked at a woman who was surrounded by people. She looked a little tired, but her eyes revealed confidence. You came here with Miss Shen? Shaolin heard this and coughed dryly. After that, silence fell between the two. Ning Qian also realized that she no longer liked her senior brother that much. Speaking of liking, she seemed to have thought of something in her mind, and her eyes gradually softened. Sister Linger. Gu Yingying, who was demonstrating her social skills not far away, suddenly became alert. What's wrong with feeling a sense of crisis? But why hasn't Gu Yan come yet? What on earth is he doing? The other side. Gu Yan Aroyu also has a group of young talents who want to please her. Speaking of which, today is young Master Gu's last chance, right? Yeah, today is the clown scene where he is disqualified as an heir, right? What do you think, Miss Gu? In previous years, you have always been a staunch veto party. They looked at Guyan Aroyu happily. Unfortunately, Guyan Aroyu took a sip of white wine and then forced a kind smile. Go away. Everyone was suddenly embarrassed. What's going on? What happened to Guyan Aroyu today? Was it different from what they imagined? As for Gu Zihua, he has changed a lot after all this time. He no longer cares about the position of the head of the family. Because, he looked at the gentle woman with big wavy blonde hair beside him. Just having Alice was enough for him. But he looked around at the various guests in the ballroom this year. His expression also became very expectant. Looking forward to the moment when Gu Yan makes a fool of himself. After all, Gu Yan Aroyu, Gu Yingying and the others would find different ways to play tricks on Gu Yan every year. However, I heard that this year, in addition to Gu Yan, Ling Qingqiu from the Ling family will also come. Or as his fiancee? Ridiculous. What can a blind person who has fallen from the altar do? I was already looking forward to the scene where both of them became laughingstocks and clowns. Just thought of this. Boom! The door was pushed open. Is anyone else entering the venue at this time? Who has such a poor sense of time? Everyone was attracted to the source of the sound. And two figures also came into everyone's sight. Chapter 317. The stars are all around the moon. The crowd is stunned. As the door opened, two figures walked in slowly, and everyone was stunned. When this beautiful couple appeared at the door of the venue, the entire space seemed to be filled with their light, and everything else seemed dim. Everyone held their breath involuntarily. Even the whispers and background music seemed to freeze at this moment. The venue was completely silent. At that moment, no one spoke. No one moved, and even the air seemed to be frozen. All eyes were focused on the two of them. A shakanda made everyone forget even the thought of blinking. The woman was like the brightest star in the night sky. Even under the glare of countless bright lights, she still sparkled brightly. She was wearing a black evening dress. This was not just simple black, but a black like the black in the abyss, deep and layered, as if it could attract and swallow all the light around it. The dress features smooth lines and high-grade satin fabric, which not only highlights her figure but also retains her nobility and elegance. The details, embellished with star-like diamonds, make her sparkle under the lights, like a goddess walking out of the sea of stars. Her hair was tied up, leaving only a few long, smooth strands hanging behind her ears. Simple yet soft. A pair of diamond earrings flickered on her ears, silently adding a touch of glamour. Her beauty was not only stunning in appearance, but also in the temperament that emanated from the inside out, making her seem out of tune with this world, as unreal as a dream. Everyone was stunned. Ooh, who is this person? So beautiful. How could there be such a beautiful woman? Everyone couldn't help but marvel and admiration in their hearts. They dared not make a sound because they were afraid of disturbing the current mood. And suddenly, someone spotted the man next to the woman. The other party had an equally strong aura. He was wearing a tailor-made black suit that was well cut and showed off his perfect body proportions. The fabric of the suit shone with a subtle luster under the light. There was a hint of confidence and composure between his brows, and even a hint of arrogance and defiance in his eyes as he glanced at the guests. But this could not conceal the aristocratic temperament that naturally emanated from the man, making him look like a noble prince who walked out of a painting. Every step they took was like a note beating in a silent world, causing wave after wave of shock. Everyone present was stunned by this scene, watching in disbelief as this couple, who looked like they had walked out of a movie, mysteriously and gracefully appeared before their eyes. This silence lasted for several minutes. Gu Qianming also watched and shook his head and smiled bitterly. This kid is really eye-catching. You know, there are a lot of big guys here. Thinking about this, Gu Qianming quietly looked at Minister Lin. Who was a peace-loving minister. It would not be a good thing if he angered the other party. The result, huh? Why is Minister Lin running towards Shikaun? What's going on? Is there something wrong? Next second, a surprised childish voice broke the mood of the moment. Little Gu, I miss you so much. Thump. Lin Yinyan threw herself into Gu Yan's arms, raised her head and said happily, "You called me over but you were not here. There was no one to play with me." As soon as these words came out, everyone woke up in shock. Gu Qianming was also dumbfounded. No, wait, Minister Lin, you pounced on the wrong person, right? Not only Gu Qianming. Everyone looked at Gu Yan with disbelief. Wait, looking closely, isn't this person Gu Yan? The eldest son of the Gu family. How come you are so handsome? And the goddess-like woman next to him. Why is she closing her eyes? With your eyes closed? Could it be that the other party is Ling Qingqiu? Everyone realized this and took a deep breath. I actually met Ling Qingqiu. Some people who once regarded Ling Qingqiu as their idol suddenly returned to their original intentions. They were originally fans of Ling Qingqiu's talent. But because the Ling family was wiped out and Ling Qingqiu cut off her own pupils, they stopped being fans. I thought they were no longer at the age of chasing stars. But now that the real person has appeared, they discovered that looking back at the past, Ling Qingqiu is still the same Ling Qingqiu. A goddess is a goddess after all. She doesn't look depressed at all as the rumors say. They all clenched their fists and stared at Gu Yan. Why is Ling Qingqiu with Gu Yan? Are you kidding? Are you really going to marry Gu Yan? No way, Gu Yan and Ling Qingqiu are actually together. Don't do that kind of thing. Damn it, Gu Yan, I'm going to kill you. No. Why does that peace-loving minister seem to be very familiar with Gu Yan? What is going on here? The banquet hall became noisy again. Everyone was stunned by the appearance of Gu Yan and Ling Qingqiu. Why, no reason. Why are you, Gu Yan Zhen, and Ling Qingqiu together? Ning, do you match with Ling Qingqiu? Ning, do you match with Ling Qingqiu? Xiaolin also saw Gu Yan and Ling Qingqiu, and he clenched his fists. Gu Yan, everything you said was true. He had heard before that Gu Yan already had a fiancee. He still didn't believe it, thinking that a family member like Gu Yan must have 3 wives and 4 concubines. But now he sees. The other party is indeed different from other family members. Although there were some conflicts with Gu Yan in the past, it doesn't matter now. Because, Xiaolin smiled, he already had more important things to do. Thinking about it, he looked towards Shenwaner, but this time, he was stunned. Because Shenwaner, who looked very beautiful and decent in a midnight blue evening gown, was staring at Gu Yan intently. His eyes seemed to reveal 3 parts of regret, 3 parts of surprise, 3 parts of dullness, and 1 part of loss and gloom. Flick! Xiaolin's heart suddenly skipped a beat and he clenched his fists tightly. He knew that Gu Yan had pursued Shenwaner before, but Water was focused on her career, so she naturally refused. Xiaolin also agreed with Shenwaner's approach. After all, his career was the most important thing. But now I see. Xiaolin's clenched fist slowly loosened, and a hint of disappointment appeared in his eyes. Water, are you still obsessed with Gu Yan? But in what way am I, Xiaolin, inferior to Gu Yan? Why can't you look at me? What about my junior sister? If she were my junior sister, would she be able to understand me? In fact, he knew that when he was a child, His junior sister always followed him around and kept saying that she wanted to marry him. Lord Long is right. As the heir of the Dragon King Palace, one woman is not enough if it is a junior sister. Shaolin looked at Ningqian beside him and forced a smile. Master. At the words fell, Shaolin's smile froze at the corners of his mouth. Because Ningqian didn't even look at him, but a surprised smile appeared on her face. And then she walked towards Guyan. Oh, how could it be? Shaolin stared blankly at Ningqian's back as she walked towards Guyan. Will junior sisters still show this kind of smile to others? Why, what happened? What on earth did Guyan do to my junior sister without my knowledge? Shaolin's head was buzzing, and he found it was becoming increasingly difficult to breathe. Also, Shaolinzi, calm down and leave the venue to calm down. Lord Dragon hasn't appeared for a long time, because ever since it sensed the breath of the king of the underworld, it has been hiding in Shaolin's heart. At this time, Shaolin's heart was trembling, so he had to remind him out loud. Good. Upon hearing this, Shaolin took a deep breath. And after taking one last look at Ningqian and Guyan, he stood up and left the banquet hall. I don't know if it's a coincidence. Out of the corner of Shenweiner's eye, she just happened to see Shaolin getting up and leaving. She turned her head and looked at the other person's lonely back. And her heart seemed to be touched by something. Shenwaner pursed her lips slightly, and then turned her gaze to look at Guyan and Ling Qingqiwayu. Maybe if you miss it, you miss it. Guyan, you may not know. My idol has always been Ling Qingqiwayu. I want to learn from her and get closer to her. But you walked side by side with her easily. Is this my retribution? Shenweiner's eyes were dim, when everyone's attention was attracted to Guyan and Ling Qingqiwayu. Shenwaner quietly left the venue. She no longer had the courage to stay in this place. Chapter 318. Who is this woman? Boss, I have to dress more formally. So it took some time. Let me introduce you. This is my fiancee, Ling Qingqiwayu. Guyan first pulled Lin Yin, who was throwing herself on him, down, and then introduced her with a smile. Fiancee? After Lin Yin was pulled down, her eyes were dull for a moment. She looked at Guyan, then at Ling Qingqiwayu standing beside her. Guyan thought the other party didn't understand, so he emphasized again. Yes, she will be my wife in the future. Ling Qingqiwayu's lips curled up slightly when he heard this. Lin Yin came back to her senses. She didn't know what made her unhappy. She shouted angrily, I'm not a child, of course I know. Xiao Gu, you bastard. Having said this, he ran away with tears in his eyes. Guyan slowly typed a few question marks. Hey, did I treat you to the lollipop for nothing? But forget it, his goal has been achieved anyway. Lin Yin came over and acted like she was very familiar with him, which was enough to make the onlookers who didn't know the truth brainstorm. At this time, you know a lot of women. Keep walking. Don't stand here. Ling Qingqiwayu showed a kind smile at the corner of her mouth, and at the same time she reached out and held Guyan's arm. On the surface, the two of them looked like a fairy couple. In fact, Guyan was trying his best to keep smiling, because the inside of his arm was being constantly ravished by Ling Qingqiwayu. He smiled awkwardly. Minister Lin is a child, not a woman. Oh, she fell on you? Children, all children are like this. She fell on you. She jumped on you, and her real age is not that of a child. Guyan was at his wit's end, and frantically apologized in a low voice. Qingqiwayu, I was wrong. Please let me pounce on you next time. What are you talking about? Who wants a stinky man like you to pounce on me? Ling Qingqiwayu's face turned red and she stopped pinching immediately. Everyone looking at the two people being so intimate felt as if their heart was blocked and couldn't release the air. Especially Gu Zihua, he was dumbfounded. No, why should you? Why do you live so well after not being a bootlicker? Why? Everyone on my side has stabbed me in the back, but you are getting better and better. He clenched his teeth tightly and looked at his good-for-nothing brother who was being treated like a star by everyone. For a moment, he felt unbalanced. Are you kidding? What I want to see is you being fooled and becoming a blushing clown. Why can you become the focus of everyone's attention? Damn. However, at least Guyan Aroyu and Gu Ying shouldn't. Just as he was thinking about it, his expression froze. Because Guyan Aroyu and Gu Ying were walking towards Guyan, and greeted warmly. Oh, what a loving brother. Brother, you are finally here. Guyan Aroyu and Gu Ying also came over. Because of their previous interactions, they all joined Guyan's side. And Gu Ying also locked onto Ling Linger at the first moment. She looked at Ling Linger who was wearing a violet dress, and her eyes suddenly lit up. Sister Linger is so beautiful. Want to stick it. Sister Linger, you are so beautiful. X2. Gu Ying said this and walked over naturally, then hugged Ling Linger's right hand. Only, the moment she hugged him, Gu Ying realized something was wrong. How come someone is saying the same thing as me? She looked to her left. I saw that, for some unknown reason, Sister Linger's left arm was also hugged by a girl with long black hair. If Shaolin had left a little later, he would have understood that the person Ning Qian was looking for was not Guyan, but Linger. Anyway, this misunderstanding was born. Ning Qian was also a little confused. Why was someone saying the same thing to her? She looked to her right and their eyes met. Gu Yingying and Ning Qian stared at each other for a while. Then, who are you? Who are you? They let go of Linger and glared at each other with hostility. Then, they all looked at Linger and pointed at each other. Their voices full of grievance. Sister Linger? Who is this woman? Who is this woman? A corner of Gu Yan's mouth twitched when he saw this. No, what was going on with this inexplicable sense of déjà vu? Little yellow hair, you are not the protagonist, okay? Can you please stop stealing the protagonist's plot? However, even the protagonist would definitely have to deal with this kind of thing. But the next second, Linger stretched out her hands and hugged Gu Yingying and Ning Qian. One on each side. Oh, what do you mean by so and so? You are all my best friends. Let me introduce you. This is Ning Qian, who has a bit of a Chuyunibiyu syndrome. And this is Gu Yingying, Gu Yan's sister. Best friend. Ning Qian and Gu Yingying blushed, looked at each other, and lowered their heads shyly. The best friend that Linger Ji mentioned must be me X2. Thus, the crisis was resolved. Gu Yan. When I type this question mark, it's not me who has a problem, it's you who has a problem. You didn't notice anything unusual about her sister's current situation. She just thought that since they were all girls, as long as her sister was happy, that was all that mattered. At this time, Chai Chound, Xiaoling. Don't stand there, come here, sit next to mom and chat with her. Sumu Rong's voice came from the front. Guyan looked and saw that there were two empty seats next to Sumu Rong. Then in her row, there were all wealthy ladies wearing luxurious clothes. Guyan took Inqiyu's arm and gave an apologetic smile to Guyan Aroyu. Gu Yingying, Linger and the others, I'll go over first. As he spoke, he looked at Qingqiu and said gently. Come on, Qingqiu. Qingqiu nodded slightly. Guyan and Qingqiu took their seats. Sumu Rong's group of noble ladies also started shouting one by one. Wow, Sister Su, this is your son, so handsome. Hey. Miss Lang is your daughter-in-law? Oh my god, my daughter was covered with her posters every day at that time. What a beautiful daughter-in-law, I envy you so much. Sister Su. Tai Shaqian asked for this himself. We parents can't make the decision. Let me tell you, my Xiaoling is so outstanding, there is no girl in the world who is better than her. Speaking of which, your son knows Minister Lin. What's going on? Oh, Shaiqian works in the warrior department at Yin. Maybe she has some relationship with Minister Lin. Oh, so envious. Sister Sudo, you mind having another daughter-in-law? No, you're too old. Sumu Rong enjoyed listening to this very much. And the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. Buyan and Qingqiu couldn't get a word in, but they understood that this was what parents like to do most, which was to please their children. So after listening to his mother's Versailles for a while, Buyan pulled Qingqiu and stood up. Mom, I'm going to take Qingqiu out for a walk. Okay it. As scold outside, don't let yourself get frozen. Receive. Goodbye ma. Oh, my, goodbye Xiaoling. Qingqiu let Guyan hold her hand, and her originally nervous mood gradually calmed down. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Well, this feeling is not bad. Chapter 319 Xiaolin and Shen Wei arrest progress. Outside the banquet hall, Guyan and Qingqiu were strolling leisurely. The first day of the annual meeting will consist of watching performances and introducing several important guests. Guyan naturally chose to skip all such boring scenes. Linger chose to stay in the banquet hall and eat snacks with her good sisters. But this was just fine. This left him some time to be alone with Qingqiu. It is already December and the temperature at night has dropped below zero. There was a little snow before, but it didn't accumulate. Guyan guessed that according to the climate in Zhangha, it would take until the end of December for the next heavy snow to fall. The interior of the Gu family manor was as bright as day, with bright lights everywhere illuminating the road. Guyan couldn't help but sigh. The Gu family is just rich and powerful. Qingqiu was wearing a down jacket, which belonged to Guyan. She pulled her clothes tighter, and there seemed to be a hint of Guyan's sweet scent on them. Although she is the Night King and is not afraid of the cold, she is naturally very touched by Guyan's kindness. The two walked side by side, and Qingqiu couldn't help but ask, Guyan, are you leaving the venue because of me? Qingqiu knew that she had once told Guyan that she liked quietness. Could it be that Guyan considered this point before? After hearing this, Guyan looked at Qingqiu and said with a smile, that's one point. The other point. He held Qingqiu's hand and clenched it slightly. And his voice became extremely gentle. I would rather have such a beautiful you all to myself. Plop, plop, plop. Lang Qinyu's face flushed slightly and her heart beat quick and slightly. You are the only one who can speak. When Lang Qingqiu was about to say something, he didn't know if he sensed something. She quickly suppressed her shyness and her expression gradually became calm. Guyan also saw two familiar figures not far away. They stood on both sides of the road, guarding the only road leading to the banquet hall like bodyguards. Guyan also thought of something interesting, so he simply took Lang Qingqiu's hand and walked over. Aren't these Miss Shangwan and Qin Rong? Is this the area you are responsible for? Shangwan Mayayin could actually sense her master's breath from a distance. She really wanted to say hello, but when she looked closely, she saw that her master was holding the hand of that trash Guyan. She understood immediately. The master has sacrificed too much for the plan. At this moment, I couldn't tell whether Guyan's words were mocking or showing off. She tried to keep smiling, but her eyes couldn't help but keep looking at Lang Qingqiu, who was expressionless beside Guyan. Well, Biaoyan and Mu Rongxi are guarding in the banquet hall. Mei Zhu and Yu Xingzu are guarding the door. But you? Why don't you stay in the banquet hall? What are you doing here? But good guy, you told all the key information in front of the master, right? Guyan smiled in his ear that didn't look at Lang Qingqiu's expression, but said naturally, the banquet hall is too noisy. My wife and I. Guyan said, holding Lang Qingqiu's hand tightly. I prefer a quiet place. My wife and I. You bastard. Don't think that just because you are with the master now, you can stay with the master forever. Bastard, 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 you will regret it, Guyan. You should laugh now. You won't be able to laugh later. When your Gu family is taken away by the master. I guarantee you will cry. Look at the expressionless look on the master's face. He must have been forced to be with you because of a plan. It must be very reluctant. Guyan, you deserve to die. Damn, I'm so jealous, it's so close to its owner. Why are you still holding hands? Shangwan Mayayan tried hard to keep smiling. Really loving. The words seemed to be squeezed out. Lang Qingqiu appeared to be very calm on the surface. But in fact he was already filled with shame and humiliation. Guyan, can you please stop asking questions? Let's go. I really can't stand this in front of my subordinates. If I hadn't been accustomed to keeping a straight face in front of them for so many years, I would have failed long ago. Enrong also smiled and said, Yan, I've always heard you mention your fiancee. When I saw her today, she is indeed as beautiful as you said. Lang Qingqiu pricked up his ears and eavesdropped secretly. Guyan still mention her in the warrior department? So shameful, so shy. Why didn't the subordinates tell her about these things? Guyan also noticed that Lang Qingqiu's hands were getting tighter and tighter. And he understood that Lang Qingqiu didn't want to stay anymore. So he said, of course, okay, I won't bother you anymore. Qingqiu and I will go shopping again. Having said that, Guyan took Lang Qingqiu's hand and left under Shangwan Mayayan's complicated gaze. After the two of them left, Enrong sighed, what a loving couple. What do you think, Shangwan Xiao? As she was talking, Enrong shut up because Shangwan Mayayan's complexion had turned grayish white. Miss Shangwan? Shangwan Mayayan was devastated. Watching the master he loved being led away by the trash Guyan's hand was more painful than killing her. Damn it, Guyan, you and I cannot coexist. When we take over the Gu family, that will be the day you kneel on the ground and cry bitterly. On the path leading to the entrance of Gu's manor, Shaolin, Chen Chenwaner caught up with Shaolin who was leaving the venue alone, and she shouted at his back. Shaolin in front paused when he heard the voice and stopped there. But he did not turn around. Instead, he clenched his fists and said in a dull tone, the banquet is about to begin. Wanner, don't you still want to meet some new partners? Go quickly and don't miss this opportunity. I'll wait for you in the car. It on T-Fit in here. When Shen Wanner heard this and looked at Shaolin's lonely back, her heart seemed to be touched by something. Yes, Shaolin is very powerful. He knows a little bit about everything and is very strong. If it weren't for him, I would have probably been killed. No, he might suffer even more cruel treatment after all. He has an innate Purian body, which is the best cauldron. I have lived in Zhangye for more than 20 years. But to Shaolin, Zhangye was just a strange city that he visited for the first time. Coming to this unfamiliar place alone, Shaolin has no friends and must be very lonely. In order to get closer to my idol, I have always focused on my own business. But now, Chenwater seemed to have figured something out. When he was in danger, it was Shaolin who saved him. When the company was in trouble, it was Shaolin who provided the beauty prescription. When his family was forcing him to get married, it was Shaolin who came over to act as a shield and drove away the bad guys. A person who helps me the most is Shaolin. She took a deep breath and walked forward slowly. Dump. She hugged Shaolin from behind, her voice full of relief. Shaolin, I figured it out, I'll go back with you. Shaolin was stunned. Plop, plop. His heart was beating fast and he didn't understand what was going on. Wanner? Why suddenly? Shenwanner interrupted the other party and said slowly. I want to know more about warriors and my physique. Also, I want to get to know you better, Shaolin. When I needed help the most, you were always there for me. I understand the feelings in my heart. Shaolin, what about you? Happiness came to suddenly. Shaolin just stood there in a daze, stammering and unable to speak. In his heart. Shaolinzi, your boss, please respond quickly. Wang Yi couldn't wait to shout, how can this guy be so stupid? Hurry up. I can't wait to taste the innate Purian body. As long as Shaolin practices dual cultivation with the woman, it can also enjoy the power increase brought by dual cultivation. Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Long. Shaolin came back to his senses. He turned around and looked at Shen Wanner, his eyes full of disbelief and joy. Wanner, I actually like you too. I fell in love with you the first time I saw you. Shen Wanner nodded, that's fine. As she spoke, she stretched out her hand, up Shaolin's cheek, and leaned closer. Shaolin was stunned. Wanner, kissed me? After Shen Wanner finished, she reached out and held Shaolin's hand and looked at him with a smile. Please give me more advice in the future. Well, then wait. Shaolin was shy and at a loss. Let's go home. This place is not suitable for me. Good. Shaolin's expression gradually became one of surprise. He walked in front, feeling the warmth of Shen Wanner's palm in his palm. He felt extremely excited and unbelievable in his heart. Wanner was really with him. But what he didn't see was, behind him, Shen Wanner, who had just expressed her love, now looked very lonely and unwilling. But in the end, all that's left is to face reality. She looked at Shaolin's back and sighed in her heart. Shaolin, just Shaolin. After all, Guyan and I can never go back to the past. What neither of them knew was where the two left. Gurgle, a shadowy figure slowly rose from the shadows. It saw the entire scene just now. Chapter 320 Cricket and Other Small Fish. Oh, the love progress bar between Shaolin and Shen Wanner finally moved. Have we become boyfriend and girlfriend? And it seems that Shaolin's side is also coming to an end. Inside the library of Gu Family Manor, Guyan sat on the chair, receiving the message conveyed by the Shadow Man in his mind. In order to better understand the progress of Shaolin and Shen Wanner, he sent out Shadowmen to monitor them secretly. This was the ancient Shadowman that Scale of the Nether Clan gave to him in the Forbidden Area before. It is the legacy of the ancient king of the underworld. Each of them is at the master level, and with the special characteristics of the Shadowman, they can conceal all auras. Therefore even Shaolin could not detect anything unusual. What did you think of? Ling Qinkyu took a book and sat next to Guyan. I miss you Ray, all I can think of. Guyan put his arm around Ling Qinkyu's waist and replied without thinking. You're just smooth talking. Ling Qinkyu snorted. Then said hesitantly, is it really okay for us to leave the venue like this? Wouldn't that be too rude? In Ling Qinkyu's opinion, isn't the most important thing Guyan should do at this time to make friends with more people at the venue? What's wrong with that? The annual meeting is boring anyway. We two just need to show up to prove we were here. Besides, the Gu family belongs to us, what else can they say about us? Guyan curled his lips. This kind of gathering is very troublesome. Someone will come to please you at any time. You have to respond to them one by one. Which is really troublesome. Of course, the most important thing is, the smile appeared on Guyan's face and he buried his face in Ling Qinkyu's shoulder. Because the library was kept at a constant temperature and dry, the temperature was relatively high, so Ling Qinkyu took off his down jacket. Hiss. Qinkyu, my Qinkyu, I would rather be alone with you. When there was no one around, Guyan couldn't help but show his true face. Ling Qinkyu held Guyan's head speechless. Why, as he felt like she had gotten used to this kind of perverted attitude. But this is outside after all, and although no one usually comes to the library now, what if something unexpected happens? Stop making a fuss. Let's talk about this when we get home. Hey, Qinkyu, what are you thinking about? I don't mean to do anything bad. I just want to suck in your taste. What's going on? It's even more perverted. Roll. Low. Guyan immediately moved away obediently. Why so far away? Seeing that Guyan didn't even come close to her, Ling Qinkyu immediately scolded him unhappily. Come closer to me. Oh. Guyan slid over again and put his hand on Ling Qinkyu's smooth shoulder. Qinkyu, look at how much I listen to you. Why don't you give me a reward? Ling Qinkyu really likes this way of getting along with Guyan. She couldn't help but laugh as she listened to Guyan's words. You want a reward already? But I'm in a good mood today. Tell me, what reward do you want? Lick your. Ling Qingqiu frowned and uttered a threatening tone in his nasal voice. Is this bastard going to say something perverted again? Hey, Qingqiu, please listen to me. Guyan coughed dryly and continued. It's just that I really want to try something. I promise to try it. If Qingqiu doesn't like it, I won't mention it again in the future. Try? Try what? Ling Qingqiu asked suspiciously. She always felt that Guyan's so-called attempt was definitely not a normal attempt. Guyan licked his lips, leaned close to Ling Qingqiu's ear, and whispered, like this, Qingqiu, you do this, and then I do this. And then, Ling Qingqiu was fine at first. Oh, it was an upgraded version of kissing. That's a snake kiss. Huh? Snake kiss upgrade. This. What is this? A show could this be? Ling Qingqiu's face turned redder as she listened. She refused. Are you kidding me? Who would try such a perverted game with you? Guyan clasped his hands together and shouted sincerely. Please Qingqiu, this is my greatest wish in this life. As long as I finish this, I will die without regrets. That's too much exaggeration. Ling Qingqiu listened to Guyan's pleading words. She clenched her fists, feeling conflicted. If there is one, there will be two. If there are three, there will be four. If I agree with Guyan's perverted behavior now, then in the future, won't it get more excessive each time? No, don't think too much about Ling Qingqiu. Apart from anything else, this is also a way to improve perception. That's right. I do all this to improve my perception. To become stronger, and for revenge. So, okay, hurry up. Ling Qingqiu took a deep breath, slowly turned her head to face Guyan, and then clasped her arms across her chest. The chin is slightly raised, showing a proud attitude. Then, under Guyan's expectant gaze, Ling Qingqiu's expression became very disgusted, his brows slightly frowned. But he had to do it and made a cold and disgusted voice. You cricket fish are asking for a lot. Okay, you bastard. I'll satisfy you. She opened her mouth, slightly showing her tongue, and taunted, come on, your favorite MM. Guyan suddenly lost his mind. Pure love value increases. Pure love value increases. Perception improvement. Perception improvement. Chapter 321. A few people living in harmony. I don't know how much time has passed. Inside the banquet hall. Sister, brother-in-law, why did you come back just now? I'm so bored. Linglinger was holding a plate of fried skewers in her hands. She ate while complaining. So many strangers came up to talk to me that I didn't even have time to eat. Guyan and Ling Qingqiu finally came back, but both of them tacitly did not talk about what happened outside. Hearing Linglinger's words, Guyan glanced at Ling Qingqiu, then coughed lightly. Your sister and I just had something to deal with. What is it? Gu Yingying interrupted. Ling Qingqiu's expression became somewhat unnatural. Guyan glared at her and said, don't ask too many questions. Kid, you don't understand. What? I'm already an adult. Okay? Gu Yingying cursed angrily. At this time. By the way, Guyan, there is a little girl who has been looking for you. It seems to be the one who pounced on you at the beginning. Look, there she is now. Linglinger thought of something and pointed in a certain direction with a bamboo stick. Guyan was stunned, then looked in the direction of the bamboo stick. See. Lin Yinyin was sitting alone on a small chair, licking her lollipop with a wronged look on her face. From time to time, he would look towards Guyan, and sometimes after their eyes met, they will look away in panic. Oh, that's not a little girl. That's my leader. Guyan smiled lightly and was about to walk over. Oli. Ling Qingqiu stopped him and said gently, I'll go with you. Is this appropriate? Guyan thought for a moment, and finally nodded, okay. It is true that Ling Qingqiu is the Night King, but she can also hide her aura. Although Lin Yinyin is the most perfect demon weapon, her body is wrapped in silver true energy. However, given the opponent's strength, he should not be able to detect anything unusual about Ling Qingqiu. Lin Yinyin was very unhappy. This kind of unhappiness is an inexplicable unhappiness. She was very happy when Guyan invited her to come over and play. But there was a woman next to Guyan, and she was unhappy for some reason. Little Gu. Lin Yinyin licked the lollipop. Wow. It was so sweet. But Xiao Gu, I still won't forgive you. Boss, why are you so angry like a baked rice cake? Guyan walked over and sat down next to Lin Yinyin. Lin Yinyin had already sensed Guyan's presence, so she was naturally happy. But when he saw that there was another unfamiliar woman besides Guyan, she closed her eyes and didn't look at the other person. Leader, what's wrong with you? Who made you unhappy? Tell me, I'll teach him a lesson. Guyan coaxed her as if he was coaxing a child. But Lin Yinyin was still in a bad mood. See the scene. Ling Qingqiu stretched out her hand to stop Guyan, who was about to say something else. She had already sensed something. Lin Yinyin's life essence is pure white. This means that the other person's mind and personality are not yet mature and complete. There is silver true energy surrounding his body, which is specifically used to deal with monsters. Poor man-made weapon. Ling Qiqiu sighed inwardly. She walked forward and whispered a few words to Ling Yinyin. Just like that, a few seconds passed. Ling Yinyin's expression gradually changed from gloomy to happy. All the way to the back. She even looked at Ling Qiqiu with a smile. Really? Sister Qiqiu, you are so kind. Ling Qiqiu reached out and rubbed Ling Yinyin's head. Yin, you must be obedient, otherwise Gu Yan will ignore you. Gu Yan looked at Ling Qiqiu, who had established a good relationship with Ling Yinyin in just a few words. No, huh? Gu Yan came forward, pulled Ling Qiqiu's hand, and asked, how did you do it? Ling Qiqiu smiled but said nothing. She smiled at Ling Yinyin and said, Yin, go play with Linger and the others. Good. Ling Yinyin walked towards Linger and the others with a smile. Inspection team member Sun Shi also followed. But before leaving, he looked at Gu Yan and Ling Qiqiu meaningfully. Especially Ling Qiqiu. A lot of thoughts went through his mind. Ling family. The eldest daughter of the Ling family. Are there any survivors of the massacre? Sun Shi shook his head and stopped thinking about it. The Ling family's strength was no longer as strong as before. Even though he had some connection with the Night King in the past, Ling Qiqiu has destroyed his own eyes now and is no longer of any significance. After the person leaves, Ling Qiqiu then answered Gu Yan's question. I told her, I am your fiancee, Yin, you are Gu Yan's leader. A fiancee is a fiancee, and a leader is a leader. You don't have to feel distant or uneasy towards you or me because of the relationship between the two. If you like Gu Yan, you can continue to like her as a leader. And I will like her as my fiancée. We will not interfere with each other. And I also said that I can introduce my sister to you as your friend. So that you won't be so bored. Ling Qiqiu said with a smile. Gu Yan's mouth twitched when he heard this. What do you mean by liking someone as a leader? Qiqiu, you are asking her to sexually harass you in the workplace. Don't you like it? Of course not, I just want to be harassed by you. Qiqiu, in your OL uniform. Ling Qiqiu's face suddenly turned red. But this bastard not suddenly interrupt with some words that made people burst into swearing? I am the Night King. At this time. Another me, you should have felt the power in that person's body just now. Xiaoling's voice came out suddenly. Ling Qiqiu remained calm on the surface. But responded in his heart, of course, but Xiaoling. I warn you, I will not hurt anyone around Gu Yan. If that power is taken away, it will be good for both you and her. Ling Qiqiu didn't understand what Xiaoling meant, but scolded in his heart, shut up, Xiaoling, I won't do such a thing. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean others can't do it. Just like the furnace tripod. It would have been fine if she hadn't said it. As soon as Ling Qiqiu said it, she laughed in her heart. Oh, Xiaoling, you really don't understand Gu Yan at all. Gu Yan is so innocent and simple, how could you think he would do such a thing? That's right, Gu Yan is a little perverted sometimes. It seems that there are no disadvantages. You will regret it. Small cold dive. She could no longer communicate with her other self. Because the other party no longer wants to listen to anything you say. And, I don't know why. She should be satisfied after her perception improved. But not long ago, Gu Yan interacted with another self, and for some reason, she felt inexplicably depressed. Depressed? Do you feel this way too? Xiaoling fell into deep thought. At this time, snap, snap, snap. The lights began to dim and melodious music sounded in the venue. Everyone was stunned. Then everyone began to tidy up their appearance. Next second, a host walked up to the podium. He stood straight and was dressed elegantly. A professional affinity emanated naturally from him. He smiled, adjusted the position of the microphone, and then tapped the microphone lightly, making a few crisp dong sounds. With these few sound checks, the noise of casual conversation and communication gradually subsided, and all eyes in the venue were once again drawn to the stage. The host's voice was clear and magnetic, and he began his opening remarks. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome all guests who take time out of their busy schedules to attend our Gu family's annual party. We gather here tonight to celebrate the achievements of the past year and to embrace new opportunities and challenges. Just after a few simple opening remarks, the host spoke in a high-pitched voice. Now let's welcome the founders of this banquet, Madam Gu and Master Gu. With applause, the host's voice was full of respect. Pa. Amid thunderous applause, old Madam Gu and old Master Gu walked onto the podium. The banquet officially begins. And Gu Yan also saw an acquaintance. A little maid in an evening gown was standing in the audience, looking as if she was searching for something. Seeing this, Guyan glanced at Gu Zihua, who had a grim expression on his face not far away. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and the show was about to begin. Chapter 320 To Weeping Snowflakes. That's all we had for the first day of the party. One by one, representatives came to the stage to speak, and then the performance began. Some people exchanged business experiences with each other. Some people exchanged business cards in the hope of cooperation. But some people are concentrating on eating without distraction. Take Guyan for example. Inqiu, eat something, you haven't had dinner yet. Don't be hungry. Guyan picked up a few pieces of cake for Ling Qingqiu and said with a distressed tone. You see, this human being is a very complex creature. Inqiu can't eat too much, but if she eats less, she'll feel bad for the other person being hungry. Ling Qingqiu was actually wondering if it would be unseemly for her to eat too much in such an occasion. However, she couldn't resist the smell of these sweets lingering on her nose. She licked her lips and coughed lightly. Then I'll have a taste. Aha. Guyan smiled and nodded. Okay, now let me see what's going on the other side. Guyan glanced in a certain direction. The other side. Gu Zihua fell silent. He couldn't understand or think. Why didn't Guyan follow his script? Why Guyan lies so well after he stops being a bootlicker? Is this reasonable? Isn't this unreasonable? How could this happen? He looked at Guyan gloomily. You guys are just eating at this kind of high-class gathering? Damn it, you are not worthy of being the head of the family. I won't let you be the head of the family. And Gu Zihua picked up the wine glass and took a sip of the wine. But now his situation is hopeless, and all his former allies have betrayed him. How can he manipulate the vote? It's impossible. But it be that I can only watch Guyan become the head of the Gu family step by step? No, watching him become the head of the Gu family is more painful than killing him. At this time, Master Zihua. A gentle voice mixed with joy came from Gu Zihua's ears. Glick. Hearing this voice, Gu Zihua's heart seemed to stop for a moment. The hand holding the wine glass couldn't help but tremble slightly. His expression became very unnatural. The voice was. Gu Zihua turned his head stiffly, only to see Zihua, who was dressed very beautifully tonight, looking at him expectantly. He first kept looking for someone with his eyes, and when he didn't see the other person, he calmed down a little. Then he forced a smile and said, Snowflakes. Zihua didn't notice anything unusual about Gu Zihua. Her heart was now filled with joy. Dozens of days of patience seemed to burst out at this moment. Master Zihua can finally talk to you. Guyan, you failed. Finally, what does finally mean? Zihua, what happened to you these days? Gu Zihua was a little afraid to look directly at the snowflakes. I don't know if I have something wrong with me or what. Zihua heard this and shook her head in surprise. She walked forward and threw herself into Gu Zihua's arms. Guyan asked for it, but everything is fine now. Guyan's request? Gu Zihua felt nauseous as he looked at Zihua, who jumped into his arms. Obviously the other party seems to be exactly the same as before. But I don't know why, I feel very disgusted. Especially. Gu Zihua pushed Zihua away. His expression was very unnatural, and his eyes seemed to be suppressing something. Zihua, listen to me. This is the banquet hall. You are a maid, and I am the young master of the Gu family. Zihua, who was suddenly pushed away, was a little confused. What does that mean? She seemed to realize that she had not yet explained the agreement with Guyan. So she opened her mouth to explain something. Gu Zihua, however, moved a little further away from Zihua. What I mean is, Zihua, don't get so close to me. This will be misunderstood. As soon as these words came out, click. Zihua's face turned pale. Her heart skipped a beat, and she looked at Gu Zihua in disbelief. Master Zihua, what did you say? At this point, she wanted to explain something, and looked at Gu Zihua expectantly. Saying, no, Master, Guyan said. It seemed as if he was offended by the word Guyan. Gu Zihua's expression suddenly became extremely ugly, and he shouted angrily, don't mention him to me again. Zihua was startled and closed her mouth in fear. She looked at the unfamiliar Gu Zihua in front of her. Her expression turned extremely pale. Master Zihua? Gu Zihua took a deep breath and looked at the pale Zihua with indifferent eyes. Zihua, it's impossible for you and me to be together. In these many days, you must have been played around by Guyan and you are no longer in your true form. Oh Master Zihua, what are you talking about? Zihua's brain went blank when she heard what Gu Zihua said. Impossible, Master Zihua is not such a person. Next second, a somewhat puzzled voice came from the side. Master Zihua, who is this woman? Hearing this voice, Gu Zihua's expression gradually softened. Snowflake's expression became stiff. She looked towards the source of the sound. Just see. A woman with big wavy blonde hair came over and naturally took Gu Zihua's arm. Gu Zihua did not resist at all, but patiently and gently explained. The family maid. Oh, the family maid. Alice nodded. and then deliberately leaned her head on Gu Zihua's shoulder. Master Zihua, it's so boring here, take me to the manor for a walk. Gu Zihua rubbed Alice's head gently, and then took Alice away. During this time, he didn't look at Snowflake again. The latter's mind went blank and his ears were ringing. She stared blankly at Gu Zihua, who was walking away from her. Zihua couldn't understand why Gu Zihua would say such excessive words. Obviously Guyan didn't do anything to me at all. Obviously. I have made a lot of efforts to be with Gu Zihua. But why? Zihua looked at the backs of Gu Zihua and Alice. As I looked, the things in front of me gradually became blurred. Snap, snap. Tears kept falling from the corners of her eyes. How could it be like this? Chapter 323, Strolling and Chatting After the Party. Guyan saw the whole farce between Gu Zihua and Zihua. He looked at Zihua, who stood there for a while before wiping her tears and leaving, with an inexplicable look in her eyes. Very good, we can close the net here now. Just thought of this. The next second, there were bursts of laughter. A slightly quiet and gentle voice came from the side. Brother, long time no see. You've changed a lot. Hearing this, Linglinger and others looked over in confusion. Gu Yingying glanced at the person who came and her expression suddenly fell. She wondered why this person came. When Gu Yinoroyu saw the person coming, the smile on her face gradually faded. His eyes gradually became solemn. Gu Yan looked at the other party. All I saw was a little boy wearing black framed glasses and with a gentle expression, surrounded by a crowd of people. The other person is very beautiful. Yes, beautiful, not handsome. His face is as delicate as a girl's. With fair skin, big, bright eyes, long and curly eyelashes, red lips and white teeth. Her jet black hair was neatly combed, with a few strands of natural brown in it, which looked particularly bright under the light. He was wearing a well-fitting suit with delicate patterns embroidered on the dark blue fabric. Every step he took perfectly showed his elegant temperament. It's Master Linyi. Oh my god, so cute. Yes, Master Linyi. It would be nice if you could talk to me. Why go find that abominable Gu Yan? That kind of bad guy will lead Master Linyi astray. The guests all seemed to know Gu Linyi, and they were all very excited to see him. The little boy was like a spring breeze, and people couldn't help but like him. The other person's charm can be seen from the crowd gathered behind him. Gu Yan had already checked the other party's information. So he nodded and said, long time no see. As he spoke, Gu Yan looked at the crowd around him with interest. You are still the same as before, always surrounded by so many people. He found it interesting according to the plot. Gu Yan's younger brother Gu Linyi should also hate him as his older brother. When Gu Lin heard what Gu Yan said, his expression remained unchanged. He shook his head and said with a smile, you are all my friends. Elder brother? As he spoke, Gu Lin looked meaningfully at the people gathered next to him, and after a pause, he wanted to say something. But in the end, he smiled and said, have fun, brother. Having said that, he turned and left. Gu Yan felt a little puzzled. Was he just coming over to say hello? Brother-in-law, who is that person? How can you be neither male nor female? Linglinger poked Gu Yan's kidney and asked curiously, what are you talking about? He's my younger brother. Gu Linyi. My relationship, well, not bad. Gu Yan explained based on the original plot. Linglinger nodded, and after hesitating for a moment, she whispered, well, I always feel that there is something about him that makes me uncomfortable. Upon hearing this, Gu Yan looked at Linglinger in surprise. That's amazing, because Linglinger has always been hanging out with warriors. Has her sixth sense been awakened? In the original novel, Gu Linyi is actually a very contrasting character. He appears to be gentle and well-behaved on the surface, but in fact he is a very cruel character behind the scenes. My favorite thing to do is to go to dangerous areas and release the malice that I can't suppress in my heart. However, it is better not to tell Linglinger about this kind of thing. So Gu Yan smiled and said, you little brat don't like everyone. When I first met you, you thought I was a bad guy. When Linglinger heard this, she thought of how hostile she was when she first met Gu Yan. Her face immediately turned red, and she yelled to explain. No, the past was the past, now is now, brother-in-law. How can you still remember something that happened so long ago? I'll remember this for the rest of my life. Mean. Ling Kinqi, you pulled Gu Yan helplessly. Stop joking with Linger. She was recalling what happened to Gu Linyi just now in her mind. There was a very dangerous aura from the other party. His perception would not be wrong, and the other party might cause harm to Gu Yan. It seems I need to remind Gu Yan. Somewhere in the banquet hall. Damn it, you cricket, you little bastard. Why are you so close to your master? Bi Yan, who was stationed in the venue as a bodyguard, looked at Gu Yan with gritted teeth. She clenched her fists, unable to understand or accept. The crickets and fish were actually chatting and laughing with their owner. Master, you have sacrificed too much for the plan. It's obvious that the task of seducing a man can be left to Ba Yan. Ba Yan yelled in a low voice. Murong Ci on the side glanced in Gu Yan's direction and wanted to go over, but was pressured by his master, so he held back. Hey! Dumbhead, do you also feel that the master is pitiful and that bastard is hateful? Yao that's find a way to vent his anger so he could only beat up his teammates. Murong Ci glanced at Bialian, thought about it, and then nodded. I knew you were on my side. Bialian was immediately happy. After get off work, let's call Shangwan Mai Yin and the others to have a midnight snack. Murong Ci slowly put a question mark, and couldn't help but said. Bialian, we are not really at work, we are just hiding in the department for the plan. I know, of course I know. Bialian was stunned, then smiled awkwardly. Oh no, because recent days have been too peaceful and comfortable. She couldn't help but fall into it. No, I am a member of the night organization, and all this is just part of the plan. Everyone, I want to drink some wine and have a midnight snack. At this time, Shangguan Maiyan's weak voice came into my mind. Murong Ci and Biayan looked at each other. A first day's banquet ended quickly. The Gu family estate is very large, enough to accommodate hundreds of people. However, some people knew they were not members of the Gu family, so they said hello and left and stayed in the hotel arranged by the Gu family. As expected, Gu Yan, Leng Qingqiu and Leng Linger stayed in the Gu family manor. After all, Mrs. Gu strongly requested to meet her grandson's wife. On the manor path, Gu Yan and his family gathered together and took a walk to digest their food. Gu Yan King, Gu Tian Xiang, Gu Tian Xiang, Gu Tian Long and Gu Yan walked at the back. Walking in front was old Madame Gu, who was sandwiched in the middle, with Leng Qingqiu on her left and Su Mu Rong on her right. Leng Linger was walking at the front of the crowd, looking back and arguing with the people behind her as she walked. Next to Leng Linger were Gu Yingying and Ning Qian. Gu Yan Aroyu walked on the left side of Leng Qingqiu. The main point is clear position. Leng Qingqiu held onto Madame Gu's arm, while Leng Linger in front of her chattered. Grandma, let me tell you, when my brother-in-law first met my sister, he was so excited, immediately said he wanted to marry my sister. Leng Linger told the other party the story of how Gu Yan and Leng Qingqiu met in a very familiar manner. Old Madame Gu was so amused by Leng Linger that she couldn't stop smiling. Li Linger, let Grandma take a break. Okay, Grandma. Leng Qingqiu smiled slightly. Grandma, Gu Yan is very good. Not as exaggerated as Linger said. Sister, I'm not exaggerating. Su Murong covered her mouth and smiled. Linger, you are so beautiful and lively. There must be a lot of people chasing you in school. As soon as these words came out, Leng Qingqiu smiled on the surface, but in fact he pricked up his ears and paid close attention. Wu Yingying and Ning Qian felt a tightness in their hearts and looked at Leng Linger at the same time. Leng Linger replied without hesitation, of course, but I don't like any of them. What kind do you like? Linger? Leng Linger thought for a moment, then pointed at Gu Yan at the back and said with a smile. Someone like my brother-in-law. Leng Qingqiu. Su Murong. Madame Gu. The air became quiet. Gu Yan was walking behind, and looking at Leng Linger who was making a fuss in front. He couldn't help but twitch his lips. No, sister-in-law. You can chat with anyone, right? Wu and my family understands. Just forget what you said, but why do you have to make me sound so perverted? Am I a pervert? I am not a pervert. Can you please stop talking to me? I'll just shut up and stay back, you little brat. Also, why is the atmosphere on the girl's side so good, but on my side, it's so heavy? Gu Yan glanced at the Gu family standing aside. Gu Tian King is Gu Yingying's father and Gu Tian Ming's younger brother. Gu Tian Xiang is Gu Yan Aroyu's father and Gu Tian Ming's brother. Gu Qi Long is their father. But this dad has a stern face. The three Gu Tian Ming brothers also had expressionless faces and no one spoke to each other. Chapter 324 Seducing the Little Maid. Xiao Yan, I heard you are born with it. Gu Tian King spoke first to break the silence. He looked at Gu Yan, looking for a breakthrough in the topic. Gu Yan nodded when he heard this. Well, I suddenly got it, and I think I have found my way back to the right path. The topic ends. After a moment's silence, Gu Tian Ming said slowly. I heard that your Yingying had a quarrel with you before? Yan King, you should learn from me about family relationships. Otherwise my Shai Count and I wouldn't have such a bad relationship. Your education method for Yingying is too harsh. It would be better if you didn't say that. Gu Tian King got angry when he heard this. He snorted coldly. We usually have a good relationship. Father Yan Ming, if you say that I will have something to say to you. Shai Count was such a good person when he was young. It was because of your overindulgent education that Shai Count became a bad person. What did you say? I didn't say anything, it's the truth. Seeing this, Gu Tian Xian coughed lightly and joined the conversation. Don't be angry, when it comes to education, my Yunarou is the best. She is knowledgeable and generous, hey. Brother Tianxian. Your Yunarou's excellence has nothing to do with you. You hang out outside all day long. Guchan Ming and Guchan King sneered. The three brothers were arguing. Although Guchan Long had a stern face, his brows relaxed slightly. Gu Yan looked helpless. Was it the Gu family's tradition to keep things to themselves and not speak them out? He looked ahead and at the happy scene beside him. I knew in my heart that there was no problem here. So it's time to take the next step. Think of this. Gu Yan interrupted and said, Dad, you guys continue chatting here. I'll go chat with people of the same age. Oh, go. I'm not saying that my son is so well behaved that he would always let me know before leaving. This is just a stretch, right? Gu Yan quietly left the crowd. Ling Qingqiu had actually been paying attention to Gu Yan. When she sensed that he had left, she couldn't help but feel an inexplicable sense of emptiness in her heart. It was as if she felt very insecure without Gu Yan by her side. Where is Gu Yan going? Is he going to look for someone? Or is he bored because we ignored him while chatting here? Although I wanted to follow, I obviously couldn't leave rashly under the current circumstances. Asshole, why did you just leave without telling her? Just as Ling Qingqiu thought, Gu Yan was indeed going to look for someone. Of course, to be more precise, Gu Yan was preparing to put a perfect end to something. This is different from the Gu family manor, which is brightly lit and bustling with people strolling around. In a small room inside the manor, the room was darkened without lights. Zhu Hu was hiding inside and sobbing. The delicate makeup on her face became messy because of the tears. She sat on the floor, looking up with empty eyes, holding a photo in her hand. A photo shows her and Gu Zihua. It's over. It's all over. She could not get the love of Master Zihua at all. And Master Zihua would never come to see her again. Next second. Squeak. Accompanied by the sound of the door opening. Hey little maid, have you achieved your goal? A light laugh came from Zhu Hua's ear. She turned her head away with a dull look. Just see. Gu Yan was looking at her with an inexplicable smile. Zhu Hua pursed her lips, wanting to say something, but ended up crying out of sadness. Are you here to laugh at me? Master Zihua and I can never be together again. Master Zihua has fallen in love with someone else. Are you satisfied now? Looking at the snowflake in front of me who was having an emotional breakdown, Gu Yan walked over as if he saw nothing. He slowly squatted down, so that his sight was slightly higher than the collapsed snowflakes. And the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. No. On the contrary. There was an inexplicable meaning in his eyes. I'm here to help you. Help me? How can you help me? I can no longer get Master Zihua's love. Zhu Hua smiled miserably. She looked at her miserable appearance and said, I have put on my makeup and a new dress. I asked the master and the lady to give me 3 days of freedom. But in the end, everything changed after that woman showed up. The words haven't finished yet. Gu Yan interrupted and asked, do you really think that the reason for your failure is because of that woman? Wha what? Zhu Hu was stunned and looked at Gu Yan in confusion. I don't know why. The room was dark, and Gu Yan's figure was against the light. To Zhu Hua, it looked like he was staying in the shadow. Zhu Hua seemed to only see the other person's eyes, which made her a little upset. Think back, Zhu Hua, what did the person you like do to you and what did he say to you? Gu Yan stretched out his hand and touched the center of Zhu Hua's eyebrows. A moment. Buzz. Zhu Hua's mind once again reappeared with Gu Zihua's insults and misunderstandings of her. She thought that she had been toyed with by Gu Yan and had become dirty. Zhu Hua covered her head for a moment and screamed in despair. No. Don't make me recall this again. However, Gu Yan continued to tempt. It's just a simple little game that reveals the true face of the person you like. I can explain it for you, and Gu Zihua may also understand the truth and make peace with you. But do you think this is love? Zhu Hua's face turned pale when she heard this. She raised her head slightly, her eyes flickering with waves of struggle. Gu Yan withdrew his hand, covered his chest, and showed a sad and compassionate expression on his face. Zhu Hua, I feel very sorry and sad. Why? Zhu Hua was a little slow to react. Shouldn't Gu Yan be gloating over other people's misfortune? Hearing this, Gu Yan took a deep breath, suppressed his inner feelings, and sighed, because I originally believed in your love. I have even decided to ask grandparents to recognize your relationship during this annual meeting, using the excuse that I am not the head of the family. After all, Zhu Hua, you have taken care of my grandparents for so many years. I think I should treat you as a family member. Pity. The more Zhu Hua listened, the more dazed she became. How come? If this is the case, doesn't it mean that I have misunderstood young Master Gu Yan? I even missed what I dreamed of. Gu Yan said this, and he stroked the corners of his tearless eyes with the tips of his 2 fingers. His tone gradually changed from sadness to indignation. It's a pity that I didn't expect Gu Zihua to be such a person. Zuhua, think about it. If the facts are really the same as what Gu Zihua said, and doesn't it mean that you have to accept this torture for Gu Zihua's sake? But Gu Zihua did not accept your dedication because he found a better one to take your place. Zuhua, I really feel it's not worth it for you. So, when Gu Yan said this, his purpose finally became clear, and he stretched out his fingertips. Gurgle. Black tentacles formed by claw cells emerged from his fingertips. His eyes were inexplicable, and he bewitched every word. So, I'm here to help you win Gu Zihua's heart again. Zuhua, seize the future between you and Gu Zihua. Zuhua stared blankly at the black tentacles on Gu Yan's fingertips. Plop, plop. Her heart beat faster, and Gu Yan's words and tentacles lingered in her heart like magic, constantly tempting her to reach out and touch the tentacles. Snowflake seemed to understand that once she touched the tentacles, the final outcome would be dire. And if I could really be with the person I love because of this, even if it's as short as a candle flame, I still want to try it. Then Snowflake's fingertips trembled as they touched the black tentacles. She must win back Gu Zihua's heart. And Gu Yan no longer concealed his true reaction. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and the sadness in his eyes disappeared completely, leaving only as calm and indifferent as dead water. Goodbye, brother it, SU2. I was on the wrong side from the beginning. Chapter 325 Dr. Leng, there is something wrong with my tongue. In the original novel, Gu Zihua and Zhu Hua are a pair of criminals who committed parricide under the banner of justice. As the most trusted maid of Madame Gu and Mr. Gu, the latter easily tampered with the meals of the two elderly people. Overnight, he poisoned the two most respected elders of the Gu family to death. This not only caused chaos in the Gu family, but also in the entire Zhangye. The power was redistributed and the situation changed drastically. The forces that had been hiding in the dark due to the prestige of the two old men of the Gu family came out together. In addition, the Gu family in the original novel was originally a villain family that appeared to slap the protagonist Shaolin in the face. So not surprisingly, one night, the Gu family was besieged and destroyed by the protagonist Shaolin, who led a group of families large and small. Of course, the final winner is not the protagonist, but Leng Qingqiu in the original novel. In the original novel, he was the mastermind behind giving Zhu the poison that could kill Madame Gu and Mr. How in fact, they are all Leng Qingqiu in the original novel. At that time, the plot had reached the part where Leng Linger died and Leng Qingqiu turned evil and became a madman. Therefore, Leng Qingqiu will seize any power that can help her with revenge. The Gu family is no exception. She doesn't care about her relatives, and everything in the world is a tool for her to use. She is cold and cruel, and would even do something as brutal as sacrificing half a city just to delay the protagonists. She is cold and heartless, and would rather transform herself into an emotional's weapon of revenge than Rag Shaolin, who killed her sister, into the endless abyss. She should be like this. Manor residential area. Boom. Ouch. Leng Qingqiu blocked Gu Yan at a corner. She reached out and crossed Gu Yan's hands and pressed them against the wall, like a villain threatening a girl. And he opened his eyes and asked coldly, "Where have you been? I can't believe this bastard was able to stay away for so long." There was no news at all during this period. Gu Yan was pinned down and couldn't move. Damn it, why has my strength been cleared again? What kind of weird setting is this? Gu Yan wanted to cry but had no tears. He begged for mercy quickly. It hurts, Qingqiu, please talk to me nicely. Can you let me go first? Actually, there is a reason for this. I have something to deal with. Something? How big of a thing made you disappear for so long? The words haven't finished yet. Leng Qingqiu interrupted. She already had the bonus of power of night. So even though her eyes may seem dull to ordinary people, there is still an inexplicable sense of oppression. Super important thing. Gu Yan replied quickly. Yeah? Leng Qingqiu looked at Gu Yan's life essence, which was still shining. No eyes. Only then did Leng Qingqiu let go of Gu Yan slightly. The latter looked at his wrist, which was pinched red. Dissing. Qingqiu's strength is quite strong, but hey. It's warm up there. Does this mean that Qingqiu is pressing her own structural molecules onto his body? What are you laughing at? What did you do? Leng Qingqiu also realized that she was too aggressive and used too much force. And Gu Yan's hand was probably hurt by her pinch. But Leng Qingqiu couldn't help but do this, because after Gu Yan disappeared, she inexplicably felt a sense of uneasiness. And this feeling of uneasiness has been on her mind recently? It's like, if one day, Gu Yan disappeared from her perception, then it was as if the other party would really disappear. But it seems impossible when you think about it, but she has been having this strange feeling recently. Leng Qingqiu wondered if her behavior would make Gu Yan think that she was too controlling. This was not her original intention, but she was afraid that Gu Yan would leave her. As Leng Qingyu's pure love object, Guyan naturally felt what Leng Qingyu was feeling. Perhaps it was the help of the system that allowed him to empathize with Leng Qingyu's panic and anxiety at the moment. Guyan had been able to sense the other person's emotional changes a long time ago. Guyan didn't know why Leng Qingyu felt this uneasy. He only knew that what he could do was, "Qingyu, please, believe me." Guyan reached out his hand and held Leng Qingyu in his arms. He comforted her, "Believe me, you must believe me, I will not leave you. I will always be with you, you must believe this. No matter what happens next, I will never leave you. I will always love you, please believe me." There are still 2 days left of the annual meeting. After 2 days, he will not have much time left, and he will have to make a decision then. He didn't know what the consequences would be. Guyan only knew that he had to do it. And he had to do it without hesitation. Guyan could sense it. The first time I met Leng Qingyu, his pure love technique could sense the endless black mist emanating from Leng Qingyu, but was invisible to the naked eye. That is the power of night. It affects Leng Qingyu's mind all the time. And nowadays, Guyan gently stroked the back of Leng Qingyu's head. And the other person lay on his chest. The black mist on the body may not be noticed unless you sense it carefully. Coming soon. All you have to do is wait for the dagger of night to recover all the power of night from Leng Qingyu. Then, you can start doing it yourself. A complex look flashed across Guyan's eyes. Leng Qingyu felt Guyan's sincere words, and his life essence was still shining without any change. Her mood finally calmed down. Guyan. Leng Qingyu felt that she was too sensitive and not calm enough. Why on earth did I become such a coward? Leng Qingyu didn't understand. And wouldn't know how to comprehend. She reached out and touched Guyan's palm. The tone was a little distressed and self-blaming. "Sorry Guyan, it must be very painful. Of course it hurts." "Qingyu, can you tell me how to accompany me?" Guyan raised the corner of his mouth and said deliberately. Leng Qingyu felt even more guilty when she heard this. And she thought about it over and over again. Finally, she decided to show her strength. She held Guyan's hand and gently held it in front of her. Guyan was stunned. "Qingyu, what are you doing?" At this time, Leng Qingyu had already made a shameful decision, and her voice trembled slightly. "Shut up first. Speaking of." She slowly extended her tongue and moved it slightly towards Guyan's swollen wrist. A moment. A cool and numb feeling spread throughout Guyan's body. He looked at Leng Qingyu, who was doing spot treatment on his wrist like a kitten. For a while, he was shocked. And after this shock, something even more shocking happened. I saw that my originally red and swollen wrist returned to its original state in the blink of an eye after Leng Qingyu operated on it. Recovered. Guyan stretched out his hand, looking shocked. "No, what kind of ability is this?" After Leng Qingyu finished, she stretched out her fingers and gently wiped her lips. She turned her head away and did not dare to look at Guyan. Her voice was a little shy. "Sorry, you must be scared. Don't tell anyone else. In fact, the technique I practice is able to cure some simple diseases. In fact, it can cure all diseases. Because as long as it exists in this world, I can see the other party's lifeline and cut it off, causing it to perish. As perception improves, the range of cutting off continues to expand. Up to now, Leng Qingyu's perception has improved to the point where he can cut off objects within a radius of hundreds of kilometers." Guyan was dumbfounded. Of course, it was not only because of this ability, but also because of Leng Qingyu's current state. The other party seemed to feel that he was very ashamed of doing something. Her expression became so charming that Guyan swallowed his saliva for a moment. He pressed on Leng Qingyu's shoulder and said softly, "Qingyu, actually, I am sick somewhere else. I think there's something wrong with my tongue. Dr. Leng, please take a look." Tongue mem. The sound stopped abruptly. Chapter 326. Xiaoleng, Guyan, do you like music? To the end. Leng Qingyu didn't find out what Guyan was doing. Maybe she forgot, or maybe she didn't want to ask anymore. It's late at night and everyone is asleep. Guyan Xian slept peacefully on the soft double bed. Of course, there was no one else around. Leng Qingyu chose to sleep in another room with Leng Linger. You ask him why he has so many thoughts in his mind. That's because he couldn't sleep. I don't know if it's because I had a premonition today that I couldn't sleep. At this time, step. A slight footstep sound slowly came into Guyan's ears. His brows furrowed slightly. The frequency of this footstep sound. It's like stepping on the floor without shoes. The footsteps came closer and closer, and only stopped when they reached his bed. Then, brush. A soft, tingling feeling appeared on Guyan's face. This familiar smell, this feeling. Guyan opened his eyes. Suddenly, a beautiful face came into his sight. Seeing this scene, Guyan looked helplessly at the man in front of him, who lowered his head and let his hair fall on his face. "Xiaoleng, I knew it was you. Guyan looked at Xiaoling. And the other person still had a poker face. The only difference was that the other person sat on the edge of the bed. Then bent over sideways and lowered his head. It was as if he was carefully admiring Guyan's sleeping face. Seeing that Guyan looked like he knew she was coming, Xiaoling couldn't help but ask, "You knew I was coming?" "I don't know, but I have a feeling you're coming." Guyan paused, then met Xiaoling's gaze. "Anyway, could you please get up from my body first?" After a stalemate of more than 10 seconds, Xiaoling slowly stood up and sat calmly on the edge of the bed. Guyan stood up and leaned against the backrest. Xiaoling was the first to speak. And she went straight to the point. "When are you going to take action?" The action naturally refers to Guyan's seizure of the Dagger of Night. After the annual meeting. There are still 2 days left for the annual meeting. Do you have a specific time? Oh, what the hell is this situation where I'm writing a report to my boss,